The story begins as the boy runs the show for a skilled awakened squad known as the Divine Core. In this world, magic is real, so demons started popping up along with their caves. The way things played out ended up messing with anyone who had. He had powers that most people could only dream about. His squad, easily the top dogs in their whole crew. They're out to take down the Demon King. This dude's no joke. He's a triple S-class demon and controls 5 elements, so beating him isn't going to be easy. Yi and the rest of the squad got their orders straight from the gods. The squad steps into the cave and Yi lets everyone know it's go time. This isn't just any run. This marks their 100th time taking on a top-tier demonic cave, showing just how locked in this team really is. His crew's got Ling Yue on it. This mission was supposed to be insanely tough, so they slapped it with an L-class purge tag, the hardest one out there. The team's all hyped up for the mission. They've got a vacation waiting for them if they can take down. The team locks in together, all moving at the same time as they drop their powers on the demons coming at them. He takes charge and goes straight at the demons, slicing through them fast and clean. He's moving quick, not missing a beat, and the demons don't even have a chance to react. He knew he could pull this off. Every single person in the Divine Core squad is an L-rank warrior. The team got together fast, locked in, and before long they wiped out everything in the cave and took down Demon King. The guys started chatting, hyped up about how simple it all was. Isn't really buying how smooth the mission went. For something that's supposed to be L-rank, it just seemed way too simple. He just nods and goes along with it. He found out the Demon King had control over 5 elements, plus some secret move no one really knew about. He's trying to figure out what went wrong, running everything through his head. Ling wraps his arms around him from the back, holding on tight. They want to know if he's going to buy them a big meal. He's pretty much done with her at this point, so he moves her out of the way and lets the team know they're heading out to grab dinner at their regular hangout. Han just can't wrap his head around why their captain would pass up a shot with Ling. Right then they caught the clock and realized time was almost up. One of their teammates was just gone. He didn't show up to back them up in the fight and now no one could find him. Nobody on the team is stressing since they already finished the mission. Out of nowhere he just shows up right behind them. He lifts his hand up. He announces that the purge operation is kicking off. Han gets nailed in the head by something out of nowhere, and just like that, he's gone. Everyone just freezes for a second. Nobody saw that coming. The team watches closely. Han was down on the ground. The side of his head was missing, and blood was pouring out all over the floor. The team's still trying to process what just happened when the traitor drops a bomb. He says God personally picked him for the purge mission. Realizes his body just won't respond. He's completely stuck. The traitor drops the news that everyone's been having breakfast spiked with some kind of paralyzing powder for the last month. The traitor quickly takes control and holds back the rest of the team, making sure nobody else can move or do anything. He used his special power to send out these forbidden vines, locking everyone in place so they couldn't move. He shares that he got picked for a mission where he had to take out the whole squad, so he had to get ready for it. He keeps bragging, not really caring, while Yi and the crew just want to know why he turned his back on them. The traitor tells him that wiping out the L-class warriors is just what God decided. He grabs on even harder. Yi and the rest of the crew were right there. They couldn't hold it in, the pain just hit so hard, they ended up yelling without even thinking about it. Blood started spilling from their mouth, and everything around them started fading out as they blacked out. They're still trying to figure out why their own teammate turned on them. Points out to the guy that the Divine Core didn't really do anything that would make it deserve to get taken out. They did everything by the book. Keeps wondering why they had to die. The traitor just straight up acts like he owns the place, letting everyone know that God can take them out for no reason at all. He moves in, getting right next to. He wrapped his vines around him and started squeezing tight. His fist goes straight through the guy's chest. He just couldn't shake off what happened. The guy who turned on them wasn't just a teammate, he was basically family. After rolling together for a whole decade, their squad was tight, like brothers who'd seen everything side by side. The traitor just laughs, making it clear he thinks he's clueless. He lets you know straight up that they were never really family. Ever since his first day with the Divine Core, he's been running missions straight from the gods. Basically, Yi and his crew were just being used. The traitor jumped in with the crew, trying to figure them out while acting like he belonged. Yi and the crew just straight up run out of energy and drop to the ground. The traitor stands above them and ends you with a shot straight to the head. On May 22nd, 2125, Yi and his squad of L-class warriors were wiped out. Their bodies were left sprawled across the ground while the traitor just dipped, already thinking about his upcoming vacation. He started to black out, his mind slowly slipping away. Out of nowhere, he picks up on someone talking. He pushed for them to work something out. He wakes up and realizes he's chained up somewhere he's never seen before. Right in front of him stands this weird dude in a suit, looking mad sketchy with some seriously bad vibes. Leans in and suddenly notices it standing there. Stares at the Demon King, trying to figure out how he's even still alive. Just messes with him, making it clear that someone as powerful as a Demon King isn't going down that easy. They're inside his soul space, where the whole kingdom basically runs on his own energy. He was totally over the Demon King rambling on. He was ready to get things moving, and you could tell he was getting heated. The Demon King throws out a deal, trying to get things moving, then casually lets everyone know his secret move is life regression. Yeah, he can actually rewind his own life. He lets you know he has a way to send him back in time. He suddenly had the shot to turn things around. Once he gets hit with the memory of his team getting wiped out, he doesn't even think twice. He's all in on what the Demon King is offering. He's absolutely furious, locked in on getting payback against the traitor and the gods who set everything up. The Demon King looks satisfied with how things are going, Besides giving Bai some backup, he also hands him another reward. His heart was on the line. You looked at the Demon King, wondering what made him want to strike a deal with him in the first place. He gets pulled away before he finds out what's going on. He blinks awake. He ends up stuck in a classroom while his teacher starts going off on him. You just got sent 20 years back to 2105. Back when you was still in middle school at the Nation's Awakened Academy, before anything about his powers even showed up, he was just another student trying to figure things out. You can't believe it, he's actually back in the past. The teacher catches him dozing off in class, which is wild since his awakening ceremony is coming up next period. To teach him a lesson, the teacher tells him to stand in the back of the room. He was still trying to process what just happened. He takes his time heading toward the back. He looked around at everyone in the room, faces he hadn't seen since way back, almost 2 decades ago. The teacher just keeps going with the lesson. He broke down the 5 main powers: lightning, flower, cloud, nuclear, and stellar. Most people are stuck with just one element. The teacher points at herself to show everyone what she means. She's got the cloud element, which hardly anyone else has. She explains that elements split into 3 main types depending on how they connect: combat, support, and special. She breaks down how every team's made up of the 5 elements and each person's got their own job. The school's guild team's a good example. They've got a stellar mage, a cloud warrior, a nuclear bard, and a lightning assassin holding it down. The teacher looks at the class and points out how uncommon they are, letting them know that Awakening Day is basically the biggest day they'll ever have. Out there, almost 100 awakened professions exist, starting from dust at the bottom and going all the way up to the top-tier celestial. Ember and Abyss rank sit somewhere in the middle. The students only get 1 shot to awaken. She updates them on what status they woke up with. What happens next is basically going to decide what comes next for them. When class wraps up, the students start getting ready for the awakening. He spots a classmate he usually calls Four Eyes, thanks to those glasses he always wears. Four Eyes is getting picked on. He got bothered by this one student who just wouldn't quit. Xiang Sheng is an E-rank stellar assassin, and that status actually gets him noticed by the other guys around him. He isn't even phased, since has always been that guy who picks on everyone. Barely gets a chance to mess with Four Eyes again. The teacher shows up and lets know that school isn't happening. It was a spot where people would mess with others and take their stuff. Doesn't hold back, he tries to flip the situation, acting all confident and telling the teacher that the kid with glasses ran into him first. He was just getting paid for it, nothing else. He straight up lets know that if she wasn't good looking, she'd be out of a job by now. Once he finishes up, he and his boys get ready to head out. Showed up blocking his path. He pushes the guy out of his way. He just sits there, not moving or showing anything on his face. He just sits back and watches as the teacher goes over to check on the kid with glasses. Always puts on a tough front, but she actually looks out for her students. Still remembers how she had his back when he first woke up in his last life. Right then, someone lets know it's finally her class's shot at the awakening chamber. She acts kind of like a mom, telling her students to chill out so no one gets hurt. In this world, people can awaken in 2 different ways. Wakes up naturally, almost like his body just knew it was time. That's why he acts so cocky. Most people who naturally awaken have solid bodies and real talent. His power kicked in whenever things got way too intense for him. The other way is the artificial route, where people who might have what it takes step into the awakening chamber. That chamber is something smart scientists put together. Inside, his emotions and adrenaline were going wild. When this happens, the hidden power inside the candidates basically kicks in and starts working. It's a one-time thing, so everyone sees it as the one shot to flip your whole life around. Watched as a couple of his classmates went into the awakening chamber ahead of him. They came out looking pretty hyped since they landed some solid professions. One guy even scored a blue tier job, which meant he joined the Amber class. Now he steps up. The teacher keeps reminding him to pay attention during class. He nods and heads into the room, ready to see what's next. Back in his last life, he woke up as an E-rank nuclear warrior. A job so low it was basically bottom tier, straight up considered garbage by everyone. Back when he first awakened, people wouldn't leave him alone. They kept picking on him non-stop. Things only started to change after he hit S-rank, and that's when he finally unlocked the rarest type. He steps into the chamber, pretty much thinking he's about to get stuck with some useless job again like always. He's just doing his thing when the system suddenly throws up an error message, totally catching him off guard. Once the chamber kicked on, it picked up 5 different elements instead of just one like it usually does. Stomach starts to heat up as the system flashes on screen. He suddenly got hit with an endless awakening notification. The system lets him pick his first class from any of the 5 elemental types. Basically, he can start with whatever he wants. Finds out that after maxing out his first class, he can actually level up the other classes too. He freezes for a second when it sinks in. He just got elemental accumulation. It turns out he'll get to pick new classes later on, starting from dust rank and going all the way up to celestial. He gets to keep his abilities, and now he's got a shot at reaching a level even higher than celestial. He suddenly realizes he's only able to pull this off thanks to the Demon King's gift. He got the power to go unlimited. Nobody ever talks about awakenings like this. The system lets him know that as soon as he picks his first class, every other elemental bar is getting wiped out. Once he finally got around to it, he sits there scrolling through the options trying to decide which class to go with. He finally makes his choice, locking in his pick. He heads out to meet the teacher, who's clearly hyped. He couldn't wait to find out what power he woke up with. He breaks the bad news too, and you can just see the letdown on his face. He found out he got the nuclear warrior power, which was honestly the weakest one in the whole green class. Gets caught off guard. Even though she's tough, she still backs him up, pointing out that some legends have come from the green class too. She really wants to stick with it and not bail. He just shrugs it off, acting like he doesn't need anyone to cheer him up. Catches what they're talking about and, like always, jumps right into their business. He goes off on Yi, saying the teacher's just giving him special treatment. He thought things would go his way, but real life just never plays out like that. Nudges Yi, letting him know it's time for the dust class. He's basically stuck at the very bottom where nobody wants to be. Just kept acting cocky, making it clear to that only the strong matter to the gods, and anyone weak basically gets stepped on. As soon as someone brings up the gods, just snaps. He just stays chill while keeps going off with his wild talk. He lets know that he's stuck in the back row during class, since that's just how things go. So the celestial rank gets the front row seats, then it's Abyss, Ember, and Dust bringing up the rear. Guys at the Dust rank get zero respect. Everyone sees them as bottom tier, so they're stuck dealing with other low rank folks and can't really move up. Just tells everyone straight up that you putting in effort is pointless. He says it's basically a waste of time, then steps up closer to, ready to throw some shade her way. By now, Yi is done putting up with it. He reaches over and takes the coffee cup from his hand. He accidentally dumps it all over his own face. Just froze, he did not see that coming. He just stood there, not really processing what just went down. Frustrated, he turned to Yi, wanting to know what was up with him. He lets him know he just tunes out whatever he says, like background noise that doesn't even register. He keeps doing and saying stuff that really gets under skin. He figures it's time to put in his place. He throws a punch at but jumps in, trying to block him. He doesn't realize it yet, but Yi is already set and ready to go. Right before the attack lands, he summons a sword made of pure light and steps in, stopping strike before it can land. He blocks the attack and sends flying straight into the... Nobody expected him to pull off that kind of distance. Hits the ground hard while keeps moving. He barely put any effort into his stance. Starts coughing, blood spilling out as he tries to keep himself together. He's just standing there trying to figure out what just went down. Everyone watching just stared, not really sure if they actually saw that happen. Looks like you picked on purpose. The Nuclear Warrior class, rewritten script, the group known as the Nuclear Warriors. He's totally locked in because he's been through all this before. This was his class in his last life, so he already knows how everything works. Pulls himself up acting all cocky and lets you know he thinks it was just luck. He lets everyone know he's Abyss rank, putting himself on a whole other level compared to someone like Yi. Spots right away that Yi isn't just riding on luck. She knows there's something more going on. She figures out that Yi just pulled off this insane move that only warriors can do. It's how the parry skill works. It lets him block an attack and send all that power right back at whoever tried him. She couldn't believe how Yi just nailed it. Her master had been grinding at that move for a whole decade and still couldn't get it down, but Yi made it look easy. Wakes up and just sits there way more confused than. He already knows what he's doing in a fight. Dude's got serious hands. Zones out for a second, not noticing that just pulled out a short sword and is about to go after Yi. His face tightened up, he looked straight at Yi, totally set on making him look dumb in front of the whole crowd. You could tell he was ready to go all out just to put Yi in his place. He stays posted up, looking chill as ever, letting everyone know he actually chose the Dust class on purpose. He's already thinking ahead, knowing that pretty soon, by the time everyone realizes how good the Dust class really is, it'll be way too late for all the haters. The students get fired up as the two step up. He got ready to throw hands, looking like he was about to square up, but at this school using powers in a fight is totally not allowed. Dad holds a big position and his uncle runs the school as the dean. He doesn't come from a big name family, so if things go south, he's got everything on the line. Four Eyes gets nervous about getting kicked out if he goes up against, so he turns to the teacher for help. The teacher steps up right away and takes control of the situation. She walks up and shuts it down, letting them know to quit it. It's already mad. He's just waiting for a chance to get even with Yi after getting embarrassed like that. Straight up lets you know he's ready to throw hands no matter what, even if he drops to his knees, isn't backing down. He thinks he's got serious skills, and in his eyes, he's just some nobody who never measures up. The teacher gets it's got way better stats, and it's obvious to everyone. He's straight up an Abyss rank warrior. He suddenly got all his stats doubled, so every skill and ability he had just went off the charts. Abyss ranks basically start out way stronger since their stats are double what Dust ranks get when they first awaken. Plus Abyss guys keep leveling up while Dust ranks just stay stuck. Everyone watching, even the dude with glasses, just thinks he's finished. They're all expecting him to get wrecked. Four Eyes doesn't even try to hide it. He thinks is straight up gross. He's just been getting by, grinding on them. He always played it safe, dodging any trouble that came his way. He thinks the only shot he has at making it out is to steer clear of. Going head to head would just end badly for everyone. After sizing up the guy in front of him, charges straight at him. The teacher totally freaks out and yells at Yi, trying to get his attention and warn him. She thinks he's about to block Smooth again, but she realizes that pulling that off could be tough since it drains a ton of energy. It's coming in so fast that blocking him won't do anything. He knows he's got this round locked in. Just smiles, totally chilled out. He doesn't even bother trying to dodge, since he's got another trick ready to go. Right when gets to him, he activates Flash Blink, and just like that, he's moving so fast it's like he blips right past anything in his way. It all happens so fast that barely even notices it. He just landed a solid hit right where it hurts most. Blood spills from his mouth as he tries to piece together how you managed to get behind him. He hits the ground hard, clearly pissed off. Everyone else just stands there, totally stunned, not sure how to react to the embarrassment going down. Nobody around saw what Yi actually did. All they caught was suddenly hitting the ground. Even the teacher looked totally clueless about what just went down. But the class president Chi Yin caught what Yi was up to. Chi Yin suddenly gets it. Yi is actually leveled up to the top. He used a warrior's basic move and actually pulled it off during the fight. All the students start looking at, trying to figure out what's up with him. Checks out his status screen and spots one of his stats catching his eye. His stats went up after he took down his opponent. He looks at the points and just thinks it's not enough. He gets that if he wants to really level up, he'll have to take down some demons, and he's already planning to jump on that as soon as possible. He was still down on the floor, trying to get himself together. Isn't backing down. He wants you to stay because he's got unfinished business with him. He sneaks up behind you, knife in hand, ready to make his move. Before he gets the chance, someone calls out and tells them to hold up. The guy standing there is the school dean, who also happens to be his uncle. Lin starts roasting, pointing out how he's already embarrassed himself in front of everyone. He tells everyone it's time to pack up and go home. He heard someone bring up home, and that word just hit different. For the first time, he realizes he actually has a place to go back to. He totally spaced because he'd just come back to life, and last time around his parents were already gone. He remembers that today's date means something heavy happened before. Before the dean even gets a word out, he's already on the move. He takes off running, barely thinking, just locked in on getting out of there as fast as he can. Even just stands there stunned watching Bolt out of sight. The dean can't even get a word out, just kind of frozen in place. He turns to, giving her a look that basically says she needs to handle her student. He decides to let it slide and appreciates it. Later, heads over to his uncle's office, ready to explain himself and clear things up. He thinks he just got lucky, nothing special. His uncle just loses it and yells at him. I had him completely embarrassed, leaving him with no comeback at all. Hung back watching as he pulled off the flash blink move. He tells that Yi spotted his weak spot in a split second and just went for it. He had no way to block it and got totally caught off guard. The dean's seriously annoyed right now. Even with all the skills he's picked up over the years, he just can't pull off the flash move like that. The dean thought fighting Yi was basically like a pro gamer messing around with a newbie, was just on another level. He wanted his nephew to realize that Yi isn't just some regular kid. He's moving fast, all his focus on getting back home. He knows he can't waste any time, getting there matters way more than anything else right now. He gets to the apartment building fast. He replayed everything in his head, thinking back on how it all happened. Back when he was alive before, he's not letting it happen again, no matter what it costs him, even if it means putting everything on the line. He steps inside the house. His dad chills in front of the TV while his mom handles the dishes. He walks in and you can tell right away he's pissed. His dad didn't expect him to show up this soon. Just straight up blanks his dad. He looks straight at his mom, eyes wet. You can tell he's just relieved she's okay. His mom can't speak, so she talks to using sign language. She lets him know she cooked his go-to meal. He grabbed a bowl of hot and sour noodles. He just shook his head and said noodles weren't it for him today. Instead, he was craving some pickled fish. His mom jumps in and starts pushing back. She eventually just lets her son have his way, realizing there's no point trying to change his mind when he's this locked in. She decides she's down to grab the pickled fish, and Yi says he'll tag along. His dad steps in and tells him to chill, saying his mom's got it and doesn't need backup. He can't figure out why Yi showed up again but didn't say anything to him. He gets up. He grabs his drink and looks over at Yi, clearly wanting to know how his son's awakening went and what power he got. His dad, Ling Shang, is actually a top-tier electric warrior. The dude's got serious power so people don't mess with him. Let his dad know he didn't wake up that day since everything dragged on for way too long. His dad wants answers, asking why he's back home so soon when he's not even awake yet. He was pretty let down when his friend's kid awakened with a basic class. Deep down, he was already hyped up, thinking his own son would pull something crazy like getting the Abyss rank. Says he woke up and somehow had the Abyss rank. He's worked non-stop, putting in everything he's got to raise his son right. He's clearly mad and the vibe around him gets intense. He wants answers, pressing hard to find out what ability you just got. He got completely caught up in the vibe. He just straight up says he still hasn't awakened, even though that's not the truth. His dad just gets even more pissed and suddenly smacks a drink bottle right over his head. He finds out just woke up with the dust rank. He gets even angrier and starts shouting at him. Ling Shang's got a mean streak and just can't hold back. He tried to keep it together. Back in his old life, his dad used to get seriously mad and embarrassed. Things got heated over the dust rank and dudes started throwing hands. He swung at Yi, but Yi's mom jumped in like she always did. Yi, not really strong enough to do anything, just stood there watching it all go down. His dad spent a whole hour hitting his mom. She got hit so hard in the head that her mind never really recovered after that. He just broke down, tears streaming as he watched his mom get hurt, powerless to do anything about it in his last life. He's got a second shot at life now, and this time he's set on flipping the script. He's just not ready to go up against his dad yet. He was just a C-rank Abyss class warrior. He still has to put in work before he gets stronger. He realized the moves that worked on just aren't gonna cut it this time. Knows his dad's got way more real fighting experience. He has to admit he's still nowhere close to catching up. His dad yanks him by the hair. His dad's pacing around the room, going off about how he wishes he was never born. You can tell he's in real trouble this time. His dad even got home early just to sit there and wait for him, and he's not letting you leave until he's done. He knew what his dad was like, so he wanted his mom out of there as soon as possible. You felt relieved that she was safe now, and for a second he let himself chill a bit inside, but right then he got hit on the head out of nowhere. Things get even messier when someone else walks into the house. His mom showed up, the last person he wanted, seeing how bad things got. His mom freaks out when she spots going off on her son, who's already down on the ground. She hustled home, moving as fast as she could, just to make sure her hungry son got something to eat. That's why she came back so fast. He sees his mom and gets super tense, worried things might go down just like before. Just like everyone guessed, Ling Sheng zeroes in on the struggling woman. Back in the day, he was just sitting in his cell, stuck behind bars. Back in his last life, he was the first guy ever to level up from green tier all the way to platinum. After seeing what he could do, his cellmates started thinking hard about why a guy like him ended up in a prison meant for people on death row. Just said he should die since he killed his own mom. He got the death penalty after taking out his dad, trying to get back at him for what he did to his mom. Right now, in the present, looks like things are about to go down the same way all over again. Just keeps going wild. His mom rushes over to see if her son's alright. You gets it, he's way tougher than most people. He definitely wouldn't have made it through if his dad had swung at him. His mom moves quick, helping him off the ground and stepping in front of him before his dad can get any closer. Just keeps going off. He let his wife know he was genuinely happy during her pregnancy. His brothers hadn't had any sons, so he figured it was on him to bring the family name back up. What happened next just made him sick. His son, who he always thought would be something special, woke up to find out he got the worst class possible, just ran. Ling Sheng just lost it and started yelling at his wife. He remembered that you couldn't level up since his class was basically garbage. He thinks it all comes down to his wife's genes. Ling Sheng snaps and tries to swing at her, but Yi steps in and shuts it down before anything happens. He pulls out Flashblade. He rushed to slip past his mom and stop his dad's move. Ling Sheng got sent flying back. He just stands there with a confident grin, looking like he's ready to take on anything. His mom's on edge because she already knows what's about to happen. Ling Sheng stands up and strolls off with this cocky vibe like he owns the place. He stepped up to his son, ready to totally wreck him. Gets ready to pull off a parry move, but right before he gets the chance to use the skill, his dad's punch just falls apart. He looks through his sword and it smacks him right in the face. He takes a hit and starts bleeding, suddenly realizing just how outmatched he is. He barely has a second to catch his breath before another punch swings his way. He throws up his hands to block it, but the hit still gets through and messes up his ribs. Gets ready to hit his son with another heavy move, wanting to show who's really in charge. He's honestly annoyed that this guy even has the nerve to stand up to him. He notices the punch coming his way, but he's stuck. There's no way he can get out of the way or stop it. He just throws his hands over his head when it hits. Straight up lets know that waking up with such a trash class means he's basically done for. He stays on his feet, not backing down. He's not about to let the same thing happen again. Gets even more annoyed when he notices still standing. He just starts clowning on him, acting like thinks he's some big shot now that he's awakened. Picked up a chair, looking like he was about to go off on his son. His mom held onto him tight, both of them just waiting to see what would happen next. Right then, someone outside started yelling for them to open up, sounding like they meant business. Ling Sheng gets annoyed when things get cut off. His mom hugs her kid, clearly glad for the pause. Isn't caught off guard by the knock since he set it up himself. Tries to look confident when he pushes the door open. His mood totally flips as soon as he spots who's at the door. Standing there are two guys who look like they don't mess around, waiting for Ling Sheng and wondering why he took his sweet time. Turns out they're both inspector investigators, who's the red A-rank deputy captain and Jin Woo, a blue C-rank. Ling Sheng freezes when he spots them at his place. His hands start shaking as he tries to figure out what they're doing there. Pulls up his phone and shows him a pic of someone on a wanted poster. The cops showed up looking for a guy called Snow. They asked Ling Sheng if he'd spotted him around. Someone had called in saying Snow was somewhere in the building, so now the police were going door to door, checking every spot. Relaxes when he realizes they didn't come because of him. He cracks a smile, letting them know he's never actually seen Snow before. Snow is all over TV and pretty much everyone knows him, so he lets them know he'd definitely say something if he ever saw the guy around. Right then, something happens. Spots he looking rough and immediately turns to Ling, wanting to know what went down. Just covers for his son, saying the kid slipped up and fell when he was out grabbing groceries. He gives a quick pat on the shoulder, basically telling him it's nothing serious and not to stress about it. Before he can even get his words out, he jumps in and tells the officers his dad isn't telling the truth. He just straight up lets everyone know his dad hit him, and that's why he's standing there all covered in blood. 18 minutes before, Yi had grabbed the phone in his apartment and called the cops, telling them he spotted Snow inside the building. He knew the police would take anything about Snow seriously, but he was still surprised by how quick they showed up. He felt relieved, though, since their fast response gave him just enough time to get things done. Brushes off what his son says, pretending he's not good enough to take him on. But he shuts it down by dropping the real facts. He lets the cops know his dad smashed a wine bottle over his head and swung a stool at his arm. He keeps showing the spots where he got hit, making it clear they can check him out for any injuries. He pushes things even more, bringing up their official rules. He points out that if an Awakener loses control and hurts people, they get sent to the Awakener prison for 2 weeks. The cops can't believe how much he knows. They're actually pretty impressed by him. Shoots his son a cold look, clearly not impressed. After hearing everything you laid out, realized he couldn't just let walk free. At this point, arresting him was the only move left. The cops grab him right away, and when he tries to go for his son, they just tell him to chill out. They drag out of the house, but even then, he's already throwing out threats, promising he'll take down his own son when he gets back. Just shuts the door and doesn't even look back while they pull him away. After they finally get to safety, his mom rushes over and just pulls him into a hug. Finally managed to save his mom, and honestly, he felt like a weight just dropped off his shoulders. He's got just 15 days to level up, and right then, he tells his mom he's not letting mess with her ever again. Right before his dad got taken away, he managed to snag the key to his dad's safe. He knows his dad has always been strict, laying down rules like it's his full-time job. There was something inside that actually mattered. This is how he went from E rank up to C rank. Later, he walks over to the safe and pops it open. Inside was a box no one was supposed to know about. He only figured this out after his dad passed away in his last life. He pops open the safe and pulls out this wicked-looking blade. He's getting ready to dive into the demon caves with his blade. Since these caves are the only shot he has at leveling up, he knows he's got to face the labyrinth head-on, no way around it. But there's a catch. The demon caves are basically off-limits unless you're part of a guild since the gods run the show. Right now, you can only get into the caves the school controls. Still, he knows about a secret demon cave from his past life that he can slip into whenever he wants. Heads straight over to the demon cave that's hidden away. He was locked in, pushing himself hard to outpace everyone else as quickly as possible. While all this was going down, the officers hanging out in the inspectorate's holding room were just chatting about how the whole snow thing turned out to be nothing. They're not upset at all. Whenever it's about snow, they're always down to see what's going on. As they talk things over, Ling Sheng tries to pay them off so they'll let him go. Can't stand the way acts, especially since they're supposed to be on the same team. The officers let him know straight up that if he tries to bribe them, things are only gonna go downhill from here. They tell him to just chill there for the night, since he's heading to the Awakena prison first thing in the morning. Ling Sheng is totally locked in on his son, all that anger's zeroed in on him. Already knows his dad's getting out in 15 days. He's getting ready to dive into the demon caves so he can level up. Demon caves are like a whole different world that lines up with their own, and you get in through a random door that just pops up out of nowhere. When people find these places, guilds usually swoop in and take control, since there are monsters and valuable ores inside. These spots were basically where Awakenas leveled up the fastest. Usually people need to roll in with a team because those caves are actually pretty risky. Back then, you was about to face something that people wouldn't even find out about until 5 years later. You need at least 3 E-rank guys to clear out an F-rank cave. An E-rank cave usually needs 5 people to clear it. 3 of them gotta be E-rank, and the other 2 need to be D-rank. He thinks he's got this. He's sure that the cave he's about to check out is just F-rank, nothing wild. Everyone knew the demon caves were straight up risky. He didn't have any other options, so he had to go into the cave alone. He gets it if he wants to keep up, he has to level up fast. He grabs the weapon from his dad's safe and heads straight into the demon cave, ready for whatever's about to go down. Ice and snow covered everything around. He could tell right away that he'd ended up in a place ruled by some kind of cloud magic beast. He's just walking around the area when he spots this massive ice bear knocked out cold. Right in front of it, a bunch of human skeletons are scattered, making it pretty clear that some people tried coming through here before, and it didn't end well for them. He glances around the place, scanning everything. He was straight up ruthless. A forest wolf showed up out of nowhere and nearly took him out. Even though it was just E-rank, the wolf still had way more power than you. He jumps back fast. He just wanted to stay out of the wolf's way. The wolf charged at him again, but he managed to block its teeth using his blade. He jumps right into action and starts going after his opponent. He dropped the wolf in one clean move. He's able to pull this off because of the A-rank weapon he's carrying. This thing isn't something you can just buy anywhere, which is why his dad kept it stashed away. With it, you can actually stand a chance against the beasts, even though they're way stronger. The weapon, called the blade, is built from stone and slices through iron like it's nothing. Still, you knows these beasts are tough, and even with the blade, it'll take at least 4 hits to bring one down. He jokes around, saying he kinda misses the days when he was just an L-rank Awakener. He finds out the only way to level up his skills is by taking down 20 wolves. Since he's battling in an icy zone, his cloud powers are the ones that'll get stronger. To climb from E-rank to D-rank, he's got to stack up 10 level upgrades. Wolves started closing in around Yi, boxing him in from every side. Wolves showed up, drawn by the scent of blood. For him, this was the perfect shot to level up, but he knew it could get risky real quick. The wolves close in on him from all sides, but he just trusts his 2 main skills to handle the situation. He moved out of the way just in time. He got ready to fight back. He slips through the chaos, dodging hits like it's nothing, all while landing solid blows on the monsters. He wipes out the first group, and every time one drops, he gets 52 XP added to his total. He picked up Wolf's fangs too. After handling the whole pack, he still had the Wolf King waiting for him. He moved fast, dodging every obstacle like it was nothing. He goes all out, landing a bunch of hits on the wolf before it can even try to heal up. The Wolf King drops, and Yi scores 56 points for taking it down. Since he took down the Wolf King, he scored a Snow Wolf Diamond too. He takes out the first group and levels up, hitting D-rank now. He picked up 12 attribute points and started putting them wherever he thought they'd help most. He realizes he's already wiped after taking down just 20 wolves, and honestly, these E-rank bodies are way weaker than he expected. He also gets that he seriously needs a dimensional backpack if he wants to stash all the loot he's picking up. He knows going into a demon cave alone is tough. The Snow Wolf Diamond he got is a solid gem people use to make rare weapons, and it sells for a lot. He gets that the only shot at getting into a top-level demonic cave is by joining the Divine Corps. Awakening schools basically answer to the guilds, so guild reps show up all the time looking for new talent. Every student there hopes to make it big, graduate, and get picked up by a guild. If someone gets dropped from their team, that's pretty much game over for their whole career. That's exactly what happened to Stad, and now stuck at C rank because of it. He takes a look at where he's at and knows going solo against these beasts is gonna drain him even faster. He's already running on fumes. Out of nowhere, more wolves show up. He remembers a move he saved for moments like this and gets ready to use it. He takes off and the wolves are right on his heels. He heads into the woods and the others follow him, sticking close as he moves through the trees. He starts chopping down trees so he's got room to move around. The noise grabs the attention of another creature in the forest, the cloud python. Now he's got to handle both wolves and pythons coming at him. He knew it was time to make his move, so he started putting his plan into play. He sets off a huge blast that echoes everywhere. He's just waiting to see if it'll wake up that one beast he's got his eye on. His plan actually works. The frost bear, still half asleep but already ticked off, lumbers out of its den, ready to see what's messing with its space. The bear totally loses it and just goes after anything in its way. The bears just went off, not holding back at all. Wolves and pythons tried to hang in there, but they all got wrecked. No one was safe when the bear snapped. While the bear goes wild, he moves in and handles the mess it leaves, picking up a ton of XP along the way. He keeps pulling the same moves. He started racking up points and picking up things like python fangs and wolf fangs. He spots where the beast slips up and goes for it. The beast keeps charging, but honestly it's not the brightest. He lets the bear handle most of the work, saving his own energy. Even so, he knows he has to step in and take out the rest if he wants to level up. After going at it for a few minutes, he is wiped out. He's ready to take things up a notch and jumps straight into the next part of what he's got planned. When the beasts are all lined up and ready, he slams down onto the ice, shattering it and taking them out. He's been checking out the ground and realizes they're actually standing on this ice bridge hanging between two cliffs. His plan wipes out nearly every beast at once, clearing the way in no time. He's running on empty, but he still has stuff to deal with. Frost Bear stood there with the last few wolves still by his side. The system drops a new title on him. It's called 1 against 100. When he's up against a crowd, all his stats get a 10% boost. He isn't stressing about the Frost Bear right now. He's been through enough caves and games to know there's always a boss waiting at the end, so he's just waiting for it to pop out. He's already stirred things up a lot and can't figure out why the boss still hasn't shown up. Out of nowhere, ice blasts out across the spot, catching him and the monsters right away before he even sees it coming. Figures out he was off, and what he thought before wasn't actually true. The final boss was already awake, just chilling in the shadows, waiting for everyone to get tired out before making his move. And the beasts all crowd together in the same spot, so there's basically no way out. The spell lands right on him. His legs are already iced up. He spots the ice bridge. This was all part of the boss's setup. The boss set everything up, ready to roll in and take all the credit. He realizes the final boss in the cave isn't just some mindless monster. It actually knows what's up. The last boss in the game is the demon monkey, and he's got a bunch of other apes backing him up as guards. His whole body is pretty much frozen over with ice. The demon monkey just stands there with this wicked grin, making sure nobody can move an inch. Turns out this cave is no joke. It's the kind of spot where you need a whole squad of E-rank warriors just to have a shot. You can't move at all, and the cold is getting brutal. He knows if his body temperature drops anymore, that's game over for him. The monkey boss lifts his hand up. He points right at Yi, sending his monkeys after him. He figured out he was stuck, so he pulled out his parry move. Timing has to be spot on for the parry skill to actually work. He hangs back, timing it so he moves right when the attack is about to connect. He throws on his parry, then follows up with shatter, ready for whatever's coming next. He smashes through the ice and shuts down the attack coming his way. He gets a quick breather, but deep down he knows he's in a bad spot. Most of his energy is already gone. With the shatter skill, an awaken can push all their energy to shake off anything controlling them, but it drains a ton of stamina. He knows the demon monkey can't pull out its top move right away, so he's got to finish things before it gets another shot. The demon monkey starts bossing around the ice bears and wolves, making sure they all know what to do. They were coming straight for Yi. He knew the element always has trouble with the cloud element, so he could tell right away he probably wasn't going to win this one. He's running out of energy and starting to get really tired. The demon monkey chills on his throne, running the show and bossing his minions around like he owns the place. Gets it? If any more beasts pop up, he's done for. He was stuck, mind racing as he searched for any way to escape. One of the monkey beasts suddenly goes after him, swinging a club and trying to slam him down. He barely pulls through. He tries to block the hit but still gets knocked backward. His knee slid across the cold ice while he tried to keep himself from wiping out. He gets hit out of nowhere and just loses all his energy. He's left struggling way behind now. The ice bear keeps yelling nonstop, and it's just draining all his energy. Out of nowhere, one of the bears chucks a massive chunk of ice straight at. He still gets it done and chops it down. But honestly, the cold just makes things worse. His energy is basically gone. The demon monkey sees you struggling to keep it together. He pulls off another ultimate move. The ice storm hit. He freezes for a second, caught off guard by how quick the monkey's ultimate comes back. He definitely wasn't ready for that. He freezes when he sees the attack coming, his eyes wide with pure fear. This takes him back to memories from his last life. He got thrown into some wild situations where things could have gone either way, so he started picking up on chances that most people would miss. He thinks about where he's at right now and realizes he's got two paths he can take. He could stick around and keep swinging, but his energy's gone and he's just getting beat up more. If he doesn't dip soon, he's not making it out. Doesn't overthink it, he goes for the easy play and just bolts. Without hesitating, he dives right off the cliff, but before he can even get away, the demon monkey comes in hot and smacks him with it. An ice spell locked onto his feet, making him slip and hit the ground. Ice started building up all around him. He drops into the river below, barely hanging on as he tries to survive. His mom walks into his room at home. She walks in expecting to see you knocked out, but the bed's empty. That really throws her off. Took off from home on Friday and now it's already Saturday. His mom comes across a note from him letting her know he's hanging out at a friend's place. You tries to keep her chill, telling her it's nothing to stress about. The note just makes her even more on edge because she knows he's the type to say stuff face to face, not just leave something behind like that. She starts thinking about what's up with him, since he's been acting off ever since yesterday. She's on edge with all kinds of thoughts racing through her mind. Back in the dungeon, you made it through the fall. Jumping off the cliff was all part of his strategy. He still remembers how almost 100 beasts dropped into the river after he smashed the ice bridge earlier. He ended up with rewards for just 40, so the rest made it out. Pulls himself out of the freezing river, coughing hard and struggling to catch his breath. Every move hurts, but he keeps going, totally wiped from the cold and everything he just went through. He made it through, but now he's pretty much running on empty. He's losing a lot of blood, freezing, and honestly just barely hanging on. His body's wrecked from that huge fall, bones aching, everything hurts. You can tell he's basically done for, he's got nothing left in the tank. He's just lying there. He starts thinking maybe this is really it for him. He looks around and suddenly there are wild beasts everywhere. The ice bears closed in on him, looking like they were about to end things for good. As they walk up, Yi starts thinking back on old times. He thinks back to when he was with the Divine Corps. He remembered all the fun times he had with his teammates. He had his mom looking out for him. He still thinks about all the messed up stuff his dad did. He couldn't shake the sting of being betrayed by someone he trusted. Deep down, something in his mind kept telling him it was over. He tightens his fists, not ready to give up yet. For him, this isn't the end. He's still locked in and ready to keep going. He pushes himself back to his feet, right when the ice bear's about to take him out. He throws up his hand just in time, blocking those huge teeth before they can snap shut on him. He made up his mind. He wasn't letting the mistakes from his last life happen again. He already lost his life once and had nothing left. Now he's locked in and ready to flip the script. He suddenly felt locked in and ready to go. He wrecks the ice bear, then launches it way off into the distance. He exhales, his breath icy, then picks up his short sword again, ready for whatever's next. He tries something wild, and that move sets off something big, something that could actually level him up to the next class. He stands there, yellow energy swirling around him, with monsters all around. He decided to hit the dungeon alone and take on some pretty wild monsters, because he wanted to prove something to himself. He tried to bring back that old feeling, really making himself remember how desperate he used to be. That feeling kicked his adrenaline into overdrive, and he was really hoping it would help him level up his class. He got super close to dying but still didn't hit what was needed. But instead of leveling up his class, he ends up unlocking a whole new ultimate move called Holy Swordsman. This skill is seriously next level for where he's at. Even though he didn't level up his class, having this in his back pocket is going to come in clutch. His energy was on another level thanks to his new skill and all that adrenaline. He raised his sword ready to face the beast head on. He's basically letting everyone know their time is up and they're about to get wiped out. One beast starts moving and right away the rest just go with it. He doesn't even flinch, he just gets his short sword ready, totally locked in. He gets close and suddenly goes off with this wild move called Sanctuary. It's like a crazy fast spin that wipes out all the monsters around him in just one shot. He takes them out one by one while his phone blows up with alerts saying he just beat the ice bears. He took down some wolves in the forest and checked out how much experience he picked up. After wiping out the monsters, he grabs loot like Beast Hide, Proud, and Blood Tooth. Thanks to his Sanctuary skill, all his tiredness just disappears and his energy bounces right back. He levels up again and scores the Wanderer title. Now he's got some serious defense against cloud creatures and takes 100 less damage, which is clutch for him right now. He stands at the edge, eyes locked on the top of the cliff. In his head, he's already decided. He's not stopping until he takes out every last beast up there, boss included. After racking up a ton of experience points, he levels up and hits level 9 in the E-class. He doesn't waste any time, he turns on the Wanderer effect so the cold doesn't get to him. His Sanctuary skill is clutch too, it lets him take some hits, save up that damage, and then drop it all at once on a bunch of enemies. He can't pull this move off unless he's already taken a bunch of hits. He's grateful the skill brought his energy back. Then it hits him, he's gotta wrap this up and get home fast or his mom's gonna start stressing. He scrambles up the cliff, pushing past the rough edges, and heads straight for the demon monkey boss's palace. Ice Beasts had the demon monkey's back, making sure nothing could touch him. He just shrugs it off. He rushes straight into the palace, not slowing down for anything. He kept grinding through more beasts, and now he's finally hit level 10, the last step before moving up from E-class. It's already 11 p.m. and his mom is really starting to stress. She's got dinner ready but her son's nowhere to be seen. She can't help but hope he's okay out there. Inside the boss's palace, he wipes out the ice bears guarding the place. Now it's just him facing off against the boss's main guards. The monkeys look pretty intimidating. Their boss just stood there totally calm and told his guards to drag Yi out. A monkey suddenly launched itself at Yi. He just steps up and blocks it, no sweat. He just cuts it clean in two like it's nothing. The monkey boss notices what's happening and starts to get that things could go south real quick. He goes off and drops his ultimate move, Ice Storm Assault, not holding anything back. Nothing happens to Yi now, he's totally immune. He takes off sprinting straight at the monkey boss. He was straight up desperate. The boss lifts his staff, and suddenly the jewel on top lights up as he kicks off some kind of spell. The other monkeys instantly start going wild, all hyped up and acting way more intense than before. He isn't worried about these guys at all. To him, they're just obstacles he's gotta take down if he wants to make it to D-class. He just slices right through the beast like it's no big deal, barely breaking a sweat. He took out one of the monkey boss's arms. The boss yells out, hurting bad as blood starts pouring out from the cut-off arm before it even has a chance to move. His eyes lock onto it, staring hard like he's ready for anything. He goes all in, landing a bunch of quick hits on the boss until it goes down. His phone buzzes, letting him know he just took down the D-class Cloud Element guy, the top dog of the Azure Forest, and scored 1000 XP. He levels up and makes it to D-class Warrior. After that, he notices some stuff on the ground he can grab. Thanks to the grind he just went through fighting that cloud monster, the system pops up and lets him know he's about to unlock a new job. He totally blanks and remembers he forgot all about it, kind of thrown off by how it just slipped his mind. Out of nowhere, red and blue energy started glowing around him. He just unlocked the Cloud Element Mage class, and now he can switch up his profession whenever he wants. His hype is real, he just unlocked a red profession even if it's only E-class right now. The class already had a solid 100% bonus, but the red class doubles that, hitting 200%. Power-wise, the red class is already going toe-to-toe with his old setup. Grabs the mage weapon called the Stone of Magic, then spots a magic pouch that can carry up to 20 things. While he's grabbing everything he can, the other beasts just stand there watching. Once he's finished, glances up and notices there are still some beasts left standing. He just unlocked a new job. He goes for it and tests it out on them. He switches over to mage mode. Red lights started glowing from his eyes as he got ready to wipe them out. It's Sunday morning, 5 a.m. on the dot. His mom stayed up all night just sitting in the living room waiting for him to come back. Right at that moment, steps up and pushes the door open. She jumps to her feet right away, walked in with a smile, looking relaxed, and let her know he was sorry for making her stress out. His mom rushes over, pulls him into a tight hug, and just starts crying. He shows up and spots her waiting for him. He definitely didn't see that coming. He hadn't eaten yet. After that, he let her know he had something good to share. On his way out of the dungeon, he scooped up some solid loot, all because he had that magic pouch with him. Once he dipped out, he ran into this ore broker. The guy was down to grab the ore off him for $800. He throws out 8,000, catching the broker totally off guard. Without saying a word, he just grabs the ore and starts to walk off. The broker, not wanting to lose out, quickly bumps his offer up to 2,000, but he isn't having it. He pushes back, now saying he wants 5,000. The broker throws out 3,000 as his last price, but before he can lock it in, Yi starts bumping up the offer, and in no time the price jumps to 7,000. The broker keeps trying to argue, but when he sees Yi isn't backing down, he gives in and takes the 7,000 for the ore. He's got history dealing with brokers from before, so he already knows exactly how to handle these guys. With the cash he made from selling the ore, he grabbed an apartment for his mom to live in. Back when Yi was a kid, his mom couldn't catch a break, trouble just kept coming her way. But now all he wants is to look out for her and make sure she actually gets to chill and have a good time for once. He wraps up the apartment deal right in front of his mom, and she's caught off guard by how expensive it is. By 8 that Sunday night, they finally got all their stuff into the new place. You noticed his mom actually smiling for once, and honestly it had been ages since he saw her look that happy. Even after getting his own place and leveling up from E to D class, he stays on alert all the time thanks to his dad. He figured he had to handle things with his dad first before chasing after the real guy he was after. He slips a magic stone onto his right arm, and right away, the space around him starts to level up. His magic power just got cut in half. While all this is happening, he's grinding non-stop, pushing himself to go further by moving from one labyrinth to the next with 0 breaks. He still refuses to chill, even though his sister keeps telling him to take a break. He knocks her hand aside. He's ready to do whatever it takes to stay ahead of everyone else. Somewhere else, someone no one really knows is taking a look. The new roster of students who just got their powers. He was pretty let down because nobody really stood out. The next morning, right at 7:30, his mom had some food ready for him. Suddenly notices the time and realizes he's late. He can't figure out why she didn't wake him up. She noticed he was completely knocked out, so she just let him sleep instead of waking him up. She lightly taps his head, reminding him to chill and not rush his food. After his mom comforted him, he finally relaxed. He noticed it had been ages since he got a good night's sleep or just sat down for a chill breakfast without rushing. Right then, his mom checks in to see if he wants anything. Like it was just some random toy or book. He didn't see the random gifts coming at all. His mom brings up that his birthday's coming up next Friday, June 5th. He suddenly realizes she's got a point, but he completely spaced on it. He hadn't had a real celebration in ages. After his mom passed away in his last life, nobody celebrated his birthday after that, and over time he just stopped caring about it. While he eats, he tries to figure out if there's anything he actually wants. He's just sitting there not really getting it because he already has everything he actually wants. His next big move is making sure. He wanted to take down the traitor who got him and his squad killed. When walks into school, he finds out everyone's getting ready for the combat simulation. The teacher steps up in front of the group, looking at everyone who just woke up, and starts explaining what's going on. He lets everyone know the Divine Guild runs the academy, and they'll be keeping an eye on everything the students do. He knows showing off in the combat sim is the move if he wants to get their attention. He lets everyone know it's actually the school's final test, and yeah, the whole thing's going live. Whoever crushes it the hardest gets a spot at training camp with the high school squad. This camp only pops up once a year, and it's honestly the top chance to link up with the Divine Guild. Every year, the top students from both middle and high school all get picked to go on this trip to Shanghai Nation. That's where the Divine Guild has its main base. Things back to the Shanghai Nation. That's where he first ran into his master. This was the place where the traitor came from, but he never actually ran into his master because he joined the Divine Corps later on. Gets that if he wants a shot at joining the training camp, he's gotta crush the assessment. That's his best move if he wants to track down the traitor. The simulation battle's coming up this Friday, just 4 days left. Some people are hyped, but Four Eyes isn't chill about it since they're actually running the whole thing inside a real labyrinth. The teacher points them toward the training room where they're about to start their first session. It's all about physical conditioning, and they're doing it in the gravity room. Everyone had to kick things off by grinding through 10 rounds of shuttle runs. No one really saw it coming. Heads over to his teacher. He decides he's not using the training room everyone keeps suggesting. The teacher and the other students just freeze, caught off guard by what happened. His teacher lets him know he shouldn't start thinking he's got it all figured out. He beat, and now everyone thinks he's just trying to get out of training. Lets everyone know he's looking for something more advanced in his training. The teacher doesn't really get it at first and checks if it's actually serious. He's basically hinting that something's off with the way he does things. Explains that most people who awaken need to get their bodies ready, so using the gravity room is actually a solid move. He thinks the shuttle run really only works for guys like assassins and warriors, the ones who gotta be quick and move smooth. Not everyone's built for that. He tells the teacher that mages and enchanters would get more out of training in the element room. He points out that since everyone's class has a different job, people should get to train in their own way. The teacher hears what's going on and calls out how he is pretty much taking over his job. Catches what's going on and just freezes, totally caught off guard. She figures out that Yi's training idea matches the one that Mr. Dong Yang from the Divine Corps talked about. It's not something people would know about unless they saw that tape her dad brought home. Chi Yin can't believe Yi thought of the exact same thing on his own. Lets Yi know he should chill with the teacher, since this guy is basically the top trainer at school and doesn't mess around. The teacher doesn't get mad at all, he just gives Yi a quick pat on the shoulder. He grins, thinking the training style he just heard about actually sounds pretty cool. There are a ton of students in class, so the teacher starts breaking it down for everyone. He knew there was no way to handle what everyone wanted right away. He explains that the combat simulation is a serious test for students, and messing it up could totally mess with someone's future. He thinks back to his old life. Even though things at home were rough, his teachers always had his back and helped him become someone who could handle himself. He looks over at the teacher, letting him know he's got this and won't mess it up. The teacher looks over at Yi, wanting to know what his plan is for training as a nuclear warrior. Yi doesn't even hesitate, he just says they should crank up the elemental suppression. He cranked the element room all the way up. The teacher just froze, not expecting that at all, and even Specs looked caught off guard. He tells everyone he's trying to balance out his skills as a warrior, acting like he wants to work on his weak spots. Deep down, he's actually keeping his real goal hidden. He's just trying to level up his mage side without anyone catching on. Right then, Chi Yin puts her hand up, letting everyone know she wants to try out elemental control too. The teacher just goes with it, giving them the green light but reminds both of them to go all out when the final assessment comes around. Chi Yin heads over to Yi, hoping they could train together, but Yi shuts her down fast, saying he's about to hit a private room instead. Says getting turned down just made her even more determined to give it her all. He was grinding in the elemental room trying to get the hang of this mage stuff. It wasn't easy since he was still a newbie, but he was determined to level up fast before his time ran out. He's planning to keep his job-changing power on the down low since the school is watched by the god, and every move students make is basically tracked. He's trying to stay off the god's radar so they don't come after him first. While Chi is grinding hard with barely any elemental suppression, she's convinced she can catch up to Yi's power. On the other hand, Yi keeps his distance from his classmates, not because he's shy, but because he wants to look out for them. After class ended, and his buddy spotted Yi walking way ahead, so they hustled to catch up and let him know he was moving too fast. Back in his last life, those two guys were Yi's closest bros all through middle school. Since everyone around him was pretty weak, they all ended up getting picked on together. Hanging out with his friends, even if they weren't the toughest guys, was honestly the only good part of his middle school days. He's got revenge on his mind, so he's not really interested in talking to anyone. He hops on his bike and takes off, not even looking back at the people he's leaving behind. They're honestly surprised he dipped out again, especially since everyone thought the three of them were tight and nothing could split them up. Notices that isn't the same guy he used to be ever since the awakening happened. He looked way more confident now. A few minutes later, they finally caught up with who was just hanging out waiting for them. Pointed out that Specs should probably get his lungs checked when he gets the chance. They're both relieved that he's done now. He shuts them down again, letting them know they're just not quick enough for him. He hops on his bike and takes off, leaving everyone behind. Both of them just stood there, totally stunned. Back in his old life, got hit with some lung disease out of nowhere and didn't make it much longer after that. Now, Yi just wants to see stick around and stay healthy, even if they never actually get close. Still thinks hasn't changed at all. He comes off as pretty cold these days. At the training camp in Shanghai Nation, two guys were checking out a new recruit who'd been crushing it lately. The new guy shows up with the same hairstyle as the traitor who sold out Yi and his crew. That night when Yi got home, he let his mom know she shouldn't head out by herself. He promised he'd always make it back early and handle picking up whatever they needed. Yi's got his guard up since he knows the place isn't exactly safe for him. He wants to give his mom a better place to live. He was stuck inside the Awakener's prison. Ling Sheng is already putting in work. He worked out a deal with one of the chefs. By Tuesday, already got the hang of how mages do their thing. He figured out the secret was all about how long it took to cast, and how much elemental power he needed to pull it off. He's going all out in the training room, maxing everything out, while his friends are out there barely getting through shuttle runs. The next day, training picks back up. After that, and his buddy hit up Yi to grab dinner with them, but just like always, he shuts them down without even thinking about it. He lets everyone know he's gotta head back home sooner than planned. He heads out, but before he goes, he drops some advice on his friends, sharing a secret move that only archers know about. The friend, who's all about archery, lights up when he hears the advice. By Thursday, heads over to the clinic. The doctor checks him out and basically says he's lucky he showed up when he did. The doctor lets him know there's a fast-growing tumor in his lungs, and it's not just any tumor, it's actually parasitic. The doctor lets know he should book surgery at a big hospital soon to get it taken out. Nods, grateful, and promises he'll set up the appointment. As he heads out, he suddenly remembers Yi was the one who told him about his lungs in the first place. Now he's trying to figure out how Yi even knew something was up. This just makes everyone even more curious about him. Right then, he picks up on some dudes chatting about just leveled up to E-Class level 4, and everyone's pretty sure he's about to crush it in the assessment. Turns out his family owns their own secret maze, and's been grinding in there to get stronger for their family's squad. Right then, the group says something that makes Spec pay attention. Turns out, Scott it out for you because of last weekend, and he's not letting it slide. The guys are saying is seriously mad, like he's ready to go after you for real. Even brought a weapon with him, looking like he wants to take things way too far. Catches what's going on and instantly knows his friend S in real trouble. Spec doesn't waste any time. He sees Yi needs help and instantly steps up, knowing it's the right move. He sprints down the school hallway, already guessing what random stuff might pull next. Starts thinking could have called in his crew to jump Yi. He suddenly snaps out of it and quits doubting himself, not even worrying about whether he'll be any help or not. He thinks about quitting, but then it hits him, Yi had his back. He sees Yi as his own brother. He's ready to risk it all just to make sure his friend gets out safe. Heads over to the school armory, moving fast and staying focused. He smashes the lock and gets inside. He's not sure if he should break the rules or not, but his move keeps replaying in his mind. He just can't let it go. He opens the door, totally ready to risk everything if it means his friend makes it out. He scans the rack, checking out all the weapons lined up. He grabs this huge axe. Out of nowhere, he catches Chi Yin's voice coming from behind, questioning what he's doing messing around in the armory. Tries to keep things to himself, not wanting to talk, but Kai Yin isn't letting it go. She can tell something's up because he looks like he's rushing, so she keeps pushing him for answers. Loses it at Chi Yin, and tells him straight up that he's gotta get moving if he wants to save you. At the same time he dipped out, he realizes someone has been trailing him. He ducks into an alley and stops, waiting for whoever has been following him to finally show themselves. Walks out sword in hand, looking like he means business. He's clearly ready to face and finally deal with whatever has been going on between them. Looks over his shoulder, face looking pretty down bad, checking with if he really stands a chance at beating him. Doesn't back down, he's sure he's got what it takes to beat you. Without wasting any time, he charges straight at Yi, using his move called Accelerate, ready to go all in. Says he's been grinding non-stop ever since what happened, on top of getting faster. Used another skill and suddenly popped up right behind Yi. Right as he's about to score, something stops him. He reacts quick and dodges out of the way. As soon as he sees a chance, he grabs and slams him straight into the ground. Winced as the hit landed, instantly knowing was way stronger than him. He's just sitting there, stunned, trying to wrap his head around what just happened. Then Yi lets him know he's not the only one putting in work, others have been grinding too. Pulls out his dagger fast and slams it against his sword. He slams it into the ground right next to his head. That's when gets it, Yi's on another level, way stronger than him. Even though they're both the same age, realizes right away that the guy standing in front of him is on a whole other level, someone he's never going to beat no matter what. Couldn't believe it when he saw Yi level up too. She starts yelling at him, wanting to know what level he's on. He doesn't buy it at all and keeps wondering how the guy even pulled it off. Lets it slip that he's been putting in extra hours, training on his own when nobody's watching. He had to grind pretty hard just to reach level 4. He just can't wrap his head around how Yi is still outpacing him. He cracked a smile when started talking about all the training he's been grinding through. Without missing a beat, Yi just tossed out a question, wondering if he'd ever actually been through something as wild as dying before. Had a knife pressed right up to his throat. He looked at Yi and basically dared him to go ahead, whether it was to finish him off or just mess him up. Thought Yi never really respected him, and turns out he straight up owned up to it. He lets know he doesn't really have that much beef with him. Notices that actually kept up with him and didn't try to jump him or bring back up. That gets respect. He catches on that was just testing himself, pushing to see how tough he really is. Not holding back, basically dares Yi to finish him off now, warning that if he doesn't, he's the one who's done for next time. He clearly doesn't want Yi acting like he knows him inside out. Yi rethinks things for a second, then admits he actually takes back what he said before about not hating that much. And Chi Yin showed up, but instead of jumping in, they stayed out of sight, keeping an eye on everything from the sidelines. Nobody expected Yi to handle things on his own, but when they looked over, he was just chilling on top of like it was nothing. Wasn't even trying to fight back, just completely still as if he'd already given up. Lets know he's got an offer lined up for him. He tells there's a way he can level up, but there's a catch. He knows he's gotta help him out. Friday rolls around and it's assessment day. All the students are gathered up waiting when the teacher lets them know it's time to run the combat simulation. He lets them know that yeah, it's a simulation, but they're actually going into a real labyrinth. Most of the labyrinth's power got locked away, but it's still got some serious dangers lurking around. The teacher reminds everyone to stick to what they're good at, since there's a bunch of dangerous monsters inside. To keep things under control, some high schoolers are there to help guide the students and make sure nobody gets hurt. The seniors won't jump into a fight, but if things get risky, everyone knows they're supposed to step in. There's gonna be a squad of 4 or 5, with an older student calling the shots. They get to pick either E-class or F-class dungeons. E-class is way tougher though, so the teacher basically tells them not to risk it unless they're actually strong enough. He points out that messing up this challenge means losing school credits, so yeah, it's actually a big deal. Once the teacher finished explaining what to do, he told everyone to go ahead and pick which dungeon level they wanted. Then he just looked around the room and told anyone interested in trying the E-class dungeon to put their hand up. 8 students threw their hands up for the E-class dungeons, with Chi Yin and in the mix. Can't believe some students are actually down to run those wild dungeons. Out of everyone in the class 180 students total, the teacher says only 8 people actually volunteered. He explains that everybody else is just going to get assigned to the F-class dungeons at random. Chi Yin looks around and sees that Yi didn't put his hand up. Out of nowhere, Yi steps up to the teacher. He steps up and says he wants to take on the school's D-class Spirit Jade dungeon. The whole room just freezes, nobody saw that coming. After he drops that announcement, everyone goes quiet, probably wondering if he's actually serious. His teacher just looked at him, totally stunned by what he'd asked. And Chi Yin, the class president, just stood there, totally not believing what they were seeing. All the other students looked surprised too, but those two were seriously locked in, trying to make sense of it. The teacher snapped back fast and just brushed Yi off, thinking he had to be messing around. Nobody just jumps into a D-class dungeon on their first shot, so the teacher straight up shut down his request. His eyes locked in, making it clear he wasn't joking around. Right then, the dean for the junior high walked up. He let everyone know that D-class dungeons are no joke. They're usually only for high schoolers who already leveled up to D-class or better. Didn't even flinch, he just pointed out that the combat sim rules literally let students pick whatever level they want. He kept going, explaining that the whole point of the school was to scout out top-tier talent for the Divine Guild, and they're only looking for people who got guts and real strength. Wanted to know if the dean was actually going to block him from showing what he could really do. Yeah, Dean's stuck, dude had no comeback, so he backed off a little. But then he threw out another issue, every dungeon needed a full squad. He didn't flinch and just said he could solo it. The dean got annoyed and straight up laid down the law, saying nobody is allowed to go in alone since the school's gotta keep everyone safe. Things were stuck, nobody making a move. Then out of nowhere, Chi Yin put her hand up, totally sure of herself, and said she was picking the D-class dungeon too. She looked locked in, ready to take on whatever was coming her way. Dean was definitely on edge. He couldn't believe Chi Yin's choice, and honestly, it had him stressing about what he'd even say to her dad if things went sideways. Chi Yin didn't back down. She made it clear she was aiming for the top score too, ready to see what she could really do. She shot Yi a confident wink and suggested they team up, but what happened next totally caught her off guard. He just shut it down right away, letting everyone know he was set on soloing the dungeon. Chi Yin barely had time to process getting turned down again before the teacher showed up. The teacher just walked over, put a hand on both their heads, and basically said Yi's no didn't count. Just like that, they were teamed up, no arguments, no escape. The dean let out a heavy sigh, not really happy about it, but said yes anyway. Under his breath, he complained about how the new students these days thought they were all that. The teacher brought up another issue. With just 2 guys on their squad trying to take on a tough dungeon, there was pretty much zero chance any of the older students would want to tag along and watch over them. It looked like there was no way they could pull it off, but then one of the seniors suddenly raised his hand. A confident guy walked up, grinning like he owned the place. He just put it out there, someone's gotta look out for the girls back home. The teacher finally relaxed and looked like a weight had been lifted off his shoulders. Seeing the volunteer there, he knew he could chill out and not stress anymore. Kai Yin stood with Yi, spotting the upperclassman who'd stepped up. She let you know his name was, and added that this guy nearly made it onto the ultimate school team, which was kind of a big deal. Walked up with a smirk and just stared, trying to figure out who this guy was and what squad he was even repping. Stood there looking at and just let him know straight up that he had no clue who he was. Saw that comment and couldn't help but laugh to himself. To him, was just showing off, acting like he was all that without having a clue where the line was. The teams were set and the teacher got everyone's attention. He let them know it was game time, the combat sim was about to kick off. A huge red portal lit up, grabbing everyone's focus. He let everyone know that pro-level drones would be following them around, streaming their dungeon runs live and catching everything they did. He hyped everyone up one last time, telling them to give it their all and see who could come out on top with the highest score. He stood at the front, eyes locked on the entrance, totally focused while everyone else got ready to go in. The Awaken Academy sat right where a huge demon cave used to be, after people finally took it back. As time went on, the main cave ended up spawning a bunch of smaller, hidden portals all over the school. Both the junior high and high school teams used it. The new dungeons, mostly ranked between F and D class, turned out to be great spots for students to train. Students like Specs were on their own wavelength. He and his friend jumped through their portals, and right then the combat simulation kicked off. Inside the portal, Yi Chi-yin and their supervisor moved ahead, while a drone tailed them quietly. He knew the whole simulation was live, with every move he made getting streamed and saved. He kept his cool, holding back his best moves, especially since he had no idea what surprises could pop up next, and he definitely didn't want to give the gods watching him any free info. He picked this challenge for a reason. He needed something inside the Spirit Jade dungeon, no questions asked. The squad showed up in this shadowy forest right on the edge of a cliff. Down by their feet they saw the leftovers of some thorny vine still pulsing with a soft green light. It was proof that they'd already handled their first fight. Walked right between Yi and Chi-yin, not even hesitating. He looked totally sure of himself, like he had this under control. He wanted them to chill since he'd handled stuff like this before, even those wild D-class dungeons when things got real and other strong awakened were around. As they walked further into the woods, Kai-yin got curious and wanted to know how tough the monsters in a D-class dungeon could get. Said their levels usually go from E5 up to D5. But since the school makes sure to lock away the scariest monsters, running into a real D-class beast wasn't really on the table, and there wouldn't be any boss fight waiting at the end. He flashed a quick smile, making it clear that people usually sleep on high-level E-class monsters, but they can really catch you off guard. Since their attacks could actually be pretty tough and fast, he pointed out that as newbies they were still at the bottom. Chi-yin got it and just nodded, knowing he was right. Looked over at Chi-yin and let her know he'd help her rack up points by finding easy monsters to fight. He wanted her to know she'd be safe with him. While he was talking, he noticed he was already way ahead, and there was this weird green glow around him that caught Sai. Stopped for a second, not really getting why Yi did that. He yelled after Yi, telling him not to take off so far ahead because if he ticked off a monster, things could get messy. Paused, looked over his shoulder and called out for being way too loud. Just froze, completely thrown off. He shot a quick look, eyes lit up and a cocky grin on his face. He made it pretty clear could chill on the sidelines, he had this handled on his own. And Chi-yin just watched as he kept moving forward, completely taking charge. They kicked off, switching the view to the trio, just as the official broadcast for this year's combat sim got started. Back at the academy, they set up these massive screens so everyone, students and teachers, could catch the combat simulation live. He watched as the teams kept grinding through the dungeons, each group making moves and showing how far they'd gotten. Now the story moves into a private room, and on the door there's a sign that says Ultimate School Team. Inside, the vice captain was chilling on a call, his green hair standing out in the room. He told Captain to check out the broadcast, saying it was actually pretty interesting this year. With a little grin, he mentioned how a younger student just decided to take on a D-class dungeon. A woman answered from the darkness, her face hidden so you couldn't really see her. She wanted to know which job the student just unlocked. The vice captain pointed out that this was where things got interesting. This student was a nuclear warrior, which everyone knew was one of the toughest and least popular jobs out there. The captain, kind of curious about the kid's bold attitude, decided she'd stick around to figure out what made him so fearless. Now the focus moves to the other student teams and what they're up against. Inside a closed-off F-class dungeon, started freaking out, yelling at the monsters to back off while shaking a tambourine around. His squad was deep in a fight with F-class flame bats and fierce bats. While the others were right up in the action throwing hands, he stayed at the back, locking in on support and making sure everyone had backup. The senior in charge of the group noticed how tense he was getting and told him to chill out, just focus on backing everyone up with support from a safe spot. Was still super freaked out, even those weak F-class monsters had him on edge. Inside a locked E-class dungeon, things were way more intense. Teams had to deal with packs of wild, wolf-looking beasts, all amped up with some serious elemental power. Squad was in trouble, a bunch of his guys were down, hurt pretty bad. One of the healers rushed over to help, checking on someone who looked like he'd just been through it. Saw his team struggling, so he decided if they couldn't handle the beasts, he'd just step up and face them on his own. Pumped up by his rivalry, he rushed straight at the wild fang, determined to beat you no matter what. Right as he landed his hit, a red status window popped up, showing off a skill that cranked up his strength, boosted his crits, and gave him some serious, driving him to go all out. Back in the sealed D-class dungeon, you just let loose with a huge move. This green energy slash sliced right through the air. He stood there totally chill with a bunch of dead beasts all around him. His system kept popping up, letting him know he just took out another E-class monster and got 30 XP each time. And Chi-yin stood back, not really believing what they just saw. Their supervisor could barely get his words out, trying to figure out how he actually pulled it off. He didn't even get a chance to respond before things got wild. Two giant spider monsters, covered in eyes, started creeping up on them. He didn't even flinch, he just told Chi-yin that the monsters were sealed up and only running at half power, so taking them down wasn't really a big deal. Chi-yin couldn't take his eyes off the guy swinging that huge blade he'd pulled out of his dad's safe. Honestly, he was impressed, thinking about how this dude had already gone up against a bunch of people at once, even when he wasn't going all out. She knew she still had a lot of catching up to do if she wanted to get anywhere close to his skills. He got ready for what was coming next, and let her know there was no reason to stack herself up against other people. He stayed cool and told her to just focus on leveling up herself. Chi-yin couldn't help but grin when she heard you just say it straight up. She grabbed her tight, looking pumped and ready to go all in. Stood off to the side, arms crossed, clearly annoyed as he watched this younger guy grab everyone's attention. He couldn't stand how this dude was just taking over the moment. He moved up trying to show he was in charge again. He wanted to remember this was still a D-class dungeon, nothing super easy, and not to start acting cocky. Ruffled his hair like he was still a rookie and gave him a nod for doing alright, especially since it was his first time here. But he didn't let get too confident, reminding him there were 3 caverns ahead and things were about to get way tougher. Started laying out the plan, telling Chi-yin to handle whatever came from the right. Before he could finish, jumped in quick to claim the left side for himself. just stood there totally thrown off and pretty much invisible to everyone around him. The team found themselves in a huge underground cave, surrounded by the bodies of monsters they'd just taken down. Up ahead, the path split into two separate tunnels, but what really caught their eye was this giant glowing red seal at the end of the cavern, pulsing like it was alive. Just brushed him off and started talking to Chi Yin, which made Get more and more annoyed. Wanted to see if could take care of the weaker monsters on the right side by herself. Meanwhile, just stood off to the side, watching everything go down and thinking this younger guy was really out of line. Told that the whole point of the simulation was to see what each person could actually do, and she had to show everyone what she was made of. He looked at her and just threw out a basic question, wondering if she actually cared about getting a solid score. That fired Cayenne up. Her face got serious and she locked in, ready to prove she could handle it. The plan was set. He headed off on his own, taking the left path, while Chi Yin and Xiling stuck together and went right. Stared at walking away, his face tight with anger. Under his breath, he let out a curse, thinking that if wouldn't get it the simple way, he'd have to switch things up. He was about to learn things the tough way. Out of nowhere, golden light popped off around him and he pulled out this sick glowing bow. Yeah, he was definitely up to no good now. In the viewing room, teachers and students were locked in on Yiz, barely believing what they were seeing. Drone snaps showed you soloing wave after wave of E-class monsters without breaking a sweat. Someone in the crowd couldn't help but point out just how wild it was that Yi had already wiped out so many beasts on his own. One of the teachers wanted to know what his current rank was, but someone else pointed out that the official report still had him at E1. Nobody really knew what his actual level was right now. Everyone figured he had to be at least E3 rank by now, maybe even E4 if he kept leveling up like this. While all that was going on, he was out there taking on these massive spider monsters blocking his way. The teacher who ran the awakening ceremony told the others that Yi wasn't just guessing when he sent Chi Yin to the right side. He'd actually caught on to how the elements worked, sending Chi Yin, who had the flower element, up against stellar element monsters, which played right into her strengths. The teacher gave you props for reading the situation and making clutch calls, even with all the pressure from the test. Thinking back on Yi's promise, the teacher couldn't help but grin a little. Turns out the kid was actually for real, not just talking himself up. He stared at the screen, kind of hyped to see what Yi would pull off next. From Yi's angle, everything lined up with what the teacher said. He'd already spotted that most of the stellar-type beasts were popping out of the cave on the right. Since those ones weren't as tough, it was basically the ideal spot for Chi Yin to jump in, especially since his elemental skills gave him the upper hand. Chi Yin kept moving along the trail and suddenly ran into this giant bug monster. It looked kind of like a beetle but way bigger, and it had these wild purple lights all over it. The creature came at her hard, not holding back. She didn't freeze up, she instantly threw her hand down, hit the ground and dropped a spell. Vines shot up, blocking its way. Thick, spiky vines burst out of the ground and grabbed the monster, locking it down tight. Even though her spell worked, Chi Yin looked like she was really pushing herself, focused hard as she got ready to go again, calling out for another attack. Kai Yin focused up and sent the thorny vines straight at the huge beetle monster. The vines wrapped around it and crushing its shell until it started bleeding. Poison kicked in and the bug just dropped. Not long after, her system pinged she'd taken down the E-class and got 30 XP for it. Kai Yin tightened her fist, her whole face lighting up with pride. She knew she crushed it again, and you could just tell she was feeling on top of the world. He stood at the start of his own trail, just watching how she moved along. He noticed right away that even E-class mages already came with their basic skills, no matter how early it was in the game. Chi Yin had this wild power where she could throw up a wall of plants that was actually poisonous. People called it Vine Wall. You saw her pull it off and was honestly pretty impressed. Even though it was her first time in a dungeon and the monsters were clearly tougher, she kept her cool the whole time. She knew how to use her wall move smart, not just to block attacks but to box the monster in and make it easier to finish the fight. Watching her, he could tell she was just built for this kind of thing. Once he saw she was good on her end, he focused on the huge bright red seal at the back of his cave. Flames in 5 different colors danced around it, and he guessed that's where the dungeon kept its D-class monsters locked up. Since Chi Yin was taking care of the beasts in her way, he could put all his attention on chasing down the bigger threat ahead. He walked up to the seal, already thinking through his game plan. He felt sure he could pull off a solid score without showing everyone what he was really capable of. Everyone could see what he was doing thanks to the drone streaming everything. Still, he had to really think through his next move, especially since that seal blocking his way looked seriously tough. From the entrance to Chi Yin's path stood there, totally heated. He watched these younger guys doing whatever they wanted, straight up acting like he wasn't even in charge. He figured if those guys thought they had it all figured out, he'd show them what a real challenge looked like. That's when his eyes landed on the magical seal sitting right in the middle of the main cavern. He suddenly popped up right behind Chi Yin, already pulling back his golden bow. He didn't go for the monster, he pointed straight at the ground in front of her instead. That sly grin on his face said he was up to something, and he was clearly about to pull off some wild move. He let loose a blazing arrow that shot straight down. It smashed into the ground with a wild blast, barely missing but tearing it deep. There was this massive hole in the ground, so deep you couldn't see the bottom. It gave off this weird, creepy vibe, like something was definitely off down there. Chi Yin whipped around, totally thrown off by the surprise hit, played it cool, acting like nothing happened, and just asked why she dodged, saying he was only trying to hook her up with a boost. Out of the new pit a deep growl rumbled, and this huge glowing beast started to come out. Qi Yin barely had time to process what was happening when this wild two-headed lion suddenly jumped out of the chasm. The beast came flying at her, moving way faster than she expected. A pop-up showed it was a level 11 D-class twin-headed violent lion, definitely not something she wanted to mess with. Just stood there completely frozen, not sure what to do with this monster showing up out of nowhere. He picked up on a heavy wave of demonic energy and whipped around fast, zeroing in on the ruckus coming from where Qi Yin was headed. The twin-headed lion stepped out, both heads letting out a loud roar while its whole body suddenly got covered in fire. Kai Yin didn't even think, she just shot her hands out, trying hard to trap the beast with her thorny vines before things got worse. The lion's fire was just way too strong. Those vines didn't stand a chance and got burned up instantly. Nothing blocked its way now, so the beast charged straight at her, jaws wide open ready to swallow her whole. Qi Yin just stood there completely stuck. His mind went blank and all he could think was that this was it for him. Hung back smirking to himself as he grabbed another arrow, ready to stir things up even more. Right when the lion was about to pounce, Yi kicked in his accelerate skill, and a quick notification popped up telling him his speed just got a 50% boost for a bit. He dashed ahead so fast he was basically a blur, cutting off the flaming monster right as it tried to attack. Definitely didn't see that coming. He didn't even hesitate, he just moved fast and pushed Qi Yin aside. He maxed out his speed and hit that flash blink move, slipping right past the lion's attack. Next thing he landed a solid hit right on the lion's head. He landed smooth, stepping right in front of Qi Yin, who just stood there totally frozen, while the huge beast got knocked back hard by that hit. He gripped his huge blade, bracing himself. He didn't expect the D-class monster to move that fast, and right then, he knew this wasn't going to be an easy fight. Stood back, grinning to himself while everything went wild around him. He figured he had this whole dungeon on lock. He knew that even though most D-class monsters got sealed away, there was always that one sneaky twin-headed lion that made it out. He couldn't help but feel pretty smug, thinking these rookies had no clue what was coming for them. There was no way they could handle a real D-class monster. He finally pieced together the last part of his plan, and it was honestly next level. He'd boosted the lion using his own skills, and suddenly a bright red status window popped up over the lion, just a flex that had pulled off something wild. The lion was now in light arrow mode, gravity barely holding it down, and its damage and speed got a huge upgrade. Thought this twin-headed lion was easily the fastest he'd ever seen. Then he spotted another pop-up. Turns out the lion had gone berserk too, which cranked up its attack by 10% and its speed by another 50%. He stared down this absolute beast of an enemy, his face getting serious. He gripped the dagger he'd grabbed from his dad's safe, thinking he might have to go all out just to make it through this. He glanced over at Qi Yin and waved her back, making it clear this thing was way out of her league. Qi Yin just stood there, tight-lipped and annoyed, blaming herself for hesitating earlier and wishing she'd moved faster. The huge lion, covered in flames and rocking two heads, jumped straight up and went right for Yi and Qi Yin. He was getting ready to handle things by himself when Qi Yin suddenly stepped up, her eyes set and serious. She pushed her hand out and called out her move, Vine Wall. 1 second the lion was in the air, and out of nowhere these thick spiky vines just ripped up from the ground and grabbed it. The vines wrapped around the lion so fast, locking it down tight. Didn't slow down, she pushed even more energy into her spell, going all in for another layer. She went all out, throwing up a thick 3-layer vine wall that locked the fiery beast in place. The thing couldn't move and its attack just stopped, at least for a bit. Stared, not expecting her to just go off like that. Kai Yin looked over at him, wanting to jump in and help out. She let him know she wouldn't slow him down and was serious about teaming up, even though the monster was just D-class. She was ready to take it on with him straight up. Stood off to the side, completely thrown off as he watched her. He couldn't wrap his head around what she was doing since she had just been seconds away from getting eaten. He couldn't help but smile when he noticed how fast she got used to everything. He honestly thought she'd freeze up from being scared, but she handled it way better than he expected. Qi Yin stood up straight, looking more confident than before. She wasn't about to let all her hard work go to waste now. With her and her teammate lined up next to each other, they got ready to take on the D-class monster that was held back for now. The real fight was about to start, and you could tell they were both locked in. Looked over at all confident, showing that she was totally locked in and trusted him. With him around, she knew she was safe and nothing bad was going to happen to her. Who usually kept it real didn't waste any time pointing out that she'd just burned through a ton of energy using that stacked skill. He reminded her that she couldn't go all out forever. Qi Yin just brushed it off, letting him know she was already on top of it. Thinking back on that moment, couldn't help but remember Qi Yin from before. Back in middle school, she was already kind of a big deal. Everyone knew who she was. Back in the day, Qi Yin stood up in front of the class, totally confident. She told everyone her big goal was to get into the Divine Guild and become a divine priest. Even as a kid, she was locked in on what she wanted. Thought back to how she was always super confident and positive. Even though her family had a lot of power, she never acted stuck up. She was chill with everyone and took her class president job seriously. He lost touch with her back then and just figured she went on to live a normal life. In this timeline, one thing was clear to him: she had his back. Knowing he could count on her, he felt locked in, ready to crush the assessment without showing off everything he could really do. Stood off to the side, watching the group try to work together. He wasn't impressed at all. Honestly, he thought they had no clue what they were doing. In his head, he just knew that Beast would break through the vine wall in no time, and he couldn't help but think they were setting themselves up for failure. He He was mad, thinking real fights weren't about just acting tough. With how weak they were, he was sure they had zero shot against the powered-up D-class monster he let loose. Leaned back, grinning to himself. He wasn't about to jump in and help right away. Instead, he watched them try and mess up, planning to step in only when they hit rock bottom and actually needed him. Right then, he decided it was time to show them why you don't mess with someone who's been around longer. But just as he was about to go for it, the twin-headed lion went wild, roaring so loud it felt like the ground was shaking, and broke free from the vines with one insane burst of strength. The beast broke out, totally losing it, and Yi didn't waste a second. He decided he'd draw the lion's attention. He could tell right away this thing was a nuclear type. He let Kai-yin know to stay sharp and wait for her shot. She caught on fast, ready to move. They broke off fast, trying to get the fiery lion hyped up so it'd rush at them without thinking. He realized the beast was definitely coming for him since he was the one who heard it. He purposely backed up, making sure the raging beast followed him straight to the massive pool sitting at the edge of the cave. He didn't even pause, he just jumped right in and the lion was right there. He didn't even think, just dove in right after, totally locked in and driven by rage. He was underwater, moving fast while the beast struggled, all slow and heavy from the water. As the lion fumbled around, totally thrown off by the weird new place, he spotted his chance and let Chi-yin know it was go time. Picked up on the signal right away and threw up her vine wall spell right when the lion popped out of the water. The beast was drenched, its fiery body stuck with no way out, totally locked down by those thorny vines. The creature let out a loud, annoyed roar, but honestly it just seemed way weaker than before. Chi-yin locked in, eyes sharp, as he made the vines tighten up. Everything went according to plan. The water shut down the lion's fire powers and messed up its core. Notifications popped up saying its rage mode and nuke energy just didn't work anymore, and now it was stuck poisoned and couldn't break out. Climbed out of the water and ended up standing right next to her on the shore. He gripped his massive blade, totally locked in and ready to go. He knew the beast was done running, now was the moment to finish things and snag that top score. Hiding out, stared at what was happening, totally stunned. He just couldn't get how a tough lion got stuck by nothing but one layer of vines. Honestly, he would have had a tough time fighting that beast on his own, especially since he'd actually made it stronger. He just stood there, staring and letting out a few angry words under his breath, totally annoyed. Back in the viewing room, the teachers and staff were locked in, breaking down what just happened. One of the instructors pointed out how smart the move was. By getting the nuclear lion into the water, its main skills got nerfed, while Chi-yin's flower powers basically leveled up. His teacher noticed how quick he was on his feet and how he took charge, pointing out that used simple elemental tricks and got everyone working together to take down a monster way tougher than anything they'd faced before. Everyone on the staff pretty much agreed. The number one spot was settled. All that was left was that last move to seal the deal. They started talking about how, once his video got sent to the guild, he could actually break the Academy's all-time high score. Right when everyone thought the last move was about to happen, the live stream cut out. People watching were instantly thrown off, trying to figure out why the broadcast would bail at the most important part. Back in the dungeon, it was obvious what happened. The recording drone was totally wrecked, just sitting there on the ground with smoke coming out of it. Stood off to the side, rocking a smug grin with his energy bow lit up in his hand. He was pretty sure that if he didn't have the whole thing on video, there was no way he'd ever get the top score. Once the danger was over, a notification popped up saying they'd taken down a level 11 D-class beast and scored 100 XP. Yi nodded at Chi-yin, giving her props for how she handled it. Chi-yin just shrugged it off, saying she only pulled it off because she listened to him. But Yi set her straight, pointing out that it was all the hard training she put in that gave her solid elemental resistance, so she could pull off that one skill with crazy power. Chi-yin stared at him, confused, repeating the words elemental resistance like she'd never heard them before. Right then popped out from his hiding spot, looking annoyed. He acted all smug, pointing out that since the boss was down, they should take their conversation somewhere else. Yi and Chi-yin just stared at him, totally unbothered, not giving him any reaction. Let everyone know he was done putting up with their supervisor's nonsense. Stared down, not holding back. He wanted to know if even realized how risky it was to let a juiced-up D-class monster loose on a bunch of new kids. Looked away, trying to play it off like it wasn't his fault. He said he meant to help Kai-yin out, but she moved out of the way. Didn't let him finish, shutting him down fast. He pointed out how weak the guy must be if he couldn't even get his aim right. He shot him a cold stare, pretty much calling out how weak his aim was, and wondering how he could even claim to be an archer. Chi-yin got fired up too and jumped in, pointing out that it made sense why he never made the cut for the top school team. Whipped around, totally fired up, and his energy bow lit up right. He wanted to know exactly what they just said, not letting it slide. He didn't even hesitate, he just moved right in front of Chi-yin, totally ready to take the hit if anything went down. Saw how they stood their ground, and his anger just kind of faded, turning into this cold resentment instead. He dropped his hand and just kind of mumbled to himself, realizing there was still a long way to go. He turned around, dropped one last warning, and let them know they weren't off the hook yet. He turned on his heel and headed straight for the dungeon's exit, not looking back. Once he left, Yi and Chi-yin headed over to check out the busted drone took out. Kai-yin was seriously annoyed and couldn't help thinking their senior had a trash attitude. She glanced over and caught Yi checking out the busted machine, wondering what he was up to. He let him know their supervisor had smashed the camera on purpose, just to keep them from racking up a high score. With the camera down, nobody could watch them, so needed to head out and grab another drone. Yi also mentioned that everyone else was off doing their own thing in separate dungeons, so they actually had a lot of time to work with. grinned, thinking Zilling actually helped him out. Now he had the perfect setup to get the rest of his plan rolling. Chi Yin just stood there, eyes big, totally lost on what the guy was talking about or what he was about to do next. He brought Chi Yin back to the main cave. They stopped right in front of this huge red seal pulsing like it was alive, blocking off the craziest monsters in the whole dungeon. He looked over at her and wanted to know if she'd keep what was about to go down on the low, giving a little grin like nobody would buy her story even if she tried to spill. Chi Yin was totally thrown off and kind of freaked out, trying to figure out what he was up to. The story jumps back to that tense moment in the alley where you faced off with. Everyone finally found out what you was up to. To boost his power, he got to hand over the demon stone that belonged to his uncle, the Dean. That was the trade. Right now Yi had that same stone in his hand, a crystal that lit up with weird glowing symbols. He wasn't hiding anything anymore, he just put it out there. His plan, he was about to use the stone and break open the Spirit Jade dungeon for real. He set the crystal down right in the middle of the altar. Right away, this intense dark red energy started swirling all around him, almost like he just unlocked some crazy new power. Chi Yin freaked out, yelling that there was no way he could go through with it. She pointed out it was just a D-class dungeon, but if he busted the seal, every high-level monster inside would get loose all at once. The dark energy started getting way stronger, looking like it was about to break through the seal. He stayed cool and told her she didn't need to stress about it since the monster was still held back a bit by what was left of the seal's power. But Chi Yin wasn't buying it. She thought there was just no way the two of them could take on that many D-class monsters, even with the seal helping out. He stayed chill and said they only needed one person for this. While he talked, the red string bracelet on his wrist started to light up. Fire burst out around him, lighting him up with a crazy energy. Kai Yin just stood there totally frozen, barely able to get a word out. She couldn't believe what she was seeing. It was like her brain just glitched. He was right in front of her, not looking like a fighter anymore. Now he was rocking this mage vibe, holding a staff that lit up with magic swirling all around him. Chi Yin's eyes shot open and she just lost it, yelling at him, totally not believing he was actually a mage. You got covered in this intense red glow, and Chi Yin could tell something big was about to go down. You glanced over, basically making sure Chi Yin stayed close to the exit just in case things got wild. Right away, the magic chains holding the beast snap with a loud bang, and 3 wild creatures break free. Out of nowhere, these lions covered in flames burst out and sprint straight at them. Kai Yin panicked and stretched out his hand, trying to keep you safe. He really wanted to make sure nothing happened to him. He doesn't freak out when the beasts come at him. He just grips his staff, locks in, and pulls out some cloud power while the lions start making noise. He gets a pop-up saying he's now an E-class cloud element mage. Locked in and ready, he goes ahead and casts his spell with total focus. A blast of freezing energy whipped around the charging monsters, swirling fast and making everything near them feel way colder. Chi Yin just stares, not really believing what he's seeing. It suddenly hits him that Yi's got a red profession, which is actually a top-tier rank. She remembers how tough it was just handling one lion, but Yi somehow locked down all 3 at the same time, freezing them solid in a huge chunk of ice. Both of them stare at the lions, totally stunned at what just happened. He lets everyone know that since they'd been trapped for ages, it made sense they'd all show up at the same time. He looks super focused and says he's gonna need more space for whatever he's about to pull next. Chi Yin gets what she needs to do. She tightens her fists, nods at Yi's plan, and moves back to where it's safe. Fire burst out from the broken seal, spreading everywhere. Out of nowhere, these panther-looking beasts show up, their heavy paws slamming against the ground as they rush in, eyes glowing bright red. Out of nowhere, this massive D-class fierce flame leopard showed up, looking way more dangerous than anything Yi had seen so far. It stood over him, making him look tiny in comparison. Steps up and faces the beast straight on. He checks out what's going on and realizes the monsters are D-class, but after being sealed away for ages, they're only working at half power. He's got this ice power, so he just freezes water from the air and locks down anyone trying to mess with him. He decides that the move right now is to lock everyone down so nobody gets out of hand. With a huge beast shadow hanging over him, he knows he has to switch things up. A system notification popped up, and he switched his job back to Nuclear Warrior, getting ready to go straight in for an all-out attack. In his Nuclear Warrior form, he moved fast, sidestepping a wild charge from a D-class fire sword beast. Green energy flickered around him as he slipped past the attack, barely missing getting hit. He catches the beast trying to pull a fast one, and just gives a quick smirk, roasting it in his head for even thinking it could get the jump on him. Another fire-breathing monster went for him, but he didn't stick around. He triggered his skill, vanished in this burst of green light, and the beast just slammed into empty ground where he'd been seconds before. He pops back into view out of nowhere, switching up to his cloud mage mode. Staff in hand, he's already set to drop another spell, not wasting a second. The camera zooms in, showing one of the monsters totally trapped inside sharp broken ice. From a spot where nobody could see him, Kai Yin just stood there, totally thrown off. He kept thinking about how this guy could jump from one job to another like it was nothing. Right then, something clicks for her. Watching him throw down, she finally gets why he was so set on grinding it out in the element room. He was working on getting better at handling different elements, while she thought back on her own magic skills. She always thought being strong was all about blasting spells and showing off raw power. But after she saw totally in control during his fight, it just clicked for her. Real strength is about mastering what you've got, not just going all out. Zayin started thinking about how elemental power is super wild, like straight up and tame nature. Now she gets it. You only level up and pull off next level moves if you really lock in and control your power. She can't take her eyes off Yi as he starts messing with the ice he just made, totally impressed by what he's doing. He took something simple and leveled it up into his own move. He started firing off sharp pieces of the beasts that couldn't escape. Chi Yin's eyes light up, locked in with a new kind of focus. You can tell he just got it, he's ready to go for it. Just stands there totally chill. Right in front of him, every single monster is stuck, beat up and frozen inside his ice moves. It's clear he's got some insane skills. Just watches, honestly blown away that already has this much control over his power. Chi Yin watched doing his thing, just straight up owning it. She dropped her gaze and tightened her fist, her face kind of hidden in the shadows. She looks at him and realizes he's already way ahead of everyone else. As she thinks back on what he can do, her face changes. That hopeless vibe fades and she starts to smile, cheeks turning a little red. Deep down, she knows he's actually pretty awesome. Out of nowhere, the ground starts shaking hard, like something huge just stomped nearby. Deep inside the cave, the real boss finally shows up, the Spirit Jade Demon Cave Lord. This thing is massive, like a D-class mammoth with red eyes that practically glow in the dark, and the vibe around it is straight up intimidating. On top of that, a status screen pops up, showing its level and pointing out that all its stats are cut in half since it's still sealed. Most students would have been totally freaked out, but Yi just stared with these sharp, glowing eyes, not even flinching. He'd been waiting for this. Finally, the beast showed up, just like he knew it would. The mammoth roared and took off, jumping right over the blocks of ice where the other monsters were stuck. He gets wrapped up in this green energy, and just like that, he snaps back into his nuclear warrior mode. He knows deep down that what he's looking for is right there on this monster. He doesn't back down, just plants his feet and gets set, bracing himself as the giant beast charges straight at him. He didn't waste any time. He jumped high, moving fast and hitting hard. He aimed right for the mammoth's forehead, nailing the exact spot he needed. The hit was perfect and blood started showing right away. Jams his glowing green dagger straight into the mammoth's thick skin. His punch was strong enough to make the beast start bleeding. He landed smooth while the giant creature pulled back, blood showing from a bunch of cuts. His face looked serious, blood running down his cheek. In his head, he realized this level 15 mammoth wasn't nearly as tough as that level 10 monkey boss he dealt with earlier. The mammoth, hurt bad, starts freaking out and swings its huge head all over the place. The creature just loses it and rushes straight at Yi, slamming its foot down so hard that the ground splits open underneath. He doesn't slow down at all. He charges forward insanely fast, He kept going at the beast, not letting up for a second, landing solid hits right where it hurt the most. The mammoth just couldn't handle the attack anymore. Its huge legs started to give out and the whole thing began to tip over, crashing down hard. Right when things start looking good, something in Yi just clicks. His eye lights up bright gold, and out of nowhere this wild, fiery energy starts swirling around him. He grips his dagger tight, getting ready to go all in with one last serious move. He locked in and triggered his 1 against 100 title, dropping his strongest move, Sanctuary. Golden energy shot out from him in a huge wave, spreading across the whole cavern and wiping out the mammoth along with every other monster standing in his way. The giant mammoth just stands there, roaring out in pure fear while this insane force crashes down on him. The attack comes in hard, smashing right into the final boss. It doesn't stop there. His ice traps can't hold up, and every beast caught inside gets wiped out in an instant. System notifications started popping up everywhere, showing he just took down a bunch of D-class monsters, twin-headed lions, flame leopards, and fire sword beasts. Each one he beat dropped him hundreds of experience points, so his stats were climbing fast. The last alerts pop up, letting him know he just took down the level 15 D-class fierce mammoth. That win drops a huge 1000 XP his way, and he can't help but feel like he's seriously leveling up now. He grabs some rare loot, fiery beast bones, and this top-tier jade tooth that's used for making E-class nuclear weapons. After clearing out the whole dungeon, he stands there with a crescent-shaped gold energy glowing in his hand. When he checks his status screen, all his experience bars, flower, cloud, nuclear, and stellar, have gone up big time. He just brushes off the golden energy like it's nothing, barely even trying, and starts walking away like he's already done what he came to do. He turns to leave, but something on the ground catches his eye. Right where the mammoth disappeared, there's this strange object just sitting there. There was this pink yin-yang shaped stone. When picked it up, a system message popped up saying it was called the responsive jade stone. It turned out to be a special set, 2 jade stones with some kind of unique power. As stared at the stone, he couldn't help but think he finally got what he was after. This was what he'd really been aiming for when he broke open that dungeon. After winning, Yi gets loaded up with rewards. His system keeps popping up with notifications showing he just leveled up big time. Now his nuclear warrior class is sitting at D-class level 13 and his cloud element mage class just hit D-class level 11. As he checks out his new stats, holding the jade stone that reacts in his hand, he's pretty happy to see even his mage side got stronger. Now his 1 against 100 title just leveled up to one-man army. When he's fighting solo, all his stats get a 20% bump, and he gets 10% on top of that. Kai Yin moved quietly through the cave, passing by all the monsters that had already been taken down. She was still trying to wrap her head around the insane power she'd just seen. He walks up to her and gets her attention by saying her name. He looks at her dead serious, making sure she remembers she promised to keep quiet about what she saw. Chi Yin wasn't expecting it, but when she saw that notification pop up, she just kind of froze. Turns out she leveled up again. Now she's E-class level 7 as a flower element mage. Back at the academy, things went off the rails fast. The energy blast from the broken seal had everyone freaking out. Teachers, even's homeroom teacher, were sprinting through the halls, clearly not ready for whatever just hit. Nobody there had ever sensed an energy spike this wild before. It was next level. They're sprinting straight for the dungeon entrance, all hyped up, and suddenly shows up, just chilling like nothing else going on. The teacher spots him and steps up, clearly not happy, wanting to know why he's not inside watching over the younger students. Right as Xylene is about to say something, the teacher suddenly yells that the seal's broken. Now there's zero time for anyone to chat, things just got real fast. He and the rest of the crew rushed right by, not even slowing down. Everyone was trying to handle the mess as fast as possible. Stood by himself in the hallway. Once everyone was gone, the fake surprise on his face dropped and a messed up grin took over. He started laughing quietly, realizing payback came way sooner than he thought it would. The teachers rushed into the dungeon cave, calling out for Yi and Chi Yin like they were on a mission. They freeze when they see both students just chilling, totally fine. The lead teacher's brain basically glitches. He can't even process what's going on. Stays chill and nods at him, wondering what brought him here. The teacher glances past the group, eyes landing on the main seal at the back of the cave, totally untouched. He starts thinking maybe the monitors just glitched out. Honestly, he's just glad the students are all good. Now it's Friday, May 29th. School's almost out and is hanging out with the vice captain of the ultimate school team, the dude with green hair. Flashes a confident smile, thinking he's finally dropped off enough stuff to lock down that last spot on the team. The vice captain just flashes a sneaky grin and drops an apology, letting know their captain already picked someone else. Just stood there totally thrown off and heated. He had to find out who got chosen instead of him. He grabs the vice captain, letting everyone know that the spot should gone to whoever's actually worth it. He can't believe his own skills and background didn't make the cut, and you can tell he's not having it. Right then, a woman showed up at the doorway and let everyone know they'd already picked out the one person who mattered most. The team captain walked in, brown hair tied back and a smirk on her face. The game called her Ling Yue and she played as a golden lightning assassin, but nobody knew her exact level. She looked straight at Yi, clearly interested. He was the one who caught her eye and landed the spot. It's Friday night, May 29th. Out at a street noodle spot, Inspector is hanging out with his dad Ling Sheng. Leaned back, cigarette in hand, and shot a look that said he wasn't messing around. He made it clear he'd pulled a lot of strings to get out of prison ahead of time, so causing more problems wasn't an option. Ling Sheng sat there slurping his noodles, just nodding along like he totally got what was going on. His face shifts fast, turning cold and annoyed whenever the inspector looks away. Leaned closer and let Ling Sheng know he'd heard Dean was supposed to show up next Friday. He wanted to make sure Ling Sheng got what that meant, but Ling Sheng just told him to chill. Out of nowhere, Jinwoo's phone lit up. His boss was calling. Clearly annoyed, stands up and gets ready to dip. He lets Ling Sheng know he's heading back to meet up with the team and tells him not to hang around too long and head home soon. Watched the inspector leave and started thinking about heading home soon, just like he said he would. He keeps eating, but you can tell he's getting mad. His face just goes hard and his eyes almost look like they're lit up, thinking about heading back home. Right then, a message pops up, hinting that something big is about to go down way sooner than anyone thought. The next panel drops some backstory on the Jade Stone, laying out its legend. It goes into how the guy who controlled the wild mammoth caught feelings for a girl and made her this crazy teleporting Jade Stone as a present. But not long after, he got obsessed with someone else, ditched the first girl, and just left both her and the Jade Stone abandoned in the dungeon. He heads back to his old apartment and sees that it's completely empty. He gets angrier, yelling and trying to figure out where his wife and son disappeared to. He loses it, kicking a stool across the room while yelling every curse he knows. He was pissed that they actually thought they could just dodge him like that. He gets even angrier, locking in on one thing. If he ever runs into them, he's not letting them get away alive. He made his threat clear, smashing his fist right through the mirror. Back at their new apartment, he handed his mom the Jade Stone he picked up in the dungeon, making sure she had it safe with her. He hands her a necklace with one of the stones on it, letting her know she should keep it on at all times. He gives her a chill smile and pulls out the other stone that looks exactly the same as hers. He tells her about the stone and what it can do. If things ever get sketchy for her, she just has to break the stone. He'll know right away and show up instantly, no matter where she is. He holds her hands and admits he just can't chill out if she's out there by herself without something to keep her safe. While his mom holds onto the necklace, you can't help but feel down. She noticed she'd never been given jewelry, or even the small things most girls usually get. His mom noticed he was spending his whole weekend at home just helping her out, and she was worried he was missing out. She told him he should go hang out with his friends and enjoy himself instead of staying in all the time. Just smiled at her and waved it off, making it clear he didn't need any help and wasn't stressing about it at all. His response doesn't help at all. She just looks even more stressed out and basically tells him that having friends and people who matter is something everyone needs. He stops talking, completely quiet after hearing what she said. He looks away, thinking hard about what she asked, who really matters to him. He starts thinking back to his last life, and suddenly the faces of his old crew Ling Yue, Han Ling, and pop up in his head. It hits him different, and he can't help but feel down, wondering if he'll ever run into them again now that everything's changed. It's almost midnight, 11:58 p.m., and Yi is posted up right in front of a wild D-class demon cave. Now that the Jade Stone's got his mom covered, he doesn't have to stress about her anymore. He's pulled up to another secret demon cave he remembers from before, but this one's tricky. It only opens up for an hour right at midnight, so he's got to move fast. Now that his mom's alright, he's locked in on getting stronger. Dagger in hand, he steps straight into the demon portal, ready for whatever's next. He steps inside, and out of nowhere, old memories from his past life rush back to him. He remembers that back when he finally got strong enough to take on the D-class in this cave, even after reaching top-tier warrior status, it still stuck with him. He couldn't do anything to help his team. Watching his friends go down still haunted him. His mom always said he needed people around him, but after what happened he seriously doubted if having friends was even worth it. He takes all that hurt and turns it into pure drive, jumping straight into what needs to be done. He takes down one of those wild plant monsters with a few quick moves that goes down fast. Right after his system flashes a notification, he just scored 260 XP and picked up 3 petals. He scoops up his loot, not even thinking about hanging out with anyone. In his mind, friends just messed things up for him before, so he's better off running solo. Looks back at everything he's done and can't help but think it was all pointless. No matter how hard he trained or how strong he got, if the gods decided to mess things up, he and his crew never stood a chance. All that frustration just pushes him to go harder in the fight. He ducks out of the way just in time as one of the huge monsters slams down, breaking the ground apart. In that moment, he can't help but think back. No matter how strong they were, in the end, they lost everything. Not even a real burial left for them. His anger kicks in and he goes all in, landing a quick spot-on hit on the monster. When he hits the ground, his screen lights up with a message showing he got the kill and leveled up. That's all the proof he needs. He's got to keep grinding and get even stronger. He picks up the pace, dodging through a mess of wild demon tentacles. He clenched his jaw, totally locked in on getting stronger than everyone around him, even while a bunch of creatures piled on and bit him nonstop. Even though he's hurting, his eyes stay locked in, full of serious focus. He snaps and goes all out, swinging his blade nonstop and taking out every monster around him. His screen keeps blowing up with kill and XP notifications, like he's leveling up on fast forward. He's beat up, bleeding, and chomping down on this monster's tentacle. Even like that, he's locked in, ready to throw everything he's got into the fight. Every time he takes one down, he grabs whatever toxin he can from the bodies, not letting anything go to waste. He starts thinking about how weak he is right now. He knows he can't even take on his own dad, and that stings. He starts thinking about the bigger problems waiting for him, especially that skilled traitor he knew before. As he wipes the blood off his mouth, it hits him. He knows things aren't going to be easy, and there's no way around it. He knows he has to hold his spot and deal with every enemy head-on, no dodging it, with this fresh determination. He squares up, staring down a never-ending wave of monsters, ready to throw hands and push through every single one. He stands face-to-face with a massive wave of demonic monsters, ready to go all out. He taps into his ultimate skill, Sanctuaries, gearing up to show them what he's really made of. He was locked in, moving his dagger with crazy speed. He swings his blade and suddenly golden energy just explodes out, blasting straight into the creature and swallowing it up. The monsters scream out, but his insane move wipes them out in seconds. His screen blows up with notifications, showing he had a ton of kills and racked up hundreds of XP for every corpse orchid he took down. After the huge hit, you drop down, still wrapped in those golden flames. He was out of breath, clearly drained from going all in. He's beat up, blood on his face, but he's not quitting. He checks the time and it hits him. The demon cave entrance is gonna shut in 20 minutes. He scans the open space and spots the dungeon boss right away. Time's ticking, so he has to move fast and take down the boss before it's too late. It was pretty late, Saturday, May 30th, just past 12:30 in the morning. He steps up to face the last boss in the dungeon, a huge creature that looks like it's made out of wood. There's this intense green energy swirling all around it. He grips his weapon, locked in and ready, basically letting the monster know it's about to be his problem now. He expected the boss to snap or at least look annoyed, but instead the guy just stayed chill. Instead it takes off super fast, vanishing so quick all he catches is a streak of green. This level 20 D-class lord pops back up out of nowhere and just goes all in with a wild attack. You didn't see it coming at all, so he has to react fast and dodge on instinct. He snaps back fast, grabbing his weapon and going for a strong counter hit. He cut straight through and took off one of the monster's arms, clean and easy. His win doesn't last long. The boss just chills for a second, then starts pulling in some green energy with what's left of its hand. Right in front of him, it triggers some kind of self-healing move, and Bai just stands there, stunned as the chopped-off arm grows back in no time. He's locked in, barely able to process how wild that regeneration is. He barely has time to react before Warren just smashes its fist into the ground. Suddenly, a bunch of sharp, vine-looking things shot up out of the ground. He doesn't flinch, even with the boss healing itself and wild tendrils shooting out everywhere. He just faces the creature, looking calm like he's totally locked in. He thought he had it in the bag, but then those monsters he just beat started crawling out of the ground like nothing happened, totally alive again. His confidence just tanked. He just stands there, totally stunned, watching these beasts come at him. They were down a second ago, so seeing them up and charging again just doesn't add up. He realizes that a D-class lord isn't supposed to bring its minions back, so seeing this happen has him on alert. He's locked in on the group coming at him, but out of nowhere, something dark and fast snaps at him from the side he can't see. His eyes go wide as the hit lands, catching him off guard. The blade went straight through his side, blood spraying everywhere. He gets knocked back hard, the dark tendril stabbing right through him as he loses his balance. While he's trying to keep it together, he suddenly catches on to what's really going down. Another lord shows up, looks just like the first one. His system blips with a message calling this new monster Kai, the twin brother of Yi, and both of them are level 20 D-class lords. Hurting and barely hanging on, knows he's stuck fighting two bosses at the same time. The twin lords were back side by side. Warren, the green one, looked like he was back to full strength, while Warren, the purple twin, had just pulled a sneaky move on him. His back was against the wall, blood running down his face, but he wasn't backing down. His eyes lit up, locked in and determined, ready to take on whatever came next. Time was almost up for Yi, stuck deep in the hidden dungeon. As the clock hit 12:59 a.m. on Saturday, the demonic portal started glitching out, getting unstable. Just after 1 a.m., the entrance to the demon cave slammed shut. Now he was locked in, stuck inside with zero way to get out. That Saturday, May 30th, around 6 p.m., rain started coming down hard outside. Inside the new apartment, his mom keeps walking back and forth, checking the window every few minutes. She's clearly stressed since her son hasn't come home all day, and he's not answering any of her texts or calls. She worries he's wandered off somewhere sketchy again, so she knows she has to go track him down. She steps out of her place and walks straight into the pouring rain. Some dude has been hanging out in the shadows just waiting. He finally steps out. It's Ling Sheng, and he's not looking friendly at all. He's tossing empty bottles onto the soaked ground, standing there in the rain, totally pissed. He can't believe she and her son went and got a new place without telling him, and he's just standing there mumbling to himself, eyes full of rage. Lightning flashes across the sky while he looks up at the building, clearly not a fan. He checked out the spot and thought it looked pretty good, but his face, dude looked like he was about to snap, eyes lit up with straight up hate. His mom heads out past the building's security gate, but right as she steps outside, she just stops. Out of nowhere, she gets this uneasy feeling and grabs the jade stone hanging from her neck. Her eyes go wide when it hits her that things just got real, and she's seriously not safe. Inside the closed-off demon cave, he is running on fumes but refuses to give up. He's out of breath, clutching his massive sword, still pushing through. He realizes he's already on the 5th wave of these monsters. No matter how many he takes out, they just keep popping back up like it's nothing. Another comes back to life and charges at him, but he doesn't hesitate. He slices right through it. Now whenever he takes something down, the system just hands him 1 XP each time. He catches on fast that taking out these monsters over and over isn't getting him anywhere. No XP, no loot, nothing. He realized he had to track down whatever was making them come back non-stop and put an end to it. He notices Yi Warren and Kai Warren, both D-class lords, standing there with this weird glow. Turns out all that healing energy is actually coming off those two bosses. He switches things up and just runs right past the horde that comes back to life. He doesn't even slow down for the weaker monsters. He's basically a blur, locked in and moving fast. He went straight for one of the twin lords, T. Warren, trying to finish the fight right then and there. He locked in, not letting anything distract him. He spots his target and goes straight for him. He rushes in and just sends his blade forward, not hesitating for a second. The blade sank straight into Kai Warren, landing a bunch of strong hits. The monster couldn't handle it and started to break apart, pieces falling everywhere. But his attack does nothing. He just stands there watching as the Lord's injuries disappear and its whole body heals up instantly with this quick burst of green light. He figures out what's going on. The other twin Lord, Yi Warren, keeps using some healing power and just brings his brother back every time. You remember seeing the same thing before. No matter what he did, even chopping off its head, the other twin just bounced right back like nothing happened. He notices this ability is just on another level, way past what even the top S-class healers can pull off. Now he can't help but wonder where all that power even comes from. He started to wonder if he was getting his strength from somewhere secret. He barely has time to process what's going on before one of the lords just disappears right in front of him. He vanishes and pops up right next to him, ready to land a hit. He, pulling from everything he's learned in fights before, steps up and just shuts down the punch with his parry move, doesn't even take a scratch. He doesn't waste any time. He snaps back with a quick strong swing, cutting up from below. Right after he nails the counter, you spot something off. The boss is starting to pick up on his fighting style, actually copying his moves. He just finished his counterattack, and now he's standing face to face with one of the twin lords. He didn't expect it, but the monster actually started talking. It pointed out that Yu was seriously strong. Out of nowhere, the other twin shows up, and both bosses lock in, clearly getting set for whatever's coming next. His face shifts as he suddenly spots something important. His eyes lock onto a spot past the boss, and in his mind he knows he's finally tracked down what he's been searching for. He flashes a confident smirk while his weapon lights up. He figures out that in this kind of flower demon cave, those huge trees are basically powering everything. Not even worried about the boss, he just sprints straight for one of those big glowing trees in the back. He moves past the boss, catching it off guard, and in one smooth move chops its arm clean off. He realizes now that the boss can heal like crazy thanks to the energy coming from these trees. The boss stares at its chopped off limb, realizing it's not growing back this time, and just loses it, not believing what's happening. He knows exactly what he needs to do now. If he wants any shot at winning, he has to take out those enchanted trees that are powering up the boss. He goes all in and swings hard, slicing straight through one of the biggest trunks like it's nothing. Knows that when their power runs out, he can finally take them down for good. He spots his shot and just takes off, blowing right past Yi Warren and Kai Warren. He's not messing around, he's locked in on those enchanted trees, since that's where they're getting all their power. Right as they're about to catch up to him, a pop-up flashes. He just switched over to his Cloud Element Mage class. He lifts his staff and drops a crazy strong ice spell, sending out this huge wave of freezing energy. A blast of freezing energy just locked both D-class lords in place, turning them into ice statues on the spot. With the bosses down, he drops to the ground and swaps right back into his nuclear warrior mode. He realizes he called it right. Now that the bosses and their main source of power are gone, the rest of their crew can't heal up or come back anymore. Just like everyone thought, the Incorpse orchids that came back to life started breaking down for good. With the twin lords out of power, Yi just goes for it. He pushes his blade straight through the ice and cracks his frozen body into pieces. He gets a system alert saying he just took down the level 20 D-class lord. That win gives him 2,500 XP and a top-tier item called White Spirit Grass. With that, he can heal up fast and get back most of his stamina in no time. Now that one of the twin lords was down, the other one, Kai Warren, broke free from the ice like it was nothing. Even though he's pretty banged up, doesn't back down. There's this green energy swirling around him, and he's steady, holding his dagger up and locking eyes with the final boss. At this point he knows it's just him and the last challenge standing. The huge beast stares down, its face looking sad. With fire everywhere and things getting wild, T. Warren suddenly asks for something nobody saw coming. He wants you to end it for him. He's caught off guard because he's never run into a lord like this. He notices the creature isn't trying to keep going by itself now that its brother's gone. He wants to do the right thing, so he chooses to go along with what it asked for one last time. He charges ahead, moving way faster than anyone would expect, and takes out the D-Class Lord in one clean hit. As the monster drops, he gets a pop-up saying he just finished off the level 20 Lord C. Warren and snagged 2,500 more XP. On top of that, he picks up a rare item called a Poison Thorn, which he'll need later to craft an S-Class flower-type weapon. With the purple item finally in his hands, he relaxes, realizing all his grinding paid off. The system flashes, letting him know his nuclear warrior class just leveled up to D-Class level 15. After taking down the twin bosses, he checked his screen and saw that his cloud element mage class had leveled up. Now he was sitting at D-Class level 13. The final boss was down, so the red entrance to the demon cave opened back up, letting him walk out. Right as he's about to dip, a new status screen pops up out of nowhere. His flower element bar is maxed out now, and just like that, another awakening kicks in. His eyes go wide as he checks his stats, and sees his flower element already hit the max level. Glowing green energy and bright petals spun around him, and he couldn't help but start thinking about which job he'd end up with this time. He remembers the last time he leveled up and got a crazy strong red class job. He can't help but smile, already hyped for whatever's coming next. Suddenly his phone buzzes with a notification. He checks it and sees his new class pop up. He's now a level 1 E-Class Flower Element Summoner. He gets hyped at first, but it all crashes when he sees it's just a blue profession, way lower than what he wanted. He takes a second to chill out, reminding himself that the Summoner class probably isn't too hard to get into. Now he's curious about what kind of skills it actually has. Pop-up shows up breaking down his new skills. He just unlocked an active move called Flower Spirit Contract, so now when he beats a flower-type demon, he can pretty much make its soul work for him. On top of that, his passive skill, Flower Field, gives him the power to spot the souls of flower-type demons that just got taken out. He gets more into it as he checks out the description, especially the bit about making a deal with a demon's soul. Thinking about how strong his new skill could be, he starts to consider if he can actually make a contract with the two tough bosses he just beat. Now that his Flower Field passive was switched on, he turns around and spots the twin lords standing there, their blue souls glowing bright in the dark. Yi Warren and T. Warren stood over what was left of them. Looks locked in and ready to go. He sees his chance and doesn't waste a second. Right then, a pop-up shows up, letting him know he's turning on the Flower Spirit Contract skill. He stretches his hand out to the two souls, moving in without hesitating. He gives them this confident look, basically daring them to step up. Then out of nowhere, blue energy starts swirling all around, pulling in the souls of the twin lords. They snap back into their bodies, looking stronger than ever, but now they're under his control, ready to do whatever he says. It's a wild Saturday night around 6 p.m. and the rain won't let up. He's out there, totally drenched, gripping a knife. He's pacing around outside the apartment building, looking mad enough to snap. Right when he's about to make his move, his phone starts buzzing, totally throwing off his whole plan. He picked up the call, kind of annoyed, but then realized it was Inspector calling him, which totally caught him off guard. The Inspector comes through with a huge chance for him, a dinner invite from Dean. This could be his way back into the guild, and honestly it feels like everything might be turning around. His face lit up, he was all in now. He let know he wasn't about to let the shot slide. He hangs up the phone, a sly grin spreading across his face. In that moment he decides today actually turned out pretty solid. Since he couldn't go through with his revenge just yet, he figured he'd go find his wife instead. Even as he walked off, you could tell he was still serious about what he wanted to do. His mom heads out into the rain, not caring that she's getting soaked. She's got the jade stone hanging around her neck, holding onto it tight. Something feels off and worry just keeps building up inside her as she looks for her son. Out of nowhere, someone called her name. She spun around and spotted Yi standing there, umbrella in one hand, groceries in the other, clearly wondering what made her head outside while it was pouring. At first, she jumps a little, but once she sees he's alright, you can tell she's instantly more at ease. He gives her a soft smile and lets her know it's time to head back home. Later on, when they're in their new place, Mom checks out the new bracelet he got for her. She remembers her kid sneaking out late just to grab her a present. For a second, her face drops like she gets it, but it still stings. She sits there quiet but totally tuned in, knowing exactly how much he's risking for her, even if she can't say it out loud. Back in his room, he's stretched out on his bed, staring at the ceiling and running through everything that had happened. He thinks about how he's got 3 jobs now. He's a green tier nuclear warrior, a blue tier flower element summoner, and a red tier cloud element mage with some serious power. The status screen pops up showing his top 2 classes, mage and warrior, right there at the top. Both of them just leveled up to D class, but his summoner class is still stuck at E class. Even with that upgrade, he knows he's still not there yet. His mind drifts to his dad. He does the math, his dad has been locked up for 10 days now, so there's just 5 more days until he's out. He knows his dad can get pretty aggressive, so he's not convinced the guy will stay locked up for long. He figures there's a real chance his dad gets out early, so he's got to be ready for whatever happens. Sunday morning rolls around and Yi wakes up locked in, more determined than ever. With this red energy flaring around him, he realizes there's no point in running anymore. He knows he's got to step up, face his dad straight up, and sort things out for real if he wants to keep leveling up on his own path. He feels the pressure and grinds all day, really testing how far he can go. His phone started going off with notifications, each one showing he'd just cleared out 4 secret demon caves. First 3E class went, then right after it was 1D's turn. By Sunday afternoon he's already facing another demon cave, this one way sketchier than the last and nobody even knows how bad it could get. He knows he can't slow down if he wants to hit C-class fast, so he just heads in, zero hesitation. By Sunday night he comes out on top, still glowing with that red energy. His phone pings confirming the D-class cave is done. He's leveled up again and now he's thinking next time he sees his dad he'll be the one with the upper hand. He gets up and suddenly notices something's different. He glances around, confused, trying to figure out what just changed. Suddenly, his phone lights up with a notification saying he just unlocked a new title. After taking out 10 demon caves that were just as tough or even tougher than he was, Lone scored the title of Mark of the Brave. With this, there's even a hint he might unlock something big later. A Tower of the Brave could be on the way. He just stares at the message on his screen, not really sure what to think or what's coming next. Monday morning, June 1 rolled around at the Awaken Academy. Teacher walked up to the front of the classroom, ready to drop some news that had everyone sitting up and paying attention. She let the class know the combat sim results had dropped. With a proud smile, she shared that 2 students from their own group had made it. And Chi Yin ended up taking the top 2 spots in the whole school. After the teachers checked out results, he actually set a new record for the highest score the academy ever had. Chi Yin couldn't hide how happy he was. The dude straight up started blushing. Meanwhile, Yi just kept his cool, staying calm and collected like always. With how well they did, teacher told them they made it into this top-tier training camp. But then she dropped an even bigger surprise. Since smashed the old record, they were now getting a shot to meet the gods, something hardly anyone gets. Just stayed quiet, not really reacting. Everyone in the class totally lost it. One guy couldn't believe it and started pointing out how meeting the gods was something even top priests never got to do. He didn't see this coming, but he realized it could actually work in his favor. For him, it was like catching a lucky break. He'd get to run into those gods who him way earlier than he thought he would. His old buddy from middle school couldn't hold it together. He just grabbed his arm, tears streaming, basically begging him not to ditch the squad if he blew up and got famous. While Yu was still taking it all in, just shot him this proud grin, like he'd always known Yu was gonna stand out. Inside the dean's office, sat across from his nephew, Sheng, having a private talk. The dean wanted to know why was dodging the training camp. He realized this was one of those times he actually got to hang out with his dad, which barely ever happened. Tightened his fist, trying to keep it together even though you could tell he was fighting with himself inside. He shut it down right away, saying he only got 3rd place, so he didn't think he deserved to go. He was honestly over everyone acting like he just got by because of his dad and wanted to show everyone what he could really do on his own. Dean noticed his nephew acting way more confident than before. He looked like he respected how much guts the kid had now and honestly hoped his dad would catch on to how much he'd leveled up. Didn't waste any time. He went straight to his uncle with a gutsy ask, wanting the okay to get into the sealed D-class demon cave out behind the school. The dean looked caught off guard, not expecting someone to ask for something that risky, but didn't back down. He was set on getting stronger by himself, no matter what. The story cuts over to the principal's office, where everything's about to go down. Was basically begging his uncle, who also happened to run the school. He kept saying he had to be on that training trip. It wasn't just something he wanted, but something he owed to his family since he was the only one who could carry on their name. The principal, King, looked serious as ever. He let know he was out of line, reminding him he should thought twice before doing something reckless, especially since his family name carries so much history. The principal's face turned serious when he stepped up too. He wanted to know why let a monster go after his younger classmates during the combat test. Got called out on his lie and totally froze, struggling to come up with anything to cover himself. The principal smacked his hand down on the desk, clearly ticked off. He said the higher-ups weren't dumb and would see right through whatever weak plan he tried to pull. He let everyone know he was the one who kept Zilling from getting kicked out, and just standing there he had Zilling seriously nervous. Dropped down to his knees, totally wiped out. He said sorry with tears running down his face. He owned up to messing up. The principal's eyes lit up, staring straight at. He told to get up, and clearly scared, didn't even think about arguing. Pushed himself up, still shaky but determined to stand. The principal moved around his desk and dropped one last thing needed to hear. Because of what did, something happened that he totally didn't mean to set off. They pointed out someone named Yi to the people in charge. Now the higher-ups are starting to get suspicious of him. King kept breaking things down for his nephew. He pointed out how Yi leveled up way faster than anyone expected, and now the big bosses were starting to notice. That's why out of nowhere, even the gods wanted to see you face to face. Once the principal lays out what's on the line, he gives his nephew the green light for the training trip. But he makes it clear, his nephew needs to get his act together and stop drawing so much attention. The principal doesn't sugarcoat it. If messes up again, he's on his own. Here's the news and can't help but smile. He's all in, barely able to hide how hyped he is as he nods at his uncle's deal. As he steps out of the office, his whole vibe changes. His face goes kinda dark and he tightens his fist. In his head, he's already plotting how he's gonna get back at Yi on the trip, basically telling himself to just wait for it. His mind drifts to Ling Yue, and with that dark look in his eyes, he's dead set on making her his, no matter how long it takes. Later that Monday, right before the last bell, the classroom is full of energy. Yi's friend is holding up this gold envelope, looking stunned. Turns out, it's an invite from the top school team. Getting that letter was a big deal for Yi. The whole class pretty much froze when they found out he got invited. Nobody saw that coming. Everyone at the academy knows this team is stacked. It's honestly the top squad around. Getting on it is basically a shortcut straight into the Divine Guild. Someone else jumps in and says the club was started by the school's one and only golden assassin in a long time. Everyone in the room can't believe what just happened. Normally, people have to grind hard just to get noticed, but you got a straight-up invite. Nobody's ever seen the high school team bring in a middle school kid before. His friend just couldn't hold it together after seeing how well Yu was doing. He started crying again, totally blown away by how impressive Yi had become. In the middle of all the craziness, he just strolled over and grabbed the gold invite from his friend, who was totally losing it. Nobody expected it, but he just strolled over to the trash can like it was no big deal. He just slid the invite in like it was no big deal. His friend and the other guys just stared at him, totally stunned. They couldn't believe he turned down such a big deal and started calling him out, wondering what he was even thinking. He didn't even blink when everyone got mad. He just let them know he was out and dipped from the classroom like it was nothing. His classmates, even Specs, just sat there frozen. No one said a word. Later on, his friend squatted next to the trash can, just looking at the letter someone tossed out. He couldn't stop thinking about how he missed out on something big. Walked over looking like he already knew what was up, and wondered if he seriously still didn't get Yi. Stayed calm and just pointed out that Yi now does his own thing. He never follows anyone else. These days, he's always calling the shots, never taking orders. After stepping out of the classroom, Yi heads straight for the quiet back mountain behind the school, away from everyone else. He figures that since he's finally got the green light to enter the D-Class Demon Cave, the place will be empty at night. That means he can train without anybody around, basically having the whole spot to himself. Turns out, was already there just waiting for him. He looked locked in with this intense red energy all around him. He just lets him know it's time to head inside. Started to tell that a D-Class dungeon could be way too tough, but just shut him down, getting fired up and making it clear he wasn't about to hold anyone back. He thought back to the deal he made with. He told he'd show him how to fight and level up fast, but only if could hook him up with entry to the school's demon caves. Now, seeing that actually pulled it off and got them into every D-Class dungeon, you couldn't help but be a little impressed. In the cave, it's obvious right away who's on another level. He just moves in and starts cutting down this huge, dragon-looking monster like it's nothing. It's dropped to the ground fast by a monster's hit, straight up annoyed and swearing under his breath. He stood over another monster he just beat, green energy still floating around. He looked over at who was still fighting and clearly having a rough time and just tossed out a chill offer to help, but not wanting to look weak, snapped back at him and made it clear he didn't want any help. He was set on handling it solo. Training inside the school's D-Class Demon Cave was still going hard. Sheng, totally focused, jumped right into the fight with those monsters, ready to take them on. He takes a moment to check how far he's come. He remembers snagging that Lone Brave title. It's supposed to open up something wild called the Tower of the Brave, and he can't help but wonder what's waiting for him there. He gets it, he's not touching that until he hits C-Class. His eyes locked in, he knew he'd already taken care of almost all the secret demon caves he remembered from before. Now, if he wanted to level up fast, the only real shot he had left was grinding through the school's dungeons. Days just flew by, packed with non-stop fighting. When Tuesday rolled around, those ultimate school team invites were still sitting in the classroom trash, wasn't even thinking about them. He was locked in on his own grind. Leveling up at D-Class was no joke either. It took forever and needed a ton of experience. By Wednesday, after classes, was still on the grind. He ran into another wild beast, and just as it went for him, he had to jump in and handle it. He comes in clutch with a strong kick that launches the monster away. Was heated and let you know he wasn't supposed to jump in. You just stayed chill, pointing out that would been done for without backup. Even though they were on edge with each other, you felt good about it, thinking the XP they just got was exactly what he needed for whatever he was planning. After school on Thursday, all that non-stop grinding finally starts to pay off. Sheng steps out of the demon cave, pumped up and celebrating. He just hit D-Class by himself and he's clearly proud of how far he's come. He thinks this is way more exciting than having his family's bodyguards tagging along. A few seconds later, you walked out totally chill. His phone buzzed with a system alert. He just leveled up his nuclear warrior class to C-Class. With that focused look on his face, you could tell he was locked in and ready for whatever came next. As he stood there, his dad showed up in his mind, looking as intimidating as ever. He figured his strength now was finally up there, maybe enough to take him on. Right then, his status window popped up, showing off his fresh C-Class stats and a new skill he just unlocked. That night, Yu was chilling at home when his mom started joking around, asking if he'd been staying out late because he was seeing some pretty girl. He starts freaking out, trying to say it's not true, and reminding everyone he's just a regular middle school kid. She smiles, looking chill, and lets him know it's totally normal for guys his age to have a crush. She tells him to man up and go after the people who actually matter to him, saying he shouldn't just sit around and let his shot slip away, or else he'll be stuck regretting it later. He hears what she says and it just hits him. His eye goes wide as he really takes in her advice. He goes quiet and his mind drifts straight to one girl he really cares about. He was just sitting there, replaying his mom's words in his head. Out of nowhere, his mind jumped back to his old life, and memories of the girl he used to care about the most came rushing in. Out of nowhere, he remembers Ling Yue, his teammate. He thinks back to when she jokingly asked for a hug and called him captain. That moment just pops into his head and he can't help but replay it for a second. He remembers just shoving her off, not really caring how annoyed she got. After the fight, everything goes quiet. The ground's littered with monsters that didn't make it, showing just how intense things got. Ling Yue crashed onto the ground, totally wiped out but grinning like he just clutched another win. He couldn't help it, he was hyped to pull off another victory. Before everything changed, Yi looked tired from all the fights, but he just let her know it was time to head out. Ling Yue was still wiped out, but he joked around, asking if he could just pick her up and carry her. Yi, looking a little thrown off, shut her down and told her to ask someone else. She ended up just sulking, thinking he was being harsh. But that light moment didn't last, everything got messed up when their team turned on them. Everything suddenly goes dark in his head. He can't stop replaying what happened to Ling Yue, her body messed up, blood everywhere and nothing he did could save her. The memory of his own face, straight up furious and helpless, just won't let go. Back in the moment, Yi thinks about everything he went through before. He remembers how he didn't even meet Ling Yue until after his master saved him from death row in his last life. They first crossed paths downtown. Now he's got no clue where she even is in this new version of things, and it hits him that running into her again is probably not happening. He accepts that in this new life, all he's got are his memories. Even if they cross paths again, he knows things between them would never go back to how they were. While all this was going on, the vice captain from the ultimate school team went to update his captain. He let him know that Yi still hadn't replied to their invite, so he figured Yi just wasn't into it. The camera cuts to the captain chilling in her room, holding onto that shiny gold invite Yi just tossed aside. She notices he doesn't really seem to care, and honestly that just makes her more curious about him. Suddenly, he's way more interesting in her eyes. She looked pretty sure of herself, a little smile on her face as her status popped up. Ling Yue, the golden lightning assassin and the top boss of the school team. She'd already made up her mind to show up in person the next day and hand him the invite herself. It's Friday, Yi's birthday, and he's just chilling at the table at home, staring at a gift box sitting right in front of him. His mom sits across from him, smiling, and lets him know this is his birthday gift. He didn't really see it coming. He checks out the gift, taking a second before he tears it open. He walks in and spots a scarf just sitting there. That throws him off. Why would she hand him a scarf when it's literally about to get hot outside? Next to the scarf, there's a note from his mom. She's just hoping her son stays happy forever and has the guts to live life his own way. Out of nowhere, his eyes snap open as it all clicks for him. He wonders if his mom already knows he's heading out to the Shanghai nation soon. She gives a small smile, letting him know she's got it. She points out how the weather there can really switch up from day to night, so he should watch out for himself. She promises she'll look after herself too. He gets hit with this wave of realization. His mom's been onto him the whole time, quietly having his back without saying a word. That support just hits different when he finally notices it. His mom showed up with a big grin and slipped him some cash, basically hinting that since it was his birthday, he should go out and grab food with his closest friends. He lets out a small sigh, a tiny smile on his face. He casually reminds her, almost like he said it 100 times before, that he doesn't really have any friends. Later that day at school, his two buddies from middle school pulled up to him in the hallway. The first guy hands him a flashy figurine of a blue-haired water mage, looking hyped about it. He flexed his favorite model, showing it off like it was the best thing ever, and waited to see if he was into it. But Yi just nodded and dropped a quick thanks, not really showing any hype. When saw what was happening, he stepped up and called out his friend for acting lame, then pointed him toward his own present, wanting him to check it out instead. He drops a plain, rectangle-shaped package on Yi's desk, nothing fancy about it. He noticed right away that getting it was actually pretty tough. When opens it up, his eyes go wide. Inside is the original soundtrack from his favorite old movie, Fatal Magic. The gift instantly brings back a strong memory for him. Back in his old life, he and Specs used to sneak off and watch old movies that were banned and ashed. This was one of those movies they watched together, just the two of them keeping it. Edges closer to Yi, dropping his voice so only Yi can hear. He tells him to stash it somewhere good, making sure the teacher has zero chance of catching them. He quietly tucks the special gift under his desk, making sure nobody notices. He looks over at, flashes a real smile, and lets him know he's honestly grateful. Grins, catching the vibe as their friendship starts to feel solid again. After their quick bonding moment, Chi Yin heads over to his desk and gets his attention. She pulls up with a big smile, hands him a gift box, and lets him know it's his birthday. Both of his friends stood in the back, mouths wide open when they figured out what the gift actually was. Inside the box, resting on a soft cloth, there's this huge gemstone that's seriously shining. A system window pops up, calling it a rare, unappraised A-class mage weapon. He just stands there, clearly caught off guard by how over-the-top the gift is. He slides the box back in her direction, letting her know there's no way he can take it since it's just way too valuable. Chi Yin grinned, letting him know she only made it to this training trip because of him. She mentions that her family has a bunch of these, so it's not even a big deal to give it away. She knows this will help him out a lot. He pauses, his hand hanging over the box, not sure if he should go for it yet. He thinks about what she said and his face gets serious. He realizes she's right and knows he's got to step up. There's no reason to turn down the help. He figures out she probably caught him messing around with that weak weapon when he swapped to mage mode during the simulation, and that's why she gave him this gift. He thinks to himself that she's actually really thoughtful. He sits by himself at his desk, staring at the 3 gifts in front of him. He didn't see this coming. He honestly figured no one would care about his birthday, let alone go out of their way with these presents. Suddenly, he starts rethinking his whole plan to just dip out and not get close to anyone here. In the back, his 2 buddies kept it low-key, tossing around guesses about when Yi and Chi Yin started hanging out so much. One of them even threw out the idea that maybe Yi just isn't into girls. Chi Yin suddenly walks up and wants to know what they're whispering about, catching them both off guard. While everyone's distracted, he's just in his head, thinking he was supposed to stay out of their business in the first place. But seeing how chill they were to him, he switched it up. He looked over at Kai Yin and his other friend, then invited them to grab dinner with him that night. He flashes a real smile, lets them know he's covering everything, and checks if they're down to hang out. His friends go wild, all hyped to join in. Chi Yin looks super pumped, hands together like she can't wait. The two from middle school throw their arms up and celebrate, and one of them jokes around, wanting to pick where they hang out. Just as everyone's hyped up, someone spots a bunch of high schoolers rolling up. His face switches up fast, he's instantly on alert, trying to figure out what they're doing there. One of the students notices the group making a beeline for their classroom, and Yi keeps a close eye on them, looking ready for anything. The classroom gets busy real quick, everyone whispering and trying to figure out what's going on. One dude checks outside and comes back with some news. The captain of the ultimate school team just showed up. The whole class can't believe it when he says she's here to invite Yi to her squad herself. Someone else drops in that people say the captain's actually super good looking, even though he's never seen her before. When Yi hears what's going on, he figures it's best to turn her down in person. He gets up from his seat, heads out of the classroom, and leaves his friends just sitting there. They watch him walk away, already guessing this is about to get entertaining. Word got out fast about the fight, and soon, students from every corner of the building were crowding the balconies to see what was going down. Zilling's hanging out with his boys in the crowd, just watching everything go down. He stands there, jaw clenched and eyes burning, totally pissed. He can't believe how much drama you bring. Seriously, why is that kid even worth all this hassle? He stands out on the balcony, arms crossed, watching everything below. He can't hide how annoyed he is, his face is set, and anyone could tell he's really not vibing with what's going on. Doesn't even notice all the people watching as he strolls down the hallway, totally locked in and ready to meet the captain. Out of nowhere, a super bright burst of gold lightning lit up the whole hallway. The blast sends a bunch of people flying and they're left scrambling on the ground, totally lost about what just went down. He doesn't even move an inch. He just stands there totally frozen, eyes wide like he can't believe what he's seeing. Gold lightning snaps across his face while he stares straight at where all that power came from, looking like he just realized something big. Golden lightning blasts through the hallway, wild and out of control, but he just stands there totally chill while everything around him goes off. A bright streak of electricity blasts straight at him. He keeps his cool, barely showing anything on his face, staying and impossible to read. The energy blast was so strong that it knocked the other students back. He has been through enough fights to spot this kind of move right away. He clocks that the attack coming straight at him is just for show, meant to pull his attention away from what's really about to go down. He doesn't waste a second. His hand flies out and suddenly there's this glowing green blade in his grip, locked in and ready to take on whatever's coming at him out of nowhere. Right when he's getting ready to defend himself, his instincts go off like sirens. He doesn't see it yet, but something way more serious is creeping up right behind him. He locks in and quickly figures out the attack, coming from behind him on the left. He whips around right at the last second, catching the super-fast attack with his sword. The impact lights up the room, both blades locked and sparking like some epic showdown. People still standing around can't believe how fast everything just went down. They're just staring, totally stunned, not even sure what they just saw. Some guys are even yelling out, trying to figure out if that really happened. Turns out the one behind the attack is a young woman. She's got this insane golden glow all around her, so bright you can't even see her face, just this clear smile showing through. When the light starts to die down, Yi sneaks a look from behind the corner. He totally loses his cool, his eyes go wide, and he just can't believe what he's seeing. She pulls back, taking her energy with her as she steps back. Ling Yue, captain of the top school team, stands there with her blade still sparking with lightning. She shoots him a quick smirk, clearly impressed by how fast he reacted. It's obvious she feels good about picking him, like she knows she made the right call. He just stands there frozen, not able to say a word. He can't believe it, the guy from his past life, the one he figured he'd never see again, is actually right in front of him. He looks at Ling Yue, and his mind instantly goes back to the days they shared in their last life together. She remembers how she used to be super cheerful and playful, always going around with a big smile and asking for hugs. She would sometimes mess around after a rough fight, joking that he should just pick her up and carry her. He can't forget those times when he would just shut down and push her away, acting all distant while she sat there, annoyed and calling him out for being cold. Back in the present, Ling Yue still had sparks running all over him. Since he ignored her team's invites, she just showed up to see him herself. Everyone else in the room, even his own crew, just stood there frozen, not saying a word. And his buddy are whispering, both anxious about how weird it's gonna get when he turns down the popular captain right in front of everyone. Ling Yue pulls herself together and reaches out her hand, going for that official intro move. She starts to say her name, keeping it all business. He just strolls by without even noticing her hand hanging there. He just goes for it and wraps her up in a solid, warm hug, all in one smooth move. Everyone just goes quiet, not saying a word. Kai Yin stands by the door, frozen, barely believing what he's seeing. Out on the balcony, his face tightens up, and anyone could tell he's seriously mad. He's chilling in his arms, and when she glances up at him, all that confidence she had just disappears. She's caught off guard, and there's this slight blush on her face she can't really hide. Glances down at her, his face showing he's for real, not messing around. He drops a name from way back, letting her know it's been ages since they last crossed paths. He's got Ling Yue in his arms, and his two buddies from middle school are totally losing it. He couldn't believe he just hugged her right there where everyone could see, and started thinking if this was one of those stories where a regular guy and someone way out of his league actually end up together. Lets his friend know he's got it wrong. Ling Yue isn't older than them. She was actually in their grade, but after her powers showed up early, she jumped straight to high school. In the background, Kai Yin just stands there, totally spaced out. Ling Yue pulls herself together and steps back from the hug. In an instant, she's gone, vanishing with a quick burst of lightning. He suddenly pops up right next to Yi. He reached out and tapped the guy's shoulder, his finger still buzzing with leftover energy. She flashes a confident smirk, checking if that unexpected hug meant he was down to join her squad. She keeps going, telling him the ultimate school team doesn't have to worry about money or gear, they've got everything covered. She points out that they've figured out quicker ways to level up than just grinding through regular school dungeons, and throws out the idea that they could team up and fight together. He just sits there, keeping quiet while she talks about her deal. He looks her straight in the eyes and makes it clear he's not joining the ultimate school team. He explains that he's not planning to stick around at this school for long, so joining any club just doesn't make sense to him. He says no to her offer without hesitating, then just reaches out his hand. He lets Ling Yue know he's not joining her crew, but he's got his own plans, starting up his own guild soon. He grabs her hand for a solid handshake and gives her a confident smile, basically letting her know that when the time comes, they'll be ready to throw down together. Just as things are getting interesting, the vice captain shows up out of nowhere, rushing over and wanting to know what Ling Yue is even doing there. He lets everyone know that he's back, and the principal wants their whole squad to go meet up with them. Ling Yue turned to head out, letting you know they'd cross paths again during the training trip. She throws one last look his way before heading off, kind of letting him know they'll actually talk for real next time. She stops for a second before leaving, wondering why he acted like they had some history when they'd never even met before. He just stands there quiet, his face giving nothing away while she leaves. Stands back watching everything go down. His jaw tightens and you can tell he's fuming, but he keeps it all bottled up. As heads off, the whole group of students starts buzzing. Everyone is stunned that actually turned down an invite straight from the captain, then flipped it and asked her to join his own squad later. People start wondering how he even plans to pull this off. He's not even old enough, and starting a guild takes serious cash. Some people think he's just flexing, but there are rumors going around that he actually pulled off the highest score at the academy. One guy in the back notices that Ling Yue didn't really shut down his gutsy offer. As she walked away, Yi just stood there, thinking back on everything that just happened. Honestly, he never thought seeing Ling Yue again would go down like this. He thinks back to how the Divine Corps ran things. Nobody shared their real info, and everyone kept their history to themselves. He had no clue Ling Yue went to his middle school. Thinking back, he realized he nearly missed running into her this time around. A real smile starts to show on his face. He realizes this random meetup turned out to be a pretty awesome birthday surprise. That night, Yi sticks to his word and takes Kai Yin and his old middle school buddy out for dinner at a barbecue spot. While they're eating, starts messing with his friend about picking the spot. The friend just shrugs it off and says you wanted barbecue anyway, so he only suggested this place. Things start to get real pretty quick. While they're chilling and flipping meat on the grill, looks over at Yi and wants to know if he's actually serious about starting his own guild. Chi Yin steps up looking a bit worried. He remembers hearing that this guy said he wouldn't be sticking around at school for long, so now he's curious about what's actually going on and wants to know what he's planning for high school. Takes a slow sip from his drink, totally chill. He lets everyone know they were right. After this training trip, he's planning to stick around in the Shanghai Nation. His friends can't believe what they just heard. Everyone's staring at him, thinking he might actually ditch high school to start his own guild. Makes it clear he's not quitting, he just wants to keep studying but somewhere else. That's when everyone finally gets what he's talking about. He's actually aiming to get into the top-tier Divine Guild Academy over in the Shanghai Nation. Over at the hotel, which was seriously fancy, a white sports car rolls up to the front, stopping right where a bunch of guys in black suits are hanging out waiting. Inspector Lee stands with the others, nodding his head as he holds the car door open. Big dude with hair, a scar on his face, and a cigar hanging from his mouth hopped out of the car. Everyone knew right away this was Bing the of the Divine Guild. He just told his squad to move and walked into the hotel like he owned the place, his crew following right behind him. The hotel ballroom goes silent when Bing steps in with his squad. Everyone stops what they're doing. The whole vibe changes as soon as he shows up. Inspector Lee watches, face tight, he's clearly on edge. He locks eyes on something he totally didn't expect. Yeah, Yi's dad is just standing there with his arms crossed, looking all confident. Right next to him is Inspector, tagging along. His mind just blanks out, he has no clue what's going on. He can't figure out how he's even involved in this. He should have been out by now since his time behind bars was only supposed to last 15 days for getting violent. Walks up to a sneaky smile on his face. He lets know that drop double the cash for bail and their captain signed off on it. Basically he's telling to just let it go and not stress about it. His jaw tightened, he couldn't believe someone just ignored the rules like that. He storms up to Jinwoo, clearly not happy, and wants answers. Like, why did they even bother letting him go if he just had to show up at this big dinner with Bing? Jinwoo leaned closer too, bringing up how got booted from the guild before over something small. Now, is seeing this rare shot as his big chance to slide back in and fix his rep with everyone. Rolled up looking pretty proud, holding out a bag stuffed with magic crystals. These things are basically rare loot from a demon cave. Wrapped up what he was saying, pointing out that since put all his family's stuff on the line just to get back in, helping him out wasn't really a big ask. The plan falls apart right away. Ling Sheng barely has time to react before Bing knocks the bag out of his hands and crystals go flying everywhere, scattering across the floor. Bing is heated, demanding to know who gave Ling Sheng access. Froze, barely able to get any words out while the towered over him. His face got tight with anger, lost it, yelling that the Divine Guild had the whole place reserved. He was mad about some random outsider showing up and possibly exposing their secrets. It definitely set him off. His anger was so intense that both Jinwoo and just froze, faces going pale like they couldn't believe what they were seeing. Just hit rock bottom. He dropped to his knees, scrambling to pick up the shattered crystals, all while mumbling out an apology, totally embarrassed. He starts begging, but before he can even finish, Bing just rushes at him. He suddenly grabs the guy by the collar, not holding back at all. The steps right up to, his eyes glowing like he's ready to throw hands. He looks at like he can't believe this dude's got the guts to even try and bribe him, basically asking what kind of power or skill makes him think he can pull that off. He throws out one last harsh insult, then pushes Ling Shang aside, basically telling him to grab his broken stuff and bounce. Lays down the law, no way that dog's ever getting back in the guild. Meanwhile, he's just left there on the floor, surrounded by all his broken crystals, looking totally defeated. Ling Shang's whole face tightens up, and you can tell he's completely locked in, mad as hell. Blood runs down his knuckles as he grinds his teeth, clearly pissed. Out of nowhere, he slams his fist into the ground, smashing the last crystals to pieces. His eyes light up red, looking straight up dangerous. He couldn't handle how embarrassed he was. Rage just took over, and right then, he started yelling about getting back at everyone who disrespected him. Ling Shang walks out of the hotel looking straight up intense. The vibe around him is dark, and you can tell he's not messing around. His head was spinning with anger, getting embarrassed like that had him heated. He's in his head, annoyed that nothing ever seems to go his way. With nowhere else to put all that anger, he's about to take it out on someone who can't really fight back. He suddenly remembers his wife coming back with groceries, and that memory just makes his dark thoughts get even stronger. He stands in front of their new apartment building, his whole body lit up with this wild red energy. In his mind, he's totally locked in, ready to take everyone out, no second thoughts. The mom's eyes fly open fast. Right away, she picks up that something's not right. Stood outside the apartment building, his eyes locked on his wife as she walked out. There was something intense in the way he watched her, almost like he was ready to do something wild. She freezes up and her groceries hit the ground when he steps up, his whole body glowing with this scary red vibe. He just stands there looking down at her and throws out a cold, messed up comment before leaving. Back at the barbecue spot, his birthday dinner was going strong until a bunch of dudes in serious official uniforms showed up and totally killed the vibe. The camera zooms in on a gold pin clipped to their cloaks, showing off the Divine Guild logo. He sits back and takes a chill sip of his drink, not bothered by anything going on around him. He nudged his friends and let them know that the guys who just rolled in were actually from the Divine Guild. Chi Yin lights up, turning to Yi and pointing out that if he makes it into the Divine Guild Academy, he'll be working alongside these guys. Then she remembers herself, grins and jokes that he could even end up being their boss. When his friend hears the news, he just gets quiet, realizing this dinner might actually be their last meal together for a while. Chi Yin doesn't let that vibe stick. She jumps in, basically saying she's not letting it end like that. She's set on grinding hard to get into the academy too, so she can meet up with him again. He stands off to the side, watching the guild members go by. Something just feels off, like there's this weird vibe he can't shake. He thinks back on everything that happened today. It's all been way too chill, like things are almost going too good. Notices things getting a little tense, so he switches things up and steers everyone back to the party vibe. After all, it's his birthday and he wants everyone to just chill and have fun for now. His friend S on board too, saying birthdays are for enjoying, not stressing. Even though everyone around him is hyped up and acting like everything's perfect, you just can't get over this weird vibe. Meanwhile, his friends are already in party mode, ready to have a good time. The guys lift their drinks, all eyes on Yi. They tap their cups together, celebrating his birthday, just vibing and having a good time. Right when the squad lifts their drinks, the camera zooms in tight on the jade stone Yi's got around his neck. It starts reacting, catching everyone off guard. While all this was going down, his mom stood there shaking, holding onto her necklace that looked just like his. She glances up, totally stunned, catching her husband. He stands over her, red energy pulsing off him and making him look straight up dangerous. She drops to the floor and he messes with her like it's nothing. He wonders if she's been chilling so hard behind his back that she doesn't even remember where home is anymore. While he's thinking this, she's trying to back away from him as fast as she can, clearly wanting out of there. He keeps going at her, basically grilling her about what guy she's been leaning on since everything changed. His eyes light up with straight-up wild anger. He flashes this messed-up grin, cracks his knuckles, and lays it down. She's about to get a reminder of who's really in charge today. His anger was about to blow up, ready to go off at his wife, who looked completely scared, but then something on her wrist caught his eye, throwing him off. He started wondering where she even got that thing. The bracelet looks expensive and gives off this soft green glow. His wife just stands there, totally frozen, eyes wide. He suddenly starts laughing like he's lost it, having come up with a messed up idea. He figures she probably got it from some other dude, which makes sense now. No way they'd be living in a place this nice otherwise. Suddenly snaps and swings at his wife, who's just on the floor trying to protect herself. Right as the hit is about to connect, her bracelet suddenly lights up with this bright green energy, throwing up a shield around her. Out of the light, two huge monsters show up. Threw a punch thinking he had it, but out of nowhere, this huge armored hand just grabbed his fist mid-swing and shut him down instantly. He just stands there totally lost, trying to figure out what even went down. Right in front of Smom, these two huge summoned beasts, Yi and Kai, show up, blocking the space between her and her husband. The Guardians step up, making it clear to Smom that she doesn't need to stress about. They're locked in and ready to keep her safe, no matter what goes down. Right then, Yi's mom suddenly remembers something. Yi had once handed her that bracelet, calling it a Mother's Day present. He kept telling her she had to keep it on whenever he wasn't there. Kai, one of the beasts that just got summoned, didn't waste any time. Eyes lit up, he launched himself straight at, ready to go all in. Moves fast, dodging to get out of the way as that heavy purple energy swings right at him. He He suddenly has to defend himself, going up against both Kai Warren and the other summoned beast Yu Warren all at once. Even though he's got some fighting skills, he just can't keep up. Kai lands a heavy hit right on him and it really knocks the wind out of him. He gets knocked back hard, sliding across the ground as blood starts leaking from a cut on his side. But instead of looking scared or hurt, Ling Sheng just grins, blood running down his face in this messed up smile. Red lightning started buzzing all around him, making it clear he was ready to let out all the anger he'd been holding in. This fight was exactly what he needed to finally go off. His eyes lit up with this wild energy as he started powering up, and that insane grin on his face made it clear he was actually hyped for the fight to kick off. He was kicking back with his friends, celebrating his birthday and having a good time, but out of nowhere, the vibe just got wrecked. He glances at the jade stone hanging around his neck. The second he notices it glowing, his whole vibe changes. He knows right away something's up with his mom. He suddenly gets up, leaving his friends behind, who are just sitting there totally confused. He doesn't explain, he just dips because there's something he needs to handle. He bolts out of the restaurant, telling his friends he'll return quick. They just sit there, surprised, not really sure what just happened. He steps outside and instantly grabs his phone. He hits up Sheng, wanting to know if there's any news on the info he asked for earlier. On the other end pretty much confirms what Yu was dreading. His dad just got out of prison earlier than expected. Turns out right after getting released, showed up at a party that's dad was having, but things went sideways and he got embarrassed and kicked out. Wraps things up, pointing out that once walked out of the hotel nobody knows where he went, as everyone processes this. He tries calling his mom but nobody picks up. Right then he knows she's not okay. It's in the alley putting the puzzle together. It hits him. His dad got thrown out of a hotel that's basically right next to the new place he just got for his mom. He knows that if his dad runs into his mom while he's this angry, things could get really bad for her. He's locked in, hands squeezing the bike's handlebars tight, pushing himself to go even faster. He jumps on his bike and takes off into the night, laser-focused and pushing the pedals hard. He's rushing to get home, locked in on saving her. He was rushing back home, his mind spinning with worry. He kept thinking about how he'd left his summoned beasts, his nameless brothers, there to watch over his mom. Even with that, he couldn't shake off this uneasy feeling. Things look rough in the apartment. He's standing there, red energy all around him, staring down at Chi, who's already taken out. He's not impressed at all. He sees this and gets that gut feeling he was right. His summons just aren't strong enough to slow his dad down. He knows the rest of them won't last much longer either. He steps up as the last line of defense, blocking his mom and making sure she stays back while closes in. Is seriously strong, like next level strong. Sheng stands there with a smug look, his eyes kind of wild as he just brushes off the protector's moves like it's nothing. He was down to his last shot, so he just went for it. Kai Warren, beat up and barely hanging on, reaches out and grabs Leg, trying to hold him back. Ling Sheng gets interrupted and isn't having it. He glances down at the creature, pretty much thinking it's just in the way. He moves fast, grabbing the summon and ending it in one quick move. He totally loses it and goes off on the creature, tearing it up over and over. His anger is all over his face, even though he doesn't make a sound. His mom just stands there, frozen, blood on her face as she sees everything go down. She can't do anything but watch. With one of the protectors down, Ling Sheng's eyes go ice cold as he stares at his wife. He's gripping a knife that's already dripping with blood, making it pretty clear she's next. He moves toward her, taking it slow, with just the last summon holding him back. Yu Warren, the only summon left standing, just stares ahead, locked in with that determined look on his face. Right at the end, it looks back at Yu's mom and tries hard to get her to leave, showing it still got her back no matter what. The beast didn't even hesitate. It just went straight for wrapping him up tight with these green, vine-looking things. The creature yelled at its master, making sure she kept moving forward while it threw itself in harm's way so she could escape. His mom sees what's happening and bolts, trying to get away as fast as she can. The summon tries to hang on, but it's no use. Red lightning shot around, and he just snapped right out of the vines like it was nothing. He locks his grip around the creature with one strong hand and he goes all in and rips it up, finishing it for good. His mom takes off but then spots her husband just standing there, right where her last protector got wrecked. He's not letting her go and makes it clear he thinks she doesn't stand a chance. Out of nowhere, red energy bursts and he's suddenly right in front of her, cutting her off before she can get away. She's backed into a corner, shaking while he stands over her with this weird, twisted grin. His eyes have that wild look like he's really enjoying this. She's stuck and he just messes with her, acting like there's nowhere left for her to run. She's stuck, nowhere to run, just frozen and freaking out. Totally fired up, charges ahead and yanks the jade stone right off his wife's neck. He grips the prized item tight, smirking, eyes lit up with that mean energy. In his head, he's tossing out a cold question, wondering if she got this from that other dude too. He doesn't wait for anyone to say anything. He just closes his fist and smashes the stone, completely wrecking his wife's last bit of hope. His face got all tense, pure anger showing as he lifted the knife, set to finish things for good. Right as he swings the weapon down, his wife just stands there, totally frozen. There's this pink glow around her, and in her head she remembers what her son told her. If things ever get bad, she's supposed to crush the stone. She keeps remembering his voice, saying he'd show up the second the stone shattered, like he'd be there for her no matter what. Right when the blade's about to hit, a hand comes out of nowhere and grabs it with no hesitation, stopping it just inches from her. He just showed up out of nowhere, popping in with this bright flash and landing right between his mom and dad. His mom just stands there, frozen, eyes huge, totally freaking out because her son looks nothing like he did before. Freezes, his face twisting up as he tries to process what just happened. He definitely wasn't ready for someone to jump in out of nowhere, and you can tell he's not happy about it. He locked his eyes on his dad, not backing down for a second. He grabbed his blade, and you could almost feel the energy building around him. Everything felt serious. He was ready to end things right there. The heated face-off instantly drags up old memories for back when he was just a kid. He was powerless, crying hard, wishing everything would just chill and the chaos would end. Those moments never really left him. The story jumps back to a brutal memory. His dad totally lost it and started beating his mom with a wooden plank. He's still just a kid, was tied up and had no choice but to watch everything go down. His dad totally lost it, yelling about how much he grinded every day while everyone else just chilled. His head messed up by all that bitterness. Just stood there frozen while everything went down. He saw his mom getting hurt and that image got stuck in his mind. No matter how much he yelled for his dad to quit, it was like his voice didn't matter at all. He tried everything to get his dad to chill out, but his old man was just not having it. He was just stuck there, hurting bad and not able to do anything about it. He watched, tears streaming down his face, while his mom got knocked out cold right in front of him. He thinks back to how everything went down before things got messed up. It was his first weekend as a high schooler, and his mom decided to take him out to an amusement park. They ended up staying out way later than planned, totally forgetting to let his dad know they'd be back late. That day his dad came back home after another job search didn't work out. As soon as he walked in, he let out all his anger and stress on the family. Right then, it was like the dark side of his dad finally broke out and took over, while his mom stepped in to shield him one final time. His dad finished it, beating her to death right there while he watched. After seeing something that messed him up for real, Young Yi clenched his jaw, trying to hold it together even though his mind was spinning and the pain hit hard. Something snapped inside him and suddenly he was way stronger than before. That rough moment pushed him to level up again. He upgraded his weak green tier nuclear warrior job into the legendary platinum tier nuclear holy swordsman. Everything from his old life came crashing back, hitting him hard. Overwhelmed by sadness and the wild power taking over, he couldn't hold back and just rushed straight at his dad. He snapped and just tore himself loose from whatever was holding him back. He reached for the chain that was holding him down and looped it around his dad's neck. He totally snapped and ended up choking his dad until he was gone, but even after all that, he didn't feel any better. His dad was gone, but his mom was never coming back either. The last thing anyone remembers is this kid, totally wrecked, clutching his dad's body while his mom lay there, both of them taken from him for good. Snapping back to reality, his mind is set. He grabs the blade, the same one meant for his mom, letting everyone know he's not messing around this time. He's made up his mind, he's never showing up late when it matters again. He suddenly feels stronger than ever, and just snaps his dad's knife in his hand like it's nothing. With the weapon busted, he chucks the broken blade away and steps up in front of his mom, ready to shield her. He locks eyes with his dad, who's just standing there, unarmed and totally thrown off. Spotted his own son and couldn't help but smirk, thinking some random idiot was making a scene, but then he realized it was actually Yi. He snaps and rushes straight ahead, thinking this is his shot to handle both the mom and her son at the same time. He stays cool and just calls out the blade. The sword shows up in his hand, glowing with this strong green energy. His dad came at him throwing wild punches, but Yi just stayed chill and blocked it like nothing, flipping all that power right back at him. Ling Sheng gets launched backward by the counterattack, hitting the pavement hard. Ling Sheng just stood there, totally thrown off, coughing up blood. He couldn't believe how strong his son actually was. He freezes up when he spots the weapon, and suddenly he's just mad, like really mad. That's his blade, the one he kept stashed away. It hits him hard that his own son's been the one using it this whole time. As the showdown keeps going, his mom stands there, quiet but clearly stressed, watching as Ye and Chi start pulling themselves back together right behind her. His main focus is keeping his mom safe, so he looks to his summons, his nameless brothers, and gets them to move her somewhere secure. When he saw what was happening, he went from looking furious to almost grinning, but in a weird, curious way. He started to realize, kind of impressed, that both of those crazy strong beasts actually belonged to his son. He looks over at Yi and suddenly everything clicks. He realizes his son's got something special going on. Turns out Yi can control two elements. Not just that, but he's both a nuclear warrior and a flower element summoner. When he finds out, he just loses it and starts laughing like crazy. The news hits different. His son's already got 2 professions unlocked and he's barely started out. It's like he's actually proud, hyped up that Yi really is his kid. But he just stood there not reacting at all, totally unfazed by everyone hyping him up. Confidence drops fast and he goes right back to looking dangerous. Stepping up too, he makes it clear that just having his skills doesn't cut it. His vibe gets icy and he starts calling out his son for bouncing without saying anything. His anger just keeps building while he runs through all the stuff his son did that he can't let slide. He went through his own safe, found what he needed, and ended up sending his dad to prison. He thinks he's acting like he's untouchable now just because he's got 2 jobs, like he's too cool to listen to anyone anymore. He let out one last roar, then vanished in this wild burst of red lightning. Moving faster than anyone could track, he suddenly showed up for a sneak attack. From a spot where she knew she wouldn't get caught up in the chaos, his mom shouted out, trying to get his attention and make sure he watched out for himself. But he's ready for this. Blue energy starts crackling around his hand, lighting up like he's about to drop something serious. A notification popped up, letting him know he was now officially a cloud element mage. He locks onto where his dad shows up, eyes locked in and tracking him right away, ready for whatever's coming next. He didn't hold back, he dropped a huge wave of ice right at the perfect moment, locking his dad in solid ice just as he was about to strike. 1 second his dad was coming at him, the next he was stuck, frozen in place, totally shut down. Stuck inside a block of ice, barely able to move. His face says it all, he's totally lost, trying to figure out what just happened. He keeps thinking about this weird power and can't wrap his head around why he can't break free. His brain's racing and he starts doubting if his own son is actually running with 2 different skills. Stands right in front of him, totally chill, and lets him know he's got it wrong. Now the two are just standing there, staring each other down. Ling Shang, who used to have the upper hand, is stuck with nowhere to go. He's totally locked up and can't do anything. Keeps talking, not showing any emotion. He tells his dad straight up that how many professions he can unlock doesn't matter to him at all. He drops his last words, not holding back at all. In that moment, he looks at his dad and just sees someone who doesn't matter anymore. His eyes snap wide open, pure rage taking over his face. He thrashes hard, fighting to break free from the ice, yelling out in anger over what his son just threw at him. Gets straight up mad when his son talks back. He lets loose this wild red lightning, not taking you seriously at all. He lets his son know that even though just got his powers, he's already a C-class warrior who's seen a lot of real fights. He lets out a loud yell about being the real boss in the family and just smashes through the ice prison, breaking out with a crazy blast of energy. But he doesn't flinch at all. Now that he's a nuclear warrior, he just grabs the blade and gets ready for what's next. He doesn't even flinch, just stops his dad's wild punch and shuts it down with a strong hit of his own. He doesn't even let his dad catch his breath. He's already powering up his sword, ready to go again. He charges forward and lands a brutal stab, getting right past his dad's guard like it was nothing. Looks down and sees the blade stuck in his chest, totally stunned. He just doesn't get how his son's move actually landed. He thought his defense was solid, like there's no way this should happen. He grits his teeth, yanks the blade out, and drops to his knees, barely holding it together. He held onto his wound, totally confused about how you could hit that hard. In his mind, there's no way a fresh E-class warrior should be this strong. He stands above his dad, who's down for the count. There's this crazy red energy swirling around him, making the whole scene feel intense. He makes it clear, after today, he's done calling this guy his father. He keeps going, saying his mom won't be part of his life anymore either. Stared straight at, his eyes cold and steady, basically letting him know he didn't mean anything to him anymore. Ling Sheng just stood there, shaking, totally wiped out from what just happened. The hit messed him up, both his body and his mood, and he couldn't even hide how defeated he felt. He lets out a quiet laugh at first, but it quickly turns wild as he drops to his knees in front of his son, the same kid who just totally shut him down. Just couldn't take the loss. He started yelling at his son, basically grilling him about who's been grinding nonstop to put food on the table and keep the family going. He's dead set that Yi's his son, and nothing's ever gonna change that no matter what. Fed up and calling his son ungrateful, suddenly charges at him one last time, going all in with zero hesitation. He moves quick and slips past his dad's attack, then just blasts him in the face with a solid kick. Ling Sheng gets knocked back hard, rolling across the pavement like he just got leveled. His dad tries to push himself off the ground but steps in closer, not giving him any room to recover. Ling Sheng swings hard again, but his son dodges it without breaking a sweat. Ling Sheng couldn't take it anymore and just let out a loud yell, totally fed up. He's just standing there, confused about why none of his attacks are working. He spots his chance and just goes off, throwing punches so fast his dad can't keep up at all. Barely manages to stay on his feet, blood dripping from his mouth. Even though he's supposed to be a C-class red tier warrior, he can't wrap his head around how he just got wrecked like that. He steps up and just yanks his dad by the hair, staring him down and basically wanting to know if he ignored what was said earlier. He stood there, his face all scrunched up with anger, letting his dad know straight up that he didn't stand a chance against him. All those old memories came rushing back to the rough years when his dad would go off on his mom, and Little couldn't do anything except sit there, tied up, and just watch it all happen. It messed him up seeing that as a kid. Looks back and realizes his dad used to take out his anger at home, picking on his own family because he couldn't stand up to people outside who were tougher than him. To him, his dad's just a loser who can't do anything right. He kept replaying the memory of his dad slamming his head into the ground. Back in the present, Yi just yanks up by his hair, not holding back at all since already looks wrecked. He's yelling, saying there's no way anyone should call him a man. He just loses it and slams his dad's head hard against the pavement. His mom stays back, keeping herself shielded by the creatures she called up. She's clearly scared, barely managing to say her son's name as she watches everything go down. Was down flat on the ground looking up at his son. He was desperate, trying to get his son to chill out by reminding him that he was still his dad, the one who raised him. He hoped pointing out their family connection would make his son think twice before doing anything else. Hearing about family just made Yi even angrier. His eyes turn icy and he just looks mad serious. He grabs his dad by the collar and just starts yelling. He wondered if his brother ever even thought about their family while throwing punches. Can't seem to shake off the memories of how rough his dad was. Even now he remembers being 7, his dad yanking his ear while he tried not to cry. That stuff really stuck with him. He started slamming his head into the wall over and over. He thinks back to when he was desperate, admitting he messed up, while his mom, scared out of her mind, tried to get her husband to chill. None of it worked. His dad yanked even harder, tearing off part of his ear. The pain hit him all at once and he couldn't help but scream. His anger just keeps building as he remembers how things never let up, not even after his ear got ripped. He can't help but think back to all the times his mom took hits too. Ever since he was a kid, his mom was in and out of the hospital almost every month because his dad would just snap over anything, bad food, bad mood, whatever. Blames his dad, feeling like every bit of his old man's stress landed on them. He's sure that thanks thanks to his dad, normal days were never really a thing for their family. He slams his dad's head into the ground one last time, putting everything he's got into it. He stands over his dad, who's completely wrecked on the ground. He can't believe his dad's even talking about family now, like it actually matters after everything that happened. People started questioning if he was even worthy of having a family. He's just sprawled out on the busted pavement, totally wiped out. He tries to get up, barely managing it. He knows he messed up and just owns it, saying sorry without making a big scene. He keeps begging, saying he'll never mess up like that again. Drops to his knees, head pressed to the floor, completely breaking down as he admits he messed up for real. He just stands over him, eyes cold and sharp, barely reacting. He stands over his dad, not even fazed by the begging. His eyes are glowing gold, looking cold and serious. He remembers how it was the same before. Once his dad figured out he couldn't win, the tears and apologies started up again. Out of nowhere, you remember something from his past life. His dad was kneeling right in front of him with a snap chain on the ground. Back then, he actually believed his dad had turned things around for real. But then things get heavy. He remembers that fake apology and how his dad's eyes pretty much burned with anger underneath. Thinks back to that time when his dad totally lost it, grabbing a knife and going straight for him, actually trying to take him out. He tells everyone that once someone grabs a butcher's knife, he knew there was no way they'd ever let go on their own. Once that hit him, he got serious, and right then, notifications started popping up showing his adrenaline spiking. Lifts his head off the ground. Blood's running down his face, but he's not backing down. His eyes just get sharper, and you can tell he's ready for whatever comes next. His phone kept blowing up with notifications, and as his adrenaline kicked in, his ultimate move, Sanctuary, started leveling up. He stands locked in, golden light blazing around him. He grips his blade, locked and loaded for that last big move. He gets another ping on his screen. Turns out, he just unlocked a new skill called Binary Judgment. Gets ready to go for it, but his mom suddenly calls out, reaching for him like she's trying to pull him back. Kind of laughs to himself, not buying the whole idea that a criminal can actually change. In his mind, it's just safer to make sure his dad never gets the chance to mess up again. He swings his blade, and golden energy just blasts out, slicing through the air like it's nothing. His dad gets his tendons cut and just loses it, yelling out in pain from what just happened. Was down bad, sprawled out on the ground with blood everywhere. His tendons were trashed, and the pain had him crying out, totally wrecked. Completely scared and falling apart, tries everything to save himself. He keeps bringing up that he and Yi are father and son, hoping it'll make you stop. Nobody listens to him at all. He just keeps that cold, locked-in look, not budging an inch. He switched up to his Cloud Mage class and called out an ice shard. He just locks his dad's mouth shut, cutting him off instantly. His face goes cold as he lifts his weapon, ready to finish things for good. He remembers taking out his own dad in his last life, so doing it again doesn't really faze him. He was just about to go for it when someone's voice came out of nowhere, telling him to stop. The sudden call totally caught him off guard. He thinks about whose voice he just heard and realizes it's a woman. One of his summons, Yi Warren, was standing right behind his mom, ready to back her up. Since Yi Warren was a flower element summon, it was basically sending his mom's voice straight to him. His mom shows up through the summon, basically begging him not to end up like his dad. She reminds him his dad already lost everything that ever mattered to him. He stops for a second and glances back at her. Her words actually get through to him, and you can see his face change. He's not as tense anymore. When his mom shows up through her summon, she lets him know that his dad's stuck living with regret and resentment every single day now. That alone is the toughest punishment he could get. His face gets tense, but she keeps going. She really doesn't want to watch him turn into another messed up person in their family, not again. She can't stand the idea of him ending up stuck in some dark place later on. Suddenly, you remembered something rough from his last life that still stings. He ended up locked away for taking his dad's life, stuck in prison for the rest of his days. His mom's words and that memory just stick with him, weighing him down. He straightens up, eyes locked in, and lets his mom know he gets it now. He looks over at his dad, who's literally stuck in ice, and makes it clear he's not going to end him, but there's no way he's letting him near them again. He holds his glowing sword tight, about to pull off a move he already knew from his past life. He fires off his Binary Judgment skill, sending out this bright cross-shaped slash of gold energy that just tears through everything in its path. It's built to wipe out the awakened powers of anyone who's the same rank or weaker. The attack hits hard, and right after, he gets a message saying his awakened power is gone. Stood above his dad, who had lost all his strength. He slid his weapon back into its place and laid down his last order. His dad has to pack up and bounce out of the city by tomorrow, and he's not allowed to see his mom ever again. He heads over to his mom, who's got her summons guarding her, and drops one last warning that's honestly kind of cold. He lets his dad know that Yi, his summon, isn't going to forget what he smells like anytime soon. If he even gets close to his mom again, like within 3 kilometers, yes, not playing around, he's ready to chase him down no matter what it costs, even if he ends up locked in an awakened prison forever. He's got zero chill when it comes to protecting his mom. He's flat on the ground, totally wrecked and out of energy. He stares up at the sky, tears slipping down his face as the ice starts to melt. He gets it now, he knows he lost, and there's nothing left to do but accept it. The city feels calm tonight, especially after everything that went down earlier. Back at the apartment, Yi was standing in front of his mom. She was chilling on the couch with Yi and Kai, his 2 go-to summons. He told them to look after her and help her get better. Kai Kai Warren steps up and lets you know there's no reason to stress. His dad never got the chance to hurt his mom. He dropped to his knees next to his mom, finally able to breathe now that he made it in time. His mom just smiled and reassured him, showing she was okay. She gives him a quick smile, letting him know she's all good. She pats his head, but he just shrugs it off, saying that's not really cutting it. He figures he'll have to hunt down another magic jade stone if he wants her to stay safe. Out of nowhere, both of them just stop, totally stunned. They look at each other, not really believing what just happened. Wonders out loud if she actually said something, and she just bounces the question right back, both of them totally stunned and not really sure what just happened. His eyes went wide, but then a huge grin broke out on his face. He realized right away it wasn't just some summon trick, she'd actually spoken herself. His mom just stands there, hand over her mouth, totally stunned. She can't wrap her head around the fact that she's talking again. Warren lets them know his mom couldn't talk before because of some nerve damage, but whatever was helping out managed to fix it. A few days roll by. He is chilling up on a thick tree branch just hanging out above everything. Warren stood at the edge of the city, checking everything out while one of his summons brought up the question if he really had to leave. The summon reminded him that his mom and his boys were all still here and wondered if he could just drop the whole revenge thing and chill for once, maybe even settle down for a normal, peaceful life. Lets everyone know he's already set on what he wants to do. He's sorted out the rent for the apartment and plans to buy the place once he's got enough cash. On top of that, he's got a new magic jade stone ready for his mom. Just in case anything ever happens, he'll be able to get to her fast. Whenever he can't be there, he leaves her protection up to them. The two giant summons stand by, eyes tearing up, fully locked into watching over her just like he asked. He sits at the table just chilling and watching his mom cook up something in the kitchen. His two summons are right there with her, both rocking aprons and actually helping out with the food. The whole thing just feels kind of wholesome, like everyone's part of the squad. He realizes his mom knows he's heading out to train, but she has no idea he's not the same kid she remembers. His mind drifts back to all the messed up stuff from his old life, and he knows the hate he's carrying isn't going anywhere. He spots the invitation letter just sitting there, basically his way into the Divine Nation. That traitor, he's already there, and honestly, this might be his only real shot at getting payback. He can't help but picture the traitor's skull mask on, white dreadlocks standing out, burned into his memory like a cursed profile pic. He realizes that getting this invite means he can get to the Divine Nation way sooner than he ever did before. That night, he's standing with his mom in a packed crowd, just staring out at the city lights. His mind's running wild about what's coming next. He honestly has no clue if he's gonna make it or if he'll even come back in one piece. Feels like he's about to step into something he can't undo, but deep down, he knows he's got to go for it. Out of nowhere, his mom stops and remembers she's about to run late. He's just sitting there, not really getting what she's talking about. She flashes a smile and says it's June 25th, which means the yearly prayer is about to start. She brings up how every time the first full moon hits after the summer solstice, the legendary mage from the Flower God Temple shows up in their county again. Suddenly remembered his mom was part of the Flower God sect. Thinking back, he noticed she never once asked him when he was planning to leave. He never mentioned to her that he was leaving the next day. He figured it was better to just slip out without making a big deal. Watching his mom pray, he realized he's never been good at saying his goodbyes in person. The story moves over to a hospital room where he's chilling in bed, still recovering after surgery. His parents are talking with the doctor, who lets them know everything went as planned and there's nothing major to stress about. The doc says it was just a small operation, but we'll have to take it easy for a couple of days. He also points out that did the right thing by catching the issue early. Speck's parents could finally breathe again after everything. They nodded at the doctor, seriously grateful he came through for their son. His mom, still pretty stressed, told Speck to just chill and not move around. Lying in bed, tries to chill his parents out, reminding them that the doctor already said it's just a quick minor surgery. His mom wasn't having it. She got serious and told him straight up that no surgery is ever small and made sure he stayed put. Glances down, kind of bummed out about how his operation lined up. He's not gonna get to see you leave for the Divine Nation tomorrow, and the thought hits him, what if this is the last time they cross paths? The next morning, on June 26, the students pulled up to the train station, all set for their trip to the Divine Nation. On the train platform, a woman says her goodbyes to her daughter, Kai-yin, holding back tears as she watches her leave. She tells her to look after herself, hit up home now and then, and not grind too late. After that, she leans in and gives a quick kiss on the cheek, making his face go red. Her dad tries to calm his wife down, telling her not to stress since it's just a 2-week trip, and there's really no reason to make it a big deal. The train is about to roll out, and the students are all crowded on the platform, waving at their families as they get ready to leave. The train station was packed. Students stood around on the platform, their families hanging out nearby, all there to see them off. He hangs back by himself at the edge of the platform, totally separate from everyone else. Even with the crowd all around, he's just standing there, looking like he's got his own thing going on. Teacher walks over, smiling, and wonders why he showed up solo and if his parents decided not to come. Dodges the question, glancing off to the side, and just mentions that the train's almost here. Teacher and Chi-Yin, who were just hanging out close by, didn't expect that answer from him. The teacher looked at him, kind of curious, wondering if he'd always just done his own thing like that. His face gets serious as he realizes, yeah, he's on his own. The bullet train comes flying into the station. He's standing there facing away from the platform, kind of just realizing that being by himself is something he's gotten used to for a while now. All those tough memories from before just crash into his head, and that's really why he sticks to himself. He can't forget what happened to his family. In his head, he keeps seeing himself as a kid, blood everywhere, shaking his mom over and over, hoping she'd wake up, but she never does. His dad is already gone, just lying there, and there's nothing he can do. He thinks back on when his friends started drifting away, and remembers how wild it was to hear that one of them passed from lung cancer before even getting a shot at surgery. Hearing that he lost another friend for good just hit him hard. Memories started flooding back. He remembered losing his master and his whole squad, calling out for them as they fell in the middle of a fight. Memory pops up from before he turned things around, his old self just staring back, face all serious. He realizes he's kind of used to people walking out on him now. It just kept happening over and over, like his whole life was basically saying goodbye to people he cared about. He looks at himself and just sees this quiet, kind of lost dude, stuck with memories he can't shake, stuff like losing his parents, friends, and everyone he used to count on. After all that, he's pretty much gotten used to taking losses without freaking out. The train station was packed, and teacher let everyone know the train just pulled in. He told the students it was time to grab their stuff and get ready to hop on. He isn't with the rest, he's off by himself looking pretty down. Old memories of being alone keep running through his head and it's tough for him to shake it off. He's just about to step onto the train when someone suddenly calls out his name from behind. He couldn't believe what just happened. He spins around and catches something he totally didn't see coming. His mom showed up to say goodbye and he had his two buddies from middle school with him, who's still rolling around in a wheelchair and another friend tagging along. His friend told teacher that his parents were keeping an eye on him nonstop after his surgery. If hadn't really pushed to say goodbye, sneaking him out of the hospital would have been impossible. Notices is up and moving around even though he probably needs to be taking it easy. He's got that look he's clearly thinking should be chilling out, not walking around like nothing happened, but just grins, acting like everything's all good and doesn't seem bothered at all. He looks serious, telling you to watch out for himself while he was away. His other friend pulls up and gives him a bag with some clothes and snacks, kind of like a parting gift, even though he tries to turn it down since they already hooked him up for his birthday, his friend S not having it. Kayin just grins, brushing it off and letting him know he should chill out and take it. His mom steps up and hands him something. She says it's a prayer bracelet she got from the flower god temple. She lets him know these things are super strong. Then she hands her son the green beaded bracelet, making sure he holds on to it. She mentions she wants him to have something to keep him safe too. Gets hit with real emotion when he figures out his mom went all the way to the temple just to pray for him. He starts thinking maybe she already knows things are about to get tough and that he's gonna be gone for a while. Teacher raises his hand and signals everyone to pick up the pace since the train's about to leave. He lets them know their training trip is starting right now. He steps onto the train, glancing back one last time at his mom and his boys waiting on the platform. He sinks into his chair, a chill smile on his face, thinking about how much he and everyone else have switched up over the last month. Outside, his mom and his buddy stand there waving, tossing out goodbyes and hyping him up as he heads out. He lifts his hand for a chill wave, his mind already on the people waiting for him at home. He tightens his grip on the prayer bracelet from his mom, determined to sort everything out and get back home fast. Up on a rooftop above the station, the vice captain hangs back and watches the train as it takes off down the tracks. He checks that Yi made it onto the transport and feels good knowing he's heading straight to the Holy Nation. Soon, some important stuff will get dropped off to him there. Runs the show as the S-rank sect master of the Flower God sect. After checking if there's anything else he needs to do, he figures it's all on you from this point. Sits on the train playing back what he just heard in his head. The stuff that was said is still stuck with him, and he can't help but zone out for a bit. Ji Yin, standing next to him, lets him know that the top squad already dipped early to sort out their sea crossing stuff. She's hyped, telling him they're about to hit the edge of nation, and right past that is the Holy Nation. Teacher heads down the aisle, kicking off the trip for real. She lays out what they're gonna do. Since it's a whole day trip just to get into the Holy Nation, they'll crash by the border for the night. Before that, they're running a field training exercise to get ready. Ji Yin glances at Yi, obviously worried about him. A couple rows back, Xi Ling is chilling with this evil little grin, totally up to something. He figures he's in for something wild at the border training, almost like a main event just waiting to kick off. The train was flying down the tracks and everyone could tell they were almost there. The students got the heads up, they were about to roll into the Holy Nation. Teacher gets the class together and tells everyone that their world exists because the gods made it, and those same gods still look out for them even now. She breaks down how the god families basically run everything, holding all the power. The Holy Nation is where two gods and their families live, so it's their turf. She makes it clear to the students that messing around isn't an option, they've got to follow the gods' rules or things will get bad fast. Just sitting there, clearly heated, and every time the gods get brought up, you can tell it really gets under his skin. Teacher starts laying out how to get in, breaking down the 3 checkpoints everyone has to pass to go from the nation to the Holy Nation. She points out they already cleared the first checkpoint, so that part's done. He got on the train using this exclusive pass from the Divine Guild. She points out that the next stop is the border station, which is exactly where they're pulling up now. Everyone has to sign up and get through a full security check here. Getting through these checks isn't quick, they go all out and it takes the whole day, so they won't actually set foot in the Holy Nation until tomorrow. The crew's journey kicks off with this waiting period. It's the first thing they have to get through before real training even starts. The group gets brought out to their training spot, which is just some wild area near the edge of the nation. When June 27, 2105 rolls around, they kick off their combat training training for real. He's rocking the new clothes his friend hooked him up with, standing there with the rest of the group. Chi Yin walks over, smiling, and points out how the outfit really makes you look older. Everyone around starts to notice him. Two girls from the high school side catch sight of him. One nudges her friend and points him out as the guy who turned down the top school team, while the other just can't help but mention how good-looking he is. The group heads over to him, and one of the girls checks if he's who she thinks. She brings up how word got around that he just broke the academy's all-time high score. The girls start messing around, trying to get his attention, and hint that they want to tag along with him while he trains. He barely reacts when the two older girls try to get his attention. He just lifts his hand, shutting them down without saying a word. The girls just laugh it off, actually finding his cold attitude kind of funny. As he heads out, he's zoned in on his own plans. He realizes the monsters around here are way too weak for him at this point. Now that he's hit C-class, leveling up is a grind unless he figures out a new strategy. Right then, this guy in a sharp suit walked up to the girls like he owned the place. He started bragging about being top of his class too, acting like the school's monster tests were no big deal. According to him, the real monsters outside were on a whole other level. With his arm casually around a girl, he just throws a wink, acting like real fights are where you actually see who's got game. This guy is Jun, a C-class stellar warrior still in high school. Right away, the girls were into it and wanted him to let them tag along for the training. Jun just laughs it off and says yeah, while he keeps it moving, not even bothering to look back at the group's mess. Dude's totally unbothered by whatever drama they've got going on. Later on, teacher calls everyone together for one last talk. She points out that everyone on this trip is basically top tier at school. She grins and goes over the rules again, just making sure everyone gets it. She runs through the safety stuff, reminding them to only train where they're supposed to. He knew better than to go solo, kept track of what he could handle with these monsters, and always made sure to get back to camp before 8 p.m. Before she even gets a chance to say more, the students cut her off, acting like they've heard it all before. Jun takes the lead and a bunch of them charge straight into the forest, hyped and ready to kick off the hunt. Hangs back just watching the others as they leave. He stands there with a sly grin, like he already set everything in motion and nobody even noticed. Back in the Holy Nation's capital, things were going down. When walks back in, his team is already there to meet him. They let him know the hunting competition's about to kick off and the N team's captain hasn't left. He's been waiting just for. Vice captain noticed how the ultimate school team got special treatment. They didn't have to wait around or deal with any security stops. They just rolled in behind the train and went straight through. Bing, cigar hanging from his lips, glances at the guy next to him and tells him to head over and chill with the rest of the crew. Turns out the guy standing there is actually his son Sheng. He's clearly on edge but still nods, showing he's down with what's happening. Out in the wild, training had already started. Took down this lizard-looking monster with one solid glowing punch, didn't even break a sweat. He stands over the E-class beast, totally owning the moment while this red aura goes wild around him. The two older girls are hyped, cheering him on and saying how cool it is to see a C-class pro with a rare red tier power. Jun just shrugs off everyone hyping him up, not really bothered. Meanwhile, he isn't paying attention to any of that. He's focused on his own stats, checking out his status on a glowing screen. He notices all his jobs, Cloud Element Mage, Nuclear Warrior, and Flower Element Summoner, are sitting at C-class now, but it's been more than 10 days and he still hasn't leveled up past that. Knows he won't level up for real unless he takes on monsters that are stronger than him. The monsters around here are all over the place and honestly pretty weak, so taking them out barely gives him any XP. Fighting stuff that's way below his level doesn't really help him level up, so getting stronger like this is just dragging on. Out of nowhere, everything flipped. Jun, who was totally in control just a second ago, got launched across the place by this huge purple spider monster. Turns out it was a D-class flower warrior. He and the two girls totally freeze up when they see just how strong the creature is. Jun, beat up and freaking out, drops to the ground and starts calling out, hoping someone will help him with the poison. He started yelling that what they were facing was actually a D-class monster, completely unsealed and out in the wild, running at full strength. After handling the rest without breaking a sweat, the giant spider monster locked onto Yi and rushed straight at him. While everyone else freaked out and yelled, Yi didn't flinch. He just pulled out his glowing green blade, steady and ready to take on the monster. He stepped up and took out the huge D-class spider monster with just one clean hit, while everyone else had been freaking out over it. His phone buzzed with notifications showing he got the kill, some XP, and even scored a poisonous spider leg as a drop. Jun and the two older girls just watch, not really believing what they're seeing from him. He isn't impressed at all though. He's already thinking how gear from weak monsters is just pointless and clutters up your bag. He remembers the Divine Guild has all the good monster spots locked down, which is why there's such a huge gap between C-class and B-class. Without caring, he just chucks the D-class item aside. The silver-haired girl can't believe he just ditched a D-class item, but Yi doesn't even care. He knows from his last life that there are some crazy strong magic crystals close to the Holy Nation's border. He heads further into the forest, hoping he'll find some better materials this time. That evening, just before it hit 8, he was already out in the thick of the woods, barely any light around. He's picked up a few magic crystals, but something just feels off. These crystals usually pop up in places packed with monsters or deep in demon caves where energy's wild. He picks one up and notices it's totally drained, like something sucked all the energy out. His phone buzzes with a notification calling it a withered magic crystal. He looks around and sees that all the trees nearby look totally dead, like something drained every bit of life out of them. He can't stop thinking about what kind of demon just pulls in energy that fast. It doesn't even seem possible for a D-class creature to have skills like that, so he's really questioning what he's actually facing right now. He ends up stuck at the edge of a huge cliff with a waterfall crashing down. While he's standing there, he spots something weird on the ground near the bottom of the falls. He spots a busted container with some weird green liquid spilling out. He drops down for a better look, trying to figure out what's actually there. It's 8 p.m. at the campsite. Teacher is chilling by this massive bonfire, grilling up some huge monster legs for everyone. The students watch her kind of in awe since she took down a bunch of D-class monsters solo. Teacher grins and lets everyone know they're basically in a survival game right now, so grabbing food actually matters. She calls out how most people were busy battling all day and totally forgot about eating. Two tired students sat there, both pretty annoyed there was no food on this trip. They kept eyeing this roasted tentacle, not sure if it was actually okay to eat or if they'd regret it later. Teacher and Chi Yin sat by the fire, just chilling with some roasted monster meat. Teacher realizes Yi and still aren't back from the forest. He reminds everyone to leave some food for them. Chi Yin always thought Teacher was just the type to stick to books in theory. But after seeing her throw down in a fight, Chi Yin was honestly caught off guard. Turns out Teacher can actually handle herself. Before she started teaching, Teacher had some big dreams. She wanted to join the Divine Guild or maybe even become a priest. She lets out a breath, kind of owning up to the fact that she never really had the guts to go for it. She tells Chi Yin that she's never been to the Holy Nation before. She's genuinely grateful to Chi Yin and the other students, letting them know it's all because of their help and Yi's support. She crushed it with her performance, and now she finally gets to visit the place she's always dreamed about. Chi Yin is about to say something when out of nowhere, two red eyes light up in the dark right behind her. Teacher's face twists up, totally caught off guard. She doesn't think twice, she just pushes Chi Yin aside. Out of nowhere, a huge green leg with razor-sharp edges shot out from the darkness and stabbed straight through Teacher's chest. Stood there covered in her teacher's blood. She completely lost it and just started screaming her own name, frozen in shock. Everyone else totally loses it, freaking out as they try to figure out what that thing even is. He's tearing through the forest, barely slowing down even though it's pitch black. He realizes he has to move fast and get the word out so everyone can get out of there. He puts it together that all this trouble started because of that busted industrial container he came across earlier. Back at camp, Teacher was seriously hurt, holding onto the thing stuck in her body. She barely had any energy left, but she managed to push the students to get out fast and find a guild. After that, she pulled the leg out of her chest, showing everyone who was behind the attack. This massive creepy bug monster with glowing red eyes showed up out of nowhere, towering over the campsite. It made it clear it wasn't sharing anything with anyone. The students looked up and instantly knew they were up against a B-class demon and things just got real. The system popped up with info on the creature. Turns out it's called a corpse spider, a B-class flower warrior. This thing's smart and seriously dangerous, and it escaped from the industrial lab. The warning basically said if anyone spots this monster, they gotta run and hit up the Divine Guild ASAP. Earlier that morning, the scene jumps back to the wild, focusing on. He's out there pretty annoyed, thinking about how ever since he showed up, everyone's been paying attention to him instead. He looks seriously annoyed and starts ranting about how acts like he's better than everyone else. He's got this container from Industrial in his hands, and there's a label on it saying it's got a B-class corpse spider inside, one of those seriously dangerous ones. He smashes open the container, letting out this tiny bug-looking creature. Without wasting time, he points for it to start soaking up whatever nutrients it can find around them. Just grins, all smug, knowing exactly what he's about to do. He decides he's gonna hang back and let the monster do its thing, taking out everyone first. Then once the chaos is over, he'll swoop in and act like the hero, making sure everyone thinks he's the real deal. Back at the campsite in the present, his plan just totally flopped. He's standing there desperate, trying to figure out how everything went downhill so fast. He grabs his energy bow, but then it hits him. Something's seriously wrong. The creature has gotten way bigger way too quickly. The giant corpse spider stared down at the students. Its eyes locked on them as it let out a roar that made everyone freeze. The students are all hurt and scared, huddling together while Mr., even though he's seriously injured, steps up to shield them. While everything's going wild, he is rushing straight into the mess. He can't help but think back to his last life when he went up against an S-class version of this monster. Even though he had way better skills back then, that fight was still no joke. He checks out the creature, seeing right away that it's strong on both attack and defense. He realizes the students and teacher, even with their top rank at C-class, don't stand a shot against a B-class monster like this. He realizes things are looking rough. This thing's too much even for him unless he goes all out. But he stops himself, knowing if he really lets loose, everyone will find out he's got more than one job, and that's a secret he's not ready to drop yet. He worries that if he does that, the gods will probably notice him even more, and that's the last thing he wants. The giant corpse spider towers above the students. They're all sprawled out on the ground, totally wiped out. This thing took them down fast. Teacher's really hurting, barely able to move now. It hits him that every time the monster lands a hit, his body just stops working right, like he's getting paralyzed. Even though she's hurting, she tightens her fist, ready to do whatever it takes to keep her students safe. She glances up at the monster, trying to figure out her next move while it just stares her down. The monster started mumbling something about wanting good food, and then this nasty, super long tongue slid out of its mouth. Now its focus shifts straight to Chi Yin. He's stuck, can't move at all, right when the monster's about to go after Kai Yin. Out of nowhere, a chunk of ice comes flying and nails it right in the head. Even though teacher couldn't move and was hurt pretty bad, she still snapped at the monster, making it clear that nobody messes with her kids. The monster gets annoyed when she doesn't give in, so it turns its attention back to the teacher. He figured he'd kick things off with her first. Its tongue shoots out, turning into something straight out of a nightmare. Its jaws opened wide, teeth showing, looking like it was about to eat her whole. Right when the monster goes in for the attack, a sharp green light cuts through and slices its nasty tongue clean off. Shows up right when things get tense, putting himself between the monster and teacher, who's just frozen there not knowing what to do. His timing couldn't have been better. Steps up in front of teacher, who's hurt and totally thrown off. He looks locked in, calm, and ready for whatever's about to go down. The corpse spider lunges at him again and he doesn't hesitate. He charges straight at it, swinging his blade over and over, not letting up for a second. He went straight for the monster's nasty tongue, slicing it up without holding back. The monster wasn't ready for that kind of comeback and just froze for a second. He doesn't waste a second, he darts forward, scoops up teacher and pulls her behind him. This wild green energy starts glowing all around him, making it clear he's ready to handle whatever's coming. The corpse spider, looking mad as ever, goes straight for him, but Yi, covered in this wild red glow, steps up and blocks its path. He spots right away that his C-class warrior moves aren't landing on this B-class beast, it's just not enough. Figuring he needs to switch things up, he goes for crowd control, aiming to lock down the monster instead. Then his screen flashes, letting him know he's swapped over to his cloud element mage class. Jumps up, grabs his mage staff, and drops a C-class control move. Out of nowhere, a huge wall of sharp ice bursts up and rushes straight at the corpse spider. Ice shot out and trapped it right away, locking it up in a thick frozen block. Stands in front of the frozen B-class monster, red energy still coming off him. The other students just stare, not saying a word, totally locked in on what just happened. And the two older girls just stood there, totally stunned. Could barely get the words out, this kid actually stopped a B-class monster cold. The silver-haired girl was just as surprised, pointing out that he's not even some top-tier warrior. His hand shook as he pointed at. Everyone in the room was staring, waiting to see if was actually a dual-class pro, because that would be wild. Glances over his shoulder, his face serious. He knows deep down that, even if it means everyone finds out what he's been hiding, there's no way he's letting his classmates get hurt while he just stands there doing nothing. Teacher, even though he's still bleeding and barely back on his feet, manages to check on you to make sure he's okay. He doesn't even get a chance to say anything before the giant ice prison around the corpse spider starts cracking. Deep down, the monster inside lets him know things aren't finished yet. The ice just keeps cracking, breaking up more and more as time goes on. Out of nowhere, the whole ice structure just breaks apart and the monster, it's totally gone. The other students look around, totally lost and freaking out, trying to figure out if the thing just vanished or if it actually died. He stands there, chill as ever, surrounded by broken ice everywhere. He's not done, he's got more in him. He lets everyone know he just hurt the thing, not finished it, and it's probably gonna show up again soon. His face says he's mad and not happy about it. He knows he's not strong enough right now to take it down for good. He tells everyone to get out fast. While the students tried to help their injured teacher, wasn't having it. She stayed put and made it clear they should keep moving without her. He glances over his shoulder, curious about why she's still hanging around. She just says isn't back yet. He doesn't say anything after that, just keeps quiet. Teacher's eyes locked in, totally focused. She's decided there's no way she's leaving any student behind. As a teacher, she knows it's on her to make sure everyone gets back safe. If she brought them out, she's bringing them all home. She remembers that everyone was meant to link up at the campsite by 8 p.m. Now she can't help but wonder what would think if he came back and the squad had already dipped. Stays chill as he drops the truth. He holds up the busted container he picked up in the woods and lets his teacher know that Zilling was actually the one who let the monster loose from the start. Out of nowhere, Smine jumps back to his old squad days with the Divine Core. He can see everyone chilling around a table, just vibing and eating, and hyped up about how good the food was. That memory just hits different, especially now. Ling Yue started joking around with him when she saw how quickly he finished his food. Just as things felt chill and comfortable, Yi suddenly remembered the traitor messing around, telling him to watch what he eats. It looked like just another regular hangout between teammates. His thoughts jumped back to that brutal moment when everything changed. Out of nowhere, his whole body just froze up. He couldn't move at all, no matter how hard he tried. The traitor just laid it out, saying that for the last month, he had slipped some powder into their breakfast noodles that would make them freeze up. He showed he was totally locked in, planning every move so he could take down the top team. Right now, with the campsite totally messed up, Yi steps up and drops the truth on teacher and the rest of the crew. He lifts the busted container he picked up in the woods, making it clear that was the one who let the monster loose. He points out that the container came from Industrial, which is run by his dad and owned by the principal's family. Chi Yin hears it and just freezes for a second, her eyes going wide as it all clicks for her. He keeps going, talking about how the company's labs have these special bottles for holding tiny demon beasts. He mentions he actually found broken pieces of one of those bottles out in the woods. He figures out that the only people who could have gotten their hands on it are from the industrial family. Walked through the forest, glancing over his shoulder at the campsite behind him. He totally loses it when his plan falls apart, slamming his fist into a tree, barely holding back his rage. He paces around, annoyed at himself for not ditching the evidence sooner, and can't stop wondering why he had to jump in and mess it all up. He starts getting seriously annoyed, and that annoyance slowly turns into straight-up hate for Yi. In his mind, Yi is the reason everything in his life is going sideways. His face was all twisted up, and he just started yelling, blaming Yi for everything like it was always his fault. Everyone in class just froze, totally thrown off by what Yi said. The mood switched fast, guys were mad, and one of them basically called out, wanting to know what he was thinking, and if he was actually trying to get everyone hurt. Another guy in the crowd backs it up, shouting that belongs behind bars. Meanwhile, hiding out, his eye peeking out from the shadows, totally red and fired up. A student starts throwing out some doubts, but another dude fires back, wondering why hasn't pulled up to clear his name if he's really innocent. Gets even more fired up after hearing what they say. Even though she's really hurt, teacher pushes her students to get moving and get out fast. She gives Chi-Yin a radio, making sure she knows to find somewhere with a signal and call for help. Chi-Yin grabs the device, glancing at her teacher with clear worry on her face. Out of nowhere, an arrow shot straight out from the shadows and slammed into the radio was holding, blasting it apart. Eyes snapped open, caught off guard and pissed at getting attacked out of nowhere. Everyone crowded around Kai-Yin, who couldn't stop shaking. Everyone was checking on her, trying to figure out if she was okay, and throwing out guesses about who just fired at them. The radio was toast, just lying there on the ground, busted up and still smoking. Chi-Yin looks down at her hand and sees blood all over it. Watches this go down and his face tightens up. He's straight up mad now. Before anyone can do anything else, someone lobs a canister right into the group. It hits the ground, pops open, and suddenly thick green gas starts pouring out, covering everyone in seconds. Nobody really knows what's up when this weird gas starts filling the room. Everyone starts coughing, trying to cover their mouths, not sure if they should panic or just wait it out. One of them suddenly notices the gas has this weird smell, and he gets that it's actually paralytic powder. The students, still trying to figure out who's coming at them, spots Shadow moving steady through the green mist. He stands there barely moving, while everyone else around him is struggling to breathe in the thick green gas. His face is hidden in the shadows, and the other students are coughing non-stop, trying to catch their breath. Pulled on his gas mask and goggles, then started going off, ranting hard and pinning all the blame on for what went down. Zilling yanked off his goggles, eyes red and fired up. Because of Yi, everyone found out what he did, and now they were all stuck. When started calling him out, Yi suddenly lit up with this wild golden glow. Everyone around just stopped what they were doing and stared, not really believing what they were seeing. Yi got fired up and started moving straight toward. His eyes lit up, burning gold as he stared at. He looked like he was about to snap, wondering if was really just gonna stand there and watch everyone get taken out. All around him, the other students started freezing up, totally unable to move. One guy suddenly drops to his knees, shaking and saying he's way more tired than usual. He drops to the ground and spots a green canister nearby. That's when it hits him. This thing's actually a B-class item loaded with paralytic powder, the kind they use to take down serious demon beasts. Grabs the canister, and everyone starts thinking about why he'd use something like that on people he knows from class. He's sure the shot was aimed at the monster. He yells that every tool he brought was meant for the corpse spider. He was the guy everyone expected to step up and pull everyone out of trouble. Xiling looked at Yi like he was the main problem, totally blaming him for messing everything up. He pulls out his glowing energy bow, getting ready to go after the person he blames. Lines up his shot at Yi, finger on the trigger, totally focused and ready to pull it. But then, even though she's seriously hurt, teacher moves in between them. She tries to get Zilling to chill out, letting him know he can still back off and doesn't have to mess up again. Shoots her a nasty look, totally tuning her out. Teacher was still looking for an excuse for him, trying to help him dodge trouble. He kept saying the monster got loose by accident, and that he didn't mean to mess things up for everyone. Shuts teacher down, saying it's way too late to fix anything now. He calls her out for trying to trick him and lifts his energy bow, ready to fire. Meanwhile, teacher can barely move, her injury and the gas have her totally stuck. Right behind her, realizes he's about to black out from that strong B-class powder, but he's not about to let himself go down that easy. He doesn't waste any time, he straight up stabs his own leg with his blade. The pain snaps him back, helping him push through the paralysis so he can keep moving. Teacher stares at his own injury, frozen. He never thought he'd actually do this to himself, and now he's seriously freaking out. He just lets her know straight up that there's no going back after what did. She just stares at him, totally lost for words. He suddenly gets this rush, his heart's pounding and he can't hold back anymore. He lets know straight up that whatever drama or messed up reasons he's got, nothing excuses what he did. Some things just can't be forgiven no matter what. Draws back and lets his energy arrow fly. Seeing a teammate turn on someone else instantly brought back a rough memory for Yi. He couldn't help but remember that one traitor from his past life, the one who messed everything up for the Divine Core. His anger just kicked in hard. He looked straight at Zilling, totally fired up, basically demanding to know how Zilling could even think about turning his weapon on his own crew. He reacts fast, almost too fast to see, and knocks the arrow away like it's nothing. He moves in fast, barely giving a second to react, just stands there thrown off by how quick the guy is. He doesn't wait for it to do anything, he just goes for it, swinging his blade hard and fast. He sliced his arm clean off right at the shoulder, lets out a loud yell, blood covering his face. He's hurting bad and anyone watching can tell he's going through it. He stands over him, eyes locked and cold. His blood is splattered across his face, and you can tell he's not messing around. Betrayal just isn't something he'll ever let slide. He doesn't let up at all. Before can even catch his breath, he comes in fast and lands another clean hit, cutting right across chest. Drops to the ground, yelling out in pain while clutching at his wounds. He's struggling to keep the blood from pouring out, and in his head, he can't believe how crazy Yi is for doing this to him. He's straight up yelling, tears running down his face, totally blaming for everything that's happening. His blood slid down his sword, the blade lighting up in the dark. He stares down at him, his eyes icy and full of disrespect. He wants to know if had been lurking close the whole time, just watching everything go down. Watched everything go down, his eyes wide when he realized everyone could see he'd totally froze up. He kept going, calling out Xiling for just standing by while everything he started got way worse. The scene cuts to a flashback where, looking totally freaked out, crouches behind a tree. This moment backs up everything you just said. He stood frozen as the corpse spider lunged at his classmates, unable to do anything while chaos broke out right in front of him. He almost ended up eating teacher right there. Back in the present, Zilling just loses it and starts crying, totally falling apart. He admits he was scared, knowing there was no way he could take down the monster he let loose. After that, he really just wants you to hear him out. He doesn't care about his begging anymore. He's done listening, so he just goes for it and swings his blade. He cut across the mouth, shutting him up instantly. He stood over who was messed up and bleeding on the ground. His blade aimed right at, and his whole body gave off this intense golden glow. He looked at with zero emotion, making it clear that when you make a choice, you better be ready for whatever comes next. His mind just blanks. He can't believe how Wild's acting right now. To him, honestly seems straight up insane. He looks straight into his icy stare, and suddenly his mind just spins. He gets it now. All this time he's been the real crazy one. It suddenly hits him, you really isn't playing around this time. He can tell Yi actually wants him dead, and that thought just sinks in heavy. Yi looks locked in, eyes set, as he lifts his glowing blade, ready to finish things for good. He goes all out and drops his ultimate move, Binary Judgment. This skill is built to wipe out an enemy's awakened power for good. Golden energy bursts out from his blade, swirling everywhere and tearing into the screaming. The attacks come fast, non-stop, and the whole scene goes wild. After everything went down, Yi stood there in the middle of all that wild golden energy, just looking at the guy he took down. He's flat on the ground, totally wiped out and can't even move. Right above him, there's a message showing that all the powers he just got are gone. He's stuck on the ground, face covered in blood and tears, barely able to move and hoping someone comes through for him. He was all set to finish things with Xiling, but right before he could, teacher suddenly yelled out, catching him off guard. He stops for a second, realizing that voice belongs to his teacher. He snaps back to the real danger when the huge B-class corpse spider shows up again, looking like it shook off its injuries. The thing's already grabbed a bunch of students, trapping them in its creepy shadow. He suddenly notices the monsters back at it, coming in for another attack, and his heart starts racing. He can barely move now, with that paralyzing powder kicking in hard. Moving was tough for him now, almost like he was stuck in place. Deep down, he realized that even if he went all out, taking down that beast might be out of his league. He locks in, knowing there's really no other option left. It hits him that he's the last hope they've got to get out of this. Out of nowhere, bright golden lightning flashes across the sky, coming together into one huge bolt that slams down from above. He just freezes for a second. He honestly didn't see this coming at all. Lightning slams down all around him, lighting up the ground and making everything look wild for a second. The students snap out of the monster's control, finally back to normal. Chi Yin gets let go, no longer stuck by the creature. Another heavy bolt rips right through the corpse spider, messing it up pretty bad. Teacher held Chi Yin, who was out cold, and finally looked up. He seemed super relieved, knowing had shown up right when things were about to get bad. Ling Gui steps up in front of the hurt students, not backing down. She's got her weapons out, locked in and ready to throw hands if she has to. Facing the monster, she makes it clear, going one-on-one with her isn't gonna end well for it. After getting everyone to safety, Ling Yue looks over at Yi. He's got that confident grin, like he's ready for anything, and checks if he's still good to go. He wasn't expecting her to show up out of nowhere like that, especially coming at him with such a straight-up question. He froze for a second, clearly caught off guard. Both of them stand side by side, locked in and ready to take on the huge, beat-up corpse spider. All around, the other students are knocked out, just laying there. The monster stares them down for a second, eyes locked right on them. Its body starts to flicker and then it just disappears, like it was never there at all. Ling Yue looks around, totally lost for a second, thinking the creature just vanished. But he points out that the thing can actually blend in with its surroundings, hiding right in plain sight. He lets her know that after he messed it up before, it probably went off somewhere to heal up. Looks rough, catching his breath with a serious look on his face. The pain from the deep cut he gave himself on his legs started to really hit. Ling Yue spots that he's having a tough time. He lets her know that the paralytic powder is kicking in all the way now. The other students probably won't be waking up anytime soon. Ling Yue couldn't help but notice how long he held out against the B-class paralysis, so she tossed a bottle his way. She tells him she's only got one recovery potion and really wants him to take it. He grabs it, and his system instantly calls it a water of purification. Downs the recovery potion and instantly feels way better, like he just hit reset. Points out that the guild is probably gonna take forever to show up, and nobody really knows when backup's coming. Now that's back on his feet, he can tell the monster is close. He lets Ling Yue know the creature hasn't left. It's still lurking close, soaking up whatever it can to get its strength back. Right after he wraps up his words, the camouflaged corpse spider jumps out from its hiding spot. The creature swung its huge blade-like leg at him, moving way faster than anyone would expect. Doesn't back down, he steps right into the attack and fires up his parry skill, blocking the hit and sending it off to the side like it's nothing. With setting things up, doesn't waste a second. He just shows up right behind the monster now that it's out in the open. Golden lightning sparks off her sword as she swings hard, smashing right into the monster's guard. Stuck between both attacks, the corpse spider just loses it and roars, looking mad as ever. The hit landed hard, slamming it straight into the ground. Ling Yue stood next to Yi, noticing how fast the monster bounced back. She looked over at him again, wanting to know if he still had enough energy to throw down. He stood there with a confident grin, that green glow kicking in around him. He was totally sure of himself now, and it was clear he thought teaming up was the move.
Lately, I've had a strong addiction to watching manhwa and manga recap videos. Every single day, I find myself binging one after another, losing hours and days doing absolutely nothing productive. And honestly, it's getting out of hand. So, maybe we can make these viral videos too. I mean, look at the views, the growth, the community these creators are building. It looks simple, right? But that's a trap. You go down this endless rabbit hole, spending money, losing sleep, hiring editors and writers from Fiverr and Upwork, and still feel like you've been robbed. Because don't forget how emotional the YouTube algorithm can be with making videos go viral. It's unpredictable, especially when the market's saturated, competition's relentless, and somehow other creators are dropping 10-hour videos daily while you're stuck trying to finish one. That's when I realized something had to change. So, I built the solution, the Webtoon Narrative Suite, a complete one-click system that handles everything from cropping, script narration, text-to-speech, image processing, and full video generation in one smooth process. Save money, reduce hours of work, and have a tool that only gives you straight results. Click on the link down below and experience it for yourself. And if you want even more tools to supercharge your YouTube recap journey, visit my Ko-Fi and Patreon pages where I drop weekly new tools designed to keep you ahead as AI continues to steal our jobs. So tap in now before you get left behind.